Hello guys, this is part 7 of What If You Were Reborn as Kakashi. Chapter 114 Yondaime Reikage. Yondaime Reikage has been famous for a long time, and he had fight against your teacher, Yondaime Hokage-sama. Are you confident in this fight? If I'm not, I won't be here. Good. As expected of Yondaime Hokage-sama's disciple. Then please come here. Hyuga Tobio then pats Kakashi's shoulder. Apparently he had high hopes in Kakashi. Originally, Hyuga Tobio has a good impression of Kakashi. But, after Kakashi saved the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Tobio now had a better impression of Kakashi. Tobio-senpai, please tell the guard to be alert. Okay, I understand. Hyuga Tobio nodded. At the border of the Land of Lighting, not far from the watchtower, Yondaime Reikage is reading the information in front of him. The reason Kuz was able to go to Konoha to do this mission is because he have an ninjutsu that can quickly pass the information to Yondaime Reikage. After reading the information in front of him, Yondaime Reikage frowns, and then he punched the table. Boom. A loud noise sounded. The sturdy table was actually broken into pieces by Yondaime Reikage. Reikage's assistant quickly came over and said, "Reikage-sama, what's wrong?" The two idiots, Kuz and Samura's action was actually revealed. But there is no problem, they are still clever. Samura commits suicide inside Hyuga Hayashi's home to frame Hyuga Hayashi. It is a stupid act. Hearing this, Reikage's assistant is stunned. What a stupid and shameless act. Why did Kuz do it? Isn't it the same as shaming Konoha if he does it like this? Konoha won't stay silent about this. After all, Konoha is the head of the 5 great shinobi village. Even if Konoha is weak right now, it is impossible for Konoha to compromise in this situation. Reikage-sama, what should we do? What else can I do? After we go this far, we can't stop, otherwise, the thing we have done will be wasted. But, it's okay. After all, with Konoha's condition right now, I don't believe they dare to fight against my Kumagakure. Yondaime Reikage said as his lighting attribute chakra is discharging from his body, making a ray of light come out from his skin. Ha, Konoha didn't have yellow flash anymore, so no one can match my speed. It is unfortunate that he is dead. Yondaime Reikage said as he turned away and went to the door, and then he said, "Notify all the shinobi here. Tomorrow morning, we will launch a surprise attack on Konoha's watchtower, and remember, don't kill too many people, otherwise things will be troublesome." I understand, Reikage-sama. The purpose of the Yondaime Reikage is to oppress Konoha, not to actually wage war. After all, not a long time has passed after the Third Shinobi World War, and Kumagakure also can't afford another war. There are still 3 other great shinobi villages on this world. If Kumagakure and Konoha fight, Iwagakure will definitely come and join the fight. During the Third Shinobi World War, Kumagakure and Iwagakure have a hostile relationship, so they will absolutely join the war. The battle is now about to start. Kakashi sat cross-legged in the room inside the watchtower while pinching his finger. After getting the Yuhi clan's spiritual force training method, Kakashi has been practicing on it. After a while, his spiritual force has increased. Although the increase is not a lot, he can already use Sharingan better. With his full power, using Kamui for 2 or 3 times is not a problem at all. An hour later, Kakashi opened both of his eyes, and the Sharingan's Tomo starts turning. My condition has been adjusted, now I just need to wait for Yondaime Reikage. Touching his Sharingan, Kakashi secretly thought, "I'm counting on you." In the battle with Yondaime Reikage, Kakashi obviously needs to use his full power, otherwise, he wouldn't be able to fight against Yondaime Reikage at all. Yondaime Reikage's speed is fast. Kakashi has not seen it before, but he knows that it must be no worse than his teacher's speed. And Kakashi is very clear about his teacher's speed. Kakashi estimates that only when his Shunpo is trained to a high level, that his speed would be comparable. Right now, Kakashi's Shunpo is still a distance away from high level. If he relies on Shunpo, he may be able to deal with Yondaime Reikage for a short amount of time, but after a long time, he wouldn't be able to catch his speed anymore. Fortunately, Kakashi has learned Flying Thunder God Jutsu, although there are only 3 kunes, but if it is used well, it can achieve unexpected result. Yondaime Reikage wouldn't have thought that there would be someone at this world who would be to use Flying Thunder God Jutsu anymore. What Kakashi plans is the surprise. Already, the next step is to fight against Yondaime Reikage. Kakashi's eyes are full with fighting intent. He is once the rival of Minato-sensei, now it is my turn to fight against him. Sensei, I will protect your honor. I will let Yondaime Reikage knows that even if Konoha does not have you, Kumagakure still can't provoke it. There was nothing happening at the night, but the arrival of Kakashi made the entire watchtower get into a strange silence. Hyuga Tobio has announced that Kumagakure will be likely to attack this place, so everyone is tense right now. Konoha Village, meeting room. Damn it, Kumagakure is too much this time. We must show them that we are not so easily bullied. Danzo, who is wearing a bandage, looks cold and has a killing intent in his eye. This matter is a good excuse for a radical like Danzo. Danzo, you should know that Konoha's condition right now can't afford to fight another war. Said Sandaime as he looks directly at Danzo. Hamura Mitakato, who is on the side, then said, "Hiruzen, Danzo, you two should stop quarreling. It seems that Kumagakure is deliberately provoking us this time." If Konoha yields, we will become a laughingstock. Yes, but Konoha really can't stand the war against Kumagakure, says Yuta Tinkahair. Danzo coldly snorted and said, HMPH, as long as Kumagakure is given a certain shock, they will not dare to challenge us anymore. I agree with Danzo about this, Sandame said. When the words came out, the three people present were surprised. They didn't expect that the gentle hairs in Sarutobi would agree with Danzo's opinion. Without paying attention to the surprise of the three people, Sandame continued. I have sent Kakashi to the border to deal with the Yondaime breakage. As long as Kakashi can withstand the Yondaime breakage, the matter will be solved. What? Hiruzen, are you crazy? How can Hada Kakashi fight against Yondaime breakage? Hearing this, Danzo shouted and stood up angrily. It's not that Danzo is afraid of Kakashi's well-being. He just thought it would be inappropriate for Kakashi to do this kind of important matter. Danzo knows if Kakashi succeeded, Kakashi will become Konoha's hero. When that happens, even if Sandame retired, the next Hokage will not be him. Hiruzen, this is not appropriate. Kakashi is a genius and strong, but he is too young to withstand Yondaime breakage, said Homura Mitakato. Let's wait and see. Chapter 115 Brothers. Inside Hyuga Hayashi's home, Hyuga Hayashi is a little uneasy. Although Sandame had said that this matter will not involve the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hayashi still did not feel assured. As the head of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hayashi is well aware of the current situation in Konoha. After the Kyuubi's attack, Konoha lost a lot of combat power. Not only Yondaime Hokage death, but there were also the death of a lot of strong shinobi. This loss caused Konoha's strength to be unable to recover in a short period of time. After all, it takes a lot of time for shinobi to grow up. There are only a handful of geniuses that can become strong in just a short amount of time. Not everyone can advance from Genin to Chunin in just 3 years. A lot of people take 10 years or even decades to complete the process. Therefore, Konoha's condition right now is not good, and they won't be able to withstand a war against another village. Hyuga Hayashi understands this truth. If Sandame can't solve this problem, he knows that he needs to be sacrificed. Between the greater good and the individual, every qualified leader will definitely choose the greater good. Hyuga Hayashi, as a clan head, naturally understands this truth. Just when Hyuga Hayashi was thinking about it, the door was knocked. Nai-san, are you inside? The sound is very familiar to Hyuga Hayashi, so Hyuga Hayashi said without hesitation. Is it you, Hisashi? Why did you come here when it's so late? Come in. The door opened, and the person who comes in had the same face as Hyuga Hayashi, and every time they met, they had a strange feeling like looking in the mirror. Nai-san, it's so late now. Why are you not still asleep? I am thinking about something. So why are you coming here right now? Nai-san, I heard about that Kumagakure's shinobi want to frame you. What are you going to do about this? Hyuga Hayashi frowns and then he said, I don't know, if Sandame-sama can't solve this problem, I am afraid that I can only sacrifice myself. Hyuga Hayashi then said, No Nai-san, you are the head of the Hyuga clan, and as the head of the clan, you must not die, and you must not fall into the hands of Kumagakure. Hearing this, Hyuga Hayashi just smiled and said, there is no other way to do it. Whether it is Konoha or Hyuga clan, we can no longer withstand another war. If my sacrifice can be exchanged for peace, then it will be good enough. Nai-san, the Hyuga clan can't live without you. If someone really needs to die, then let me replace you. After all, my role is to be your shield as we have the same face. Hisashi, what are you talking about? If you died, what about Niji? Hearing this, Hyuga Hayashi roars. He absolutely won't allow Hyuga Hayashi to die for him. Nai-san, if you are dead, what about the Hyuga clan? What will happen to Hinata? Hyuga Hayashi didn't back down, and he directly asked Hyuga Hayashi these two questions. Hyuga Hayashi is speechless after hearing this. At this moment, the door of the room was opened, and it was a white-haired old man who also has a pair of Byakugan. The one who come inside is the great elder of the Hyuga clan. Hisashi is right, you have the mission as the main family member, so nothing must happen to you. Even if it's not for yourself, you should be responsible for the Byakugan that the Hyuga clan has passed down to this day. Hisashi is from the branch family. It is his mission. But I can't let Hisashi die for me. Hyuga Hayashi said, and then Hisashi hit his Takensu to make him fainted. Hisashi you. Nai-san, this is not my mission as a branch family member, but it is the first time I can make my own choice. I am not doing this because you are the main family member, but because you are my big brother. So I'm sorry Nai-san. Please take care of Niji for me. This is the only thing Hyuga Hayashi heard before he faints. Putting Hyuga Hayashi on the bed, Hisashi then said, Elder, let's go find Sandame-sama. Hisashi, you are wronged. No, this is my own choice. Hisashi's tone is full of determination as he said that. On the border of the land of fire, the sun rises again, but it seems a little bleak. The watchtower surrounding seems very quiet, it looks very abnormal. Konoha's shinobi's defensive line has gathered at the watchtower. Kakashi, all the shinobi on the border is here, Hyuga Tobio said. Okay. Then Kakashi stood in front of everyone. The 17-year-old Kakashi now has a mature charm and charisma. As soon as he stops there, the aura of the strong was involuntarily released. Originally there are some people who feel annoyed, but they change their mind after seeing Kakashi's aura. This kind of aura, they know that it is almost the same as Sandame. You all, this time, Kamagakure is provoking us, and now I am afraid that they are already on the other side, like a tiger watching his prey. Maybe there will be a bloody battle later. Hearing this, everyone look at each other in dismay. Although Hyuga Tobio has told them to increase their alertness, but they did not know that it was because of this matter. This is the first line of defense for Konoha. Behind you are your parents, children's, and friends. In order to protect Konoha, let's fight to the end. The best thing to say is the direct fact. After hearing the speech, everyone had a strong force in their hearts. Please. Kakashi released a deep sigh. The battle will probably be bloody. On the border of the land of lighting, Yondaime Reikage is standing in front of dozens of shinobi. Reikage-sama, it's time. Okay, let's go everyone. Yes. Kamagakure moves quickly and runs through the woods. It didn't take long for Yondaime Reikage to feel that something strange. Everyone stops. Yondaime Reikage shouted. Hearing this, Kamagakure's shinobi naturally stops. Reikage-sama, what's wrong? There's someone. Who is there? Come out. Yondaime Reikage roars at a direction. As expected of Yondaime Reikage, you're really strong. You can find me so easily. A silver-white figure appeared, and then dozens of shinobi appeared behind him. Seeing this, Yondaime Reikage frowned. Konoha's shinobi. This is the territory of the Land of Fire. It is naturally for Konoha's shinobi to be here, but Reikage-sama. It seems that you are crossing the border. Kakashi said coldly. HMPH. You Konoha people killed the envoy of the Land of Lighting, so we naturally have to get here to get some justice. Reikage-sama, you sure are despicable. I think you are clearer than me about the truth of the matter. You want to bully Konoha, but it won't happen. HMPH. Crazy brat, looking at your appearance, are you Hada Kakashi? Your teacher may be able to stop me, but you won't be able to do it too. You can try. The two men glare at each other, and the battle was imminent. Chapter 116 Collision. The battle was starting, and the peoples on the both sides start to fight each other, but Kakashi and Yondaime Reikage did not move. The two are only 10 meters apart, and their eyes are locking at each other. Kakashi's Sharingan looks menacing. Good eyes, I didn't expect the Uchiha clan's Sharingan to appear on you. Even if we can't get the Hyuga's Byakugan, getting Uchiha's Sharingan is good too. Though, I am afraid that you do not have this opportunity. What an arrogant little brat. You will pay for your ignorance. Yondaime Reikage's body is shrouded by blue lighting, and his hair is standing upright. Lightning release chakra mode. But this is more suitable to be called lightning release armor. The blue lighting constantly emits a terrifying sound, and the Yondaime Reikage looks like a god of war. The ruthless looks on his face become even more chilling. He also releases terrifying pressure. This self-proclaimed fastest man in the world after the death of Minato is revealing his power at this moment. Kakashi's expression turns serious. At this time, the Yondaime Reikage is about 34 years old. He is at the peak period of the body in a person's life. Even if he is not as strong as in the future Fourth Shinobi World War, his strength is not far from it. This terrifying person, even if Kakashi is stronger than the original at his age, he is not confident enough to defeat him. But the battle of shinobi often finishes in an instant. So the more you know about your opponent's abilities, the more likely you are to win. Why is Shikamaru able to defeat Haiden? In addition to his terrifying IQ, intelligence about Haiden's strength is also vital. If it is not because of his knowledge about Haiden's abilities, Shikamaru won't be able to defeat him even if he is smarter. After all, Asuma died in front of Shikamaru. So, the key to deciding a shinobi battle is often about the intelligence of the shinobi. In this respect, Kakashi's understanding of Yondaime Reikage far exceeds that of Yondaime Reikage's understanding of him. Because he knows about the abilities, it will be a lot easier for him to fight against Yondaime Reikage. Of course, if there is a huge gap between the strengths, even if there is knowledge about the opponent's strength, they still can't win. Just like the Yondaime Reikage in front of him. Even if he knows all of his abilities, if Kakashi can't keep up with Yondaime Reikage's speed, it will be useless. Of course, if he has excellent defensive strength, he can face Yondaime Reikage head-on. It's known that only Susanu's defense can be used against Yondaime Reikage's attack. As for other defensive ninjutsu, he doesn't know. The shinobi that are fighting around them consciously start to move away from Kakashi and Yondaime Reikage. After all, in cage levels fight, if they are too close, this group of cannon fodder will be accidentally injured. At that time, they won't be able to do anything. Kakashi's right hand is now holding the Millennium Sword. After holding the sword, Kakashi's atmosphere changes, and he let out terrifying pressure. Yondaime Reikage was surprised. Konoha actually has such a formidable young genius. Damn brat, you sure have strong pressure, as expected of Yellow Flash's disciple. I didn't expect for you to have this level of strength. Kakashi didn't answer. His Sharingan stared at Yondaime Reikage, and the Tomo inside kept turning. Seeing Kakashi didn't talk, Yondaime Reikage starts to get angry. The lighting that is shrouding his body starts to burst, and Yondaime Reikage's foot moved, and then he disappeared. His speed is very fast. Even if Kakashi is using his Sharingan, he just saw a shadow in that moment. Damn brat, even if your eye can keep up with my speed, your body won't be able to. It's over. Elbow. Kakashi then saw Yondaime Reikage's right elbow moves towards his chest trying to hit him, and the power of the attack is so strong. Kakashi has no doubt that if this blow hit his body, all of the bones on his chest will break. It's just that the attack need to connect to do that. They said that he can't keep up with Yondaime Reikage's speed. Shunpo. At the moment when Yondaime Reikage thought that he would hit Kakashi, Kakashi's figure suddenly disappeared. Yondaime Reikage's pupils shrank. How is it possible? Without any fluctuations of chakra, how can he move so fast? Did he only use his body without any chakra? Not waiting for Yondaime Reikage to react, Kakashi's figure appeared again behind Yondaime Reikage. At this time, the Millennium is not covered by the usual lighting attribute chakra, but the wind attribute chakra. Facing lighting covered body, attack with wind attribute chakra is clearly the best choice. Kakashi then slashes the Millennium Sword towards Yondaime Reikage's body. Haddock Sword Technique. Thousands of winds. The wind attribute chakra is characterized by being thinner and sharper, so the Millennium Sword at this time is like a supreme sword. It seems that there is nothing that can't be cut by it. When the sharp blade was about to be hit Yondaime Reikage's body, he moves sharply, and the golden vambrace on his arm blocks Kakashi's attack. Ding. The golden vambrace was cut directly by the Millennium Sword. Damn brat, good speed. It looks like you really are Yellow Flash's disciple. It's just that your speed is still not fast enough. Kakashi coldly snorted. He doesn't care as he never thought that this attack can hit Yondaime Reikage. If this strike can defeat Yondaime Reikage will not be able to become a cage. Kakashi and Yondaime Reikage start distancing themselves. Damn brat, it seems that I am underestimating you before. With that speed, you are qualified to be my opponent. Yondaime Reikage looks at the golden vambrace that is broken on his right arm, and he looked a little excited. Since fighting against Minato, Yondaime Reikage never had this kind of feeling again. There's a lot of powerful person in this world, it's just that the one who can keep up with Yondaime Reikage's speed is very rare. The excitement of defeating a normal powerful person is definitely not as exciting as defeating a powerful person with the same characteristics as himself. The battle of speed against speed. Guillotine drop. Yondaime Reikage jumps up and raises his right foot. The terrifying lighting on his body is becoming even stronger. Earth release, Earth style wall. Stupid. You actually dare to use Earth release to defend against my attack. Using Earth release to defend against the attack of Yondaime Reikage is indeed not a wise choice. Yondaime Reikage drops down, and the Earth style wall is like a thin piece of paper, destroyed into pieces. But there is no one behind the Earth wall. Ha! Where is he? Yondaime Reikage's eyes squinted. He vigilantly looked at his surroundings. Above, no. Behind, no. Left, no. Right, no. He is underground. Yondaime Reikage made a judgment in an instant. Just then, an indifference voice sounded. Earth release. Bottomless swamp. The earth wall shattered by Yondaime Reikage is now turned into a terrifying mud, which holds his feet to the ground, and making him unable to move. Yondaime Reikage is angry. The lighting chakra on his body burst out. The mud fluttered around and turned into muddy rain in a flash. Haddock Kakashi, don't play these tricks anymore. Ah, it seems that these little tricks are useless to you. Kakashi's figure slowly appeared on the side, and the Sharingan on his eye kept turning. Chapter 117 Lightning Oppression Horizon. Kakashi's attack just now is not actually targeting to defeat Yondaime Reikage. He is only trying to test how strong Yondaime Reikage is. After all, there is a difference from seeing it from an eye and seeing it live. It turns out that Yondaime Reikage's speed and strength are really powerful. They are both the same speed type and lightning release user shinobi. This time, the confrontation between them really starts. Haddock Kakashi, I don't think you have this kind of strength while still young like this. Konoha is lucky to have you. Yondaime Reikage is too polite. I know Kamagakure also has a lot of genius. Yondaime Reikage looked directly at Kakashi and said very seriously. No, they can't compare with you. I don't think Konoha has another wonderful shinobi after the Yellow Flash. I'm really jealous to Konoha's luck. Konoha is more than just a good luck. Oh, it's just the glory of the predecessor. At this time, Konoha is not the top of the 5 great shinobi village. My Kamagakure is the one at the top. Arrogant. Arrogant. You will know later. No matter how good you are, today, you will lose both of your life and your Sharingan. You can try. Lightning straight. Yondaime Reikage throws a punch. Kakashi narrowed his eyes and swung out the Millennium Sword with his right hand. Hand versus sword. The average person naturally does not dare face sword head-on, but under the lightning release armor, Yondaime Reikage has a big increase in both attack power and defensive power. Yondaime Reikage is not scared of Kakashi's sword at all. It must be said that Yondaime Reikage in the original work broke Kubikura that Sujetsu holds with a punch. Even if Kakashi's sword is stronger, it is enough to show how strong Yondaime Reikage's lightning release armor is. The fist and the knife collided. The sound produced is like two steel colliding each other. Kakashi's hand feels numb. What a powerful punch. The Yondaime Reikage didn't stop, and as he threw another punch toward Kakashi. Kakashi didn't hesitate as his left hand is covered with blue thing. Chidori. The Yondaime Reikage was taken aback. This lightning release is a bit interesting. Then both of the attack met. Two lightning release collided and making a blast of lightning exploded. Smoke then spread. After the clash, Kakashi and Yondaime Reikage have retreated a few steps. Damn brat, that lightning release is very good, talent like you should be right in my Kamagakur. It is a shame that you born in Konoha. The Yondaime Reikage's left hand that had just collided with the Chidori is shaking slightly. Obviously, the blow just now was not so easy for him. Even if there is a lightning release armor, it still can't completely protect him from the air-rank ninjutsu like Chidori. Thank you for your praise, but this is just the beginning. Kakashi's left hand is also shaking slightly. The Yondaime Reikage's physical strength plus lightning release armor's amplification, its power is far from Kakashi can be compared to. If he hadn't used Chidori just now, Kakashi feels that his left hand would be destroyed. The Yondaime Reikage is really powerful. After a moment of silence, Yondaime Reikage is moving again. Under the lighting, Yondaime Reikage is like an electric light, instantly appears in front of Kakashi. He threw another punch. Kakashi uses Shunpo and flashed away. Boom. A loud noise sounded, and Kakashi's previous location now becomes a big hole. The Yondaime Reikage did not stop, but he launched attack again. He threw another punch again. Kakashi pupils shrank, he used Shunpo to move away again. The Yondaime Reikage's fist passes by. The speed of the Yondaime Reikage is getting faster and faster. Hada Kakashi, although your special movement speed is good, but it is not enough to fight against my speed, while using the lightning release armor. Kakashi just stays silent as he knew it from the beginning. Kakashi has trained Shunpo for a while now, and Kakashi has already surpassed Mifune. Now Kakashi's speed has become one of the top of the world, but it is still insufficient compared to Yondaime Reikage. His body that has been trained with lightning release for many years, making it becomes really terrifying. It is unfortunate. I thought that you could fight me on speed. But now it seems that you are still far away. Maybe after a few years, you can grow to the extent being able to fight me, but you won't have that opportunity anymore. The Yondaime Reikage jumps into the air like a bolt of lightning. Kakashi was surprised. That position is lightning oppression horizontal chop. The Yondaime Reikage waved his right hand towards Kakashi. The terrifying lighting flows through Yondaime Reikage's right hand chop, and the chop is like a sharp blade hanging over Kakashi's head. He won't be able to run away. That is the first thought in Kakashi's mind after seeing this. At this time, Yondaime Reikage uses his full speed, and with his level of Shunpo right now, it is impossible for him to escape from this attack. So, there's only one thing he can do right now. Fight it head-on. Both of his hands start forming hand seals quickly. The blue lighting is covering Kakashi's right hand. But different from the previous Chidori, the blue lighting at this time is very quiet and looks very strange. The two group of blue lighting cause the wind to blow its surrounding. Anyone can see how terrifying these two ninjutsu are. After seeing this, Hyuga Tobio then yelled, "Everyone, retreat." Reikage's assistant also shouted, "Retreat." After that, both sides that are fighting suddenly stopped and quickly withdrew from the place. Their intuition tells them that when the confrontation starts, the aftermath is not something they can stand up to. The Yondaime Reikage looks at Kakashi's right hand that is covered in blue lighting, and then his eyes become serious. As an expert in lightning release, Yondaime Reikage naturally knows how powerful the blue lighting is. Sure enough, this damn brat is really not simple. The Yondaime Reikage was shocked, but he did not stop his movements. It is because Yondaime Reikage has confidence in himself. The surrounding is silent at this moment. The Yondaime Reikage descends from the sky and whispered, "Lightning oppression horizontal chop." Kakashi's Sharingan turns crazily. He then jumps towards Yondaime Reikage. Bakiri. Clash. The two met in midair, and Yondaime Reikage's right hand chop clash with Kakashi's Hakiri. The shinobi who is watching on the side, whether it is Konoha or Kamagakur, are stunned at this moment. Seeing the confrontation, Hyuga Tobio said, "Kakashi is so strong. He can actually fight Yondaime Reikage to this level." Reikage's assistant is dumbfounded and said, "Hada Kakashi can actually compete with Reikage-sama." Boom. At this moment, a loud noise sounded. The blast spread toward them, causing smoke spread, and making them close their eyes. The trees at the surrounding were directly rooted by the aftermath and flew away. After a while, the smoke dissipated, and the aftermath between Kakashi and Yondaime Reikage can finally be seen. Kakashi and Yondaime Reikage are blown away at the same time. The two continued to roll on the ground and eventually stopped. Yondaime Reikage is half squatting on the ground, and his right hand is already turned black. Kakashi is also half squatting on the ground, while also supporting his body with his left hand. His right hand is constantly twitching as it is drenched in blood. Chapter 118 The Might of Flying. Hada Kakashi, you are very good. With this level of lighting release, I recognize you in the name of Reikage. Yondaime Reikage looks at Kakashi, and in addition to anger, there is also appreciation now. This level of lightning style, it is rare even in Kamagakur, and so Kakashi who can create this ninjutsu is really good. Yandame Reikage then thought it such a pity that someone like him is actually not living in the Kumagakure. Of course, Yandame Reikage won't tell him to surrender. After all, this kind of thing is an insult to an expert. Moreover, if Kakashi did surrender, Yandame Reikage will only look down on him. Thank you for your praise, Reikage-sama. Your lightning release really opened my eyes. After all, if it was about lightning style, Konoha really can't match Kumagakure. Kakashi's right hand showed a trace of green chakra, which temporarily stabilized the injury on his right hand and prevented the blood from flowing. Pada Kakashi, now that your right hand has been injured, how can you resist me? Reikage-sama, it seems that your right hand's injury is also not light. Though, it's just small burns. It doesn't affect my combat power at all. Yandame Reikage said as the lighting on his whole body reappeared and the black scorch of his right hand slowly faded. Kakashi pupils shrank. The power of this lightning release armor is really intimidating. In the recent collision, it is because of this lightning release armor that Kakashi's injury is worse than the Yandame Reikage. His right hand has no strength at this time, so he won't be able to use it. Pada Kakashi, this is the end. Yandame Reikage roared, and he starts to move again, causing a pit formed at his previous location. Kakashi holds the sword with his left hand, his eyes are serious, and the Tomo in his Sharingan is still spinning. Boom. Yandame Reikage throws a punch towards Kakashi using his left hand. Go to hell. The fist struck, and then Kakashi slashed toward it. Ding. The fist and the sword clash, and the Millennium Sword was directly blown away by Yandame Reikage. Kakashi's complexion changed, and then he uses Shunpo immediately. After being blocked by the Millennium Sword, Yandame Reikage's fist slowed down, so Kakashi was able to run away. Pada Kakashi, now you can't even block my punch. What else can you do? Yandame Reikage did not pursue him, but revealed a mocking smile. In the distance, Kakashi's figure emerged as he is gasping for air. Hearing Yandame Reikage's question, Kakashi was not angry, but the corner of his mouth forming a smile. Yandame Reikage, do you still remember my sensei, Yandame Hokage, Namikaze Minato? Yandame Reikage is stunned and said, I naturally remember that he is the only shinobi in the world that has beaten me on speed. Really? I am afraid that you will have one more after today. What do you mean? Kakashi did not answer, and then Chidori starts covering his left hand. The sound of Chidori resounded throughout the battlefield. Ha, are you going to do final struggle? Yandame Reikage snorted coldly. No one found out that inside Kakashi's Sharingan, a black dart pattern has been formed. Reikage-sama, did you notice that the place where you are standing now familiar? Hearing this question, Yandame Reikage looks at the ground. This place is. That place is where Kakashi's earth-style wall was destroyed by Yandame Reikage before. Just then, Kakashi's figure disappeared instantly. What? Yandame Reikage turns pale with fright. He lost Kakashi. It's not the movement from before. He just disappears out of thin air. There's no after-image at all. This is Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Yandame Reikage instantly thinks of this ninjutsu who once had to feed him. At this moment, Kakashi's ice-cold voice sounded at Yandame Reikage's back. You finally realize it. In the beginning, Kakashi's earth-style wall was not just to guard against Yandame Reikage's attack. At the moment when earth-style wall has just risen, Kakashi has already buried the special kunai that is imprinted with his Flying Thunder God Jutsu formula. The use of the bottomless swamp is just to make the kunai buried even deeper. Just after the collision between Rikiri and the lightning oppression horizontal chop, at the last moment, Kakashi was controlling his body to fall near here, in order to let Yandame Reikage stand near the kunai. Of course, if it didn't work just now, Kakashi still had 100 ways to get the Yandame Reikage to stand here. All of that is for this moment. For this best chance. Chidori. Like a sharp blade, Kakashi's left hand is directly moves toward the lighting release armor. What Chidori is targeting is the heart of Yandame Reikage. Looking at Chidori that are moving closer, Yandame Reikage pupils shrank. With lightning release armor amplification, Yandame Reikage will be able to dodge. However, what he saw was Kakashi's scarlet Sharingan and the weird black dart pattern. Demonic illusion, shackling stakes technique. This is Jinjutsu. Yandame Reikage only felt that his body seemed to be restrained, but in an instant he untied the Jinjutsu. Unfortunately, it is too late. Chidori is really close to his body, and Yandame Reikage won't be able to dodge it. Seeing this, Yandame Reikage gritted his teeth, and the lighting on his body became even brighter. The lighting chakra on the chest is almost solidified. Chidori then struck. Collision between lighting and lighting. Lightning release armor is shattered little by the Chidori. In the end, Chidori hits Yandame Reikage's chest. It's just that after being blocked by the lightning release armor, there's very little left of its strength left. However, Chidori still pierces Yandame Reikage's skin. Lighting attribute chakra from the Chidori then enters Yandame Reikage's body. Yandame Reikage only felt numbness in his whole body, and he immediately fainted. Kakashi pulls out his left hand, he then feels pain from his neck, and fainted too. The two then fell down. Before he fell, Kakashi smiled bitterly. In the end, he needs to use Magicum Sharingan. As his chakra was already insufficient, the curse seal was directly activated at this time. Reikage-sama. Raikage's assistant saw that something is wrong. He had already arrived at Raikage's location. On the Konoha side, Hyuga Tobio also came over. Raikage's assistant is holding Yondaime Raikage, and Hyuga Tobio is holding the Kakashi. The two didn't do anything to each other and directly withdrew from the battlefield. Their leader has fallen, so the battle is naturally over. Kakashi defeated Yondaime Raikage, and both of them fell. However, it is clear that Yondaime Raikage's injury is much heavier than Kakashi's. If it weren't for the curse seal being activated at this time, Yondaime Raikage would have lost his life. It's only that Kakashi did not intend to kill Yondaime Raikage from the beginning. Otherwise, he wouldn't have just used Chidori and directly used her Kiri. In any case, after the battle, the name of Hada Kakashi resounded on the shinobi world. Everyone will know that Konoha has another expert after Yondaime Hokage, Namikaze Minato. And his name is Hada Kakashi. Chapter 119 Lighting Release Armor. Inside Konoha, Hyuga Hazashi and the Hyuga Elder came to the Hokage office. At this time, Sandaime was sitting in his seat and no one knows what he was thinking. Sandaime-sama. Oh? Hazashi and Himashi, is there anything you need? Hyuga Hazashi then kneels with one leg and said, Sandaime-sama, I am willing to pretend to be Hiashi, and my body will calm the anger of Kumagakure in exchange for peace. This. Sandaime-sama, Hazashi has already determined about this, please let him fulfill this. The Hyuga Elder also kneels on the ground, requesting the consent of Sandaime. Hazashi, Himashi, you two should get up first. I don't say that Konoha wants to agree to Kumagakure's demand, so you don't have to it. Sandaime-sama, I know about your choice, but Konoha's condition right now can't afford another war. If you can use my life to calm the dispute, then please take my life. Sandaime sighed and said. Hazashi, things have not yet reached this point, so you don't have to anything. Hyuga Hazashi is shocked after hearing this and asked. This may I ask what Sandaime-sama is planning? Hazashi, I understand that you want to protect Hiashi's life, but things have not yet reached the need to sacrifice you. I have sent Kakashi to the border right now. If he can withstand Yondaime Raikage, this farce will naturally stop here. Hada Kakashi? Can he withstand Yondaime Raikage? Hyuga Hazashi asks suspiciously. Hyuga Hazashi knows about Kakashi, as he is known as Yondaime Hokage's disciple and the son of White Fang. He had also met him a few days ago. But Hyuga Hazashi does not know that Kakashi really has the ability to withstand Yondaime Raikage. How old is he? Less than 18. That is the cage of the village, so he must be the strongest person in the village. Can Kakashi really do it? Hyuga Hazashi had a big question mark in his heart. I don't know, but I believe him. Sandaime said, showing a smile. Hyuga Hazashi is about to say something, but an ambu suddenly appears inside the Hokage office. Sandaime-sama, there's some news from the border watchtower, please look over. Ambu said as he presented a scroll to Sandaime. Sandaime took it directly, unlocked the seal and looked at the report. After a few moments, Sandaime's hearty laughter spread throughout the Hokage office. Hyuga Hazashi and the Hyuga Elder looked awkward, but the ambu is still motionless. Good. Kakashi really didn't let me down. Hahaha. Sandaime-sama. Hyuga Hazashi is about to ask, but Sandaime handed the scroll to Hyuga Hazashi and said. Hazashi, this is the battle report of the border. Kakashi successfully withstand Yondaime Raikage. You can rest assured, Kumagakure does not dare to continue about this matter anymore. Hyuga Hazashi took a look at the scroll and was stunned. The scroll says. Hada Kakashi fights with Yondaime Raikage. Hada Kakashi is slightly injured, and Yondaime Raikage is seriously injured. Kumagakure's troops have retreated. Hyuga Hazashi can't believe the information in front of him. Hada Kakashi not only withstands Yondaime Raikage, but he also seriously injured Yondaime Raikage. How can this be? But no matter how he doesn't believe it, this proof is already in front of you. So he can only believe it. Thank you very much Sandaime-sama. Hyuga said with a sincere expression. The victory of this war means that he doesn't have to die, so Niji will not lose his father. For this kind of kindness, thank you from Hyuga Hazashi is not enough. Sandaime waved his hands and said, no, you should say it to Kakashi. It is all Kakashi's credit for this thing to happen. It was also him who discovered about what Kumagakure is planning. Really? I understand. When Kakashi comes back, I will thank him. Well, this matter has been solved, you two should go back. Yes. Sandaime-sama. Hyuga Hazashi and the Hyuga Elder then left the Hokage office with a shock. Sandaime squinted his eyes and said to the ambu. Moku, spread this incident in the village and spread about Kakashi's deeds. Yes. Sandaime-sama. The ambu bowed his head and disappeared from the Hokage office. Sandaime put his hands on his back and looked out of the window. Kakashi, your growth really surprises me. I will help you spread this reputation. I hope you will take this responsibility in the future. Under Konoha, the root. Danzo looked at the information in front of him with a gloomy expression, and then threw it to the ground. Damn. How could Hada Kakashi have the strength to withstand Yondaime Raikage, and he also seriously injured him? Damn. He should have dies. In the darkness, Danzo's anger is burning hotly, but no one knows about it. Border, watchtower. When Kakashi opened his eyes, he saw the strange ceiling. Kakashi grabbed his neck and felt that it feels warm. Erg, Kakashi cried out and sat up from the bed. He then touches his left eye. Okay, no problem. The used Sharingan was sealed again, and then Kakashi pulled down his headband to cover it again. The room is empty, except Kakashi. No one else is here. Everyone right now is outside the watchtower to patrol the surrounding location. Although Kumagakure has retreated, they may come again. If no one is alert, it will be very dangerous. After this rest, Kakashi felt a lot more energetic. The harvest from this battle for Kakashi is undoubtedly huge. Kakashi is using Sharingan all the time, not only to see the movement of Yondaime Reikage, but it is also to copy the moves of Yondaime Reikage. That's right, he's copying. In the original work, Kakashi's nickname is Copy Ninja, which shows that the copying ability of the Sharingan is really good. Kakashi is able to use all of the basic nature transformations, so as long as it is not a Kekkei Jinkai, there will be no ninjutsu that Kakashi can't copy. Lightning Release is Kakashi's best arsenal. Unfortunately, Konoha doesn't have a lot of high-level Lightning Release ninjutsu. If it is about Lightning Release, no one can compare to Kumagakure. Kakashi has been coveting for Reikage's Lightning Release ninjutsu for a long time, especially the Lightning Release Chakra mode, also known as the Lightning Release Armor. Lightning Release Armor not only increases the speed and the defensive power of the user, but it is also able to strengthen the body of the user. Why did all of the Reikage is a tall and strong individual with big muscles? It is because they are using this Lightning Release Armor. Kakashi's target is this terrifying Lightning Release Armor. After watching it for a long time using Sharingan, Kakashi finally copied the ninjutsu. With Lightning Release Armor, Kakashi's Lightning Release will definitely improve again. And this is also the main purpose of Kakashi's fight against the Yondaime Reikage. Seeking for Strength. Chapter 120 Konoha Hero. At this point, the Lightning Release Armor's training method starts to appear in Kakashi's mind. Lightning Release Armor is really profound. If Kakashi didn't have terrifying understanding of lightning style, even if there is Sharingan help, Kakashi will not be able to find out the mystery so quickly. His body is still a bit tired, so Kakashi closes his eyes and continually imagines the training method of Lightning Release Armor in his mind, considering the problems that may arise if he practices it later. Not long after, the door was opened. Hearing this, Kakashi opened his eye, and the one who come is Hyuga Tobio. Seeing Kakashi opens his eye, Hyuga Tobio is surprised and said, "Kakashi, you woke up. Are you okay?" "Yeah, thank you for your concern. How's Kumagakure?" "The Yondaime Reikage was seriously injured by you, so Kumagakure has retreated." Hyuga Tobio replied. Kakashi nodded. It is the same as he expected. That's good, Kumagakure has learned their lesson, and it seems that this matter is over now. Yes, Yondaime Reikage is seriously injured and has been brought back to Kumagakure for treatment. He will definitely not come back in the short term. And this kind of deterrence is enough to keep those who are trying to do something to Konoha quiet for a while. Kakashi, you are now the hero of Konoha. Hyuga Tobio said with a smile. Hyuga Tobio really admires Kakashi as Kakashi right now is still young, but he already has this accomplishment. It is impossible to imagine how Kakashi's future gonna be. It is impossible to imagine how terrifying Kakashi's future is. And Kakashi is also the great-grand disciple of the Sandaime Hokage. He is also Yondaime Hokage's disciple, and the son of Tsukumo. If it continues like this, Kakashi gonna be the next Hokage. For a big clan like Hyuga, this is very important. With the support of Hokage, no matter which clan it is, they will become prosperous. On the contrary, if they have some trouble with Hokage, even if they are as strong as Uchiha clan, they will not end well. After all, this is not the time for a clan anymore. Kakashi hearing this just smiles bitterly. Hero, what is so good about that? Except getting a good reputation, there is really no other effect. Kakashi, you should rest for now. Wait until your body recovers and then you can go back to Konoha. Sandaime-sama has already issued an order for you to return. Okay, I understand. Inside Kumagakure, Yondaime Reikage was seriously injured, and the news shocked Kumagakure. That is the Kage, the god of war. Was he seriously injured by Konoha shinobi? It's hard to imagine anyone from Konoha is able to do it. Under the medical shinobi's treatment, Yondaime Reikage finally woke up. Next to the bed, there is a Kumagakure shinobi standing. Aniki, Picaro, Kanoiro. Who is the one injuring you? He is the Hachibi Jinchuriki, Killer Bee. Yondaime Reikage did not speak, but just stays silent. Picaro. Say something, Aniki. You're too noisy, Bee. Isama, please don't talk loudly. Reikage-sama needs a rest right now, Reikage's assistant said. Picaro, Kanoiro. Aniki, I want to avenge you. Bee, I don't need you to get my enemy. Don't go out of the village without permission, otherwise I won't spare you. Killer Bee is a bit dazed after hearing this, as he did have a plan to sneak out of the village. Reikage-sama, are you okay? Asked the Reikage's assistant. I'm fine. Hada Kakashi's move seems fierce, but after breaking through my lightning release armor, its power is weakening. So even if my injury looks serious, it doesn't actually hurt my bones. After hearing this, everyone relaxed as they know that Yondaime Reikage is okay. Cancel all of our plans against Konoha, and let Kuz come back. What? Everyone is surprised after hearing this. This plan is something Yondaime Reikage had spent a lot of thought, so they were surprised that it got cancelled. Hada Kakashi is merciful to me. I will remember this favor. And now Konoha does not seem as weak as we imagined, so the plan needs to be cancelled. Yes, Reikage-sama. Yondaime Reikage looks at the distance, and the emotions in his heart keep fluctuating. Hada Kakashi, this time, I am careless, but the next time won't be the same. Yondaime Reikage clenches his fist, as he is obviously very dissatisfied with the results. He lost to Minato before, but now, he also lost to his disciple. It seems that Minato continued to defeat him even after his death. At the Kurigakure, Terumi Mei also received the information about Kakashi's fight. After a few months, Terumi Mei has become even more beautiful. Hada Kakashi, a really good man. Has he reached that level? It seems that I have to hurry. Her exposed left eye is full of eagerness. Inside Konoha, after Kakashi fights Yondaime Reikage, the news about Kumagakure's defeat is being spread directly through Anbu's operations, and the news is now well known. Do you know? Yondaime Hokage-sama's disciple, Hada Kakashi fights against Yondaime Reikage, and defeat him, making Kumagakure retreated. What? When did Kumagakure attack Konoha? What is going on? You still don't know about this. Things are like this. This kind of similar discussion is happening everywhere inside the village of Konoha. For a while, Hada Kakashi became the focus of Konoha village, and everyone was talking about it. The reputation of Kakashi is becoming better in Konoha. Kakashi also became the hero of Konoha, fighting against Yondaime Reikage, seriously hurting him, and then repelling Kumagakure's troops. If such a person is not Konoha's hero, then who is? And the one who is spreading this is Sandaime. He is old, but Konoha is still young, so they need new hope. Of course, Kakashi is still very young, and Sandaime will definitely not let Kakashi become Hokage now. After all, being young means less experience. Everything he does at this time is just for the future. At the same time, it is also to let other villagers know that Konoha is still formidable. Several people are happy, and several are worried, but inside the root space, no one can count how many smashing noises have been heard in the past few days. Inside Hokage office, Kakashi has finally get back to Konoha. Kakashi, this time you did a very good job, a war was stopped by you. You have protected Konoha's peace at this time. It's okay Sandaime-sama, after all, this is what I should do. Well Kakashi, this time you have worked hard, seeing that your injury is not completely healed. You should rest for a while. Jiraiya will be back in 2 days. At that time, the curse seal on your body will probably be solved. Yes. Sandaime-sama. Good, you should go back now. After leaving Hokage office, Kakashi relaxed. This incident was finally solved. Kakashi had planned about this for a long time, and it was considered to be a good achievement. Next, he just needs to wait for Jiraiya's return. And that will be the time to finally solve the curse seal. Chapter 121 Training's Path. The matter of the Land of Lightning's envoys gradually subsided after Kuz's group left Konoha with Samura's body. It is worth mentioning that the two brothers, Hyuga Hiashi and Hyuga Hazashi, went to Kakashi's home to express their gratitude. Kakashi was also polite, and accepted their gratitude. Now that these two people owe Kakashi a favor, if Kakashi really becomes the Hokage in the future, the Hyuga clan will definitely support him. However, the position of Hokage is still too far away from Kakashi. After all, Kakashi is still too young now. Compared to the youngest Hokage, Namikaze Minato, who become the Hokage at the age of 21, it is naturally impossible to be a Hokage at this time for Kakashi. Even if Sandaime let Kakashi become Hokage, Kakashi will refuse. At this time, it is best time to the growth of strength. It is absolutely stupid not to take the time to improve strength, but to be a Hokage to deal with some troublesome things. And this time, Kakashi's gains are huge, so he will take some time to sort out his gains. He already acquires the lightning release armor ninjutsu, so he naturally will train in it. So he put that in his agenda later on. Kakashi's free time is right this time as Jiraiya is still not returned yet. On this day, Kakashi is planning to go out to practice, but he meets Shisui on the road. Kakashi-senpai, you are really late back. Ah, Shisui, are you going to Anbu? No, I took a day off today. Kakashi was a little surprised when he heard that and asked, day off? What are you going to do? I made an appointment with Itachi to go to practice together. Uchiha Itachi? Yeah, you know him senpai. Let me tell you, Itachi is a genius. He only took a year to graduate from the academy. Recently, he opens the Sharingan. Oh, and I plan to introduce him to Hokage-sama in the future to become an Anbu. Of course, he must be in the 6th team. Kakashi was a bit stunned. He didn't expect Itachi to be graduating, and he already opens the Sharingan. Right now, he should be only 8 years old. Opening Sharingan at 8 years old, he really is a genius. Kakashi-senpai, let's stop here. I am going to be late, so I need to go first, goodbye. After Shisui finished, he left the place. Kakashi silently said, Itachi is 8 years old now. After 5 years, Uchiha's genocide will start. What an unfortunate clan. Regarding the Uchiha clan, Kakashi's feelings are really complicated. Logically speaking, Kakashi and Uchiha should have nothing to do with each other, but Kakashi has a relationship with so many people from the Uchiha clan. Obito, Shisui, Itachi, and Sasuke. There is also Obito's Sharingan in his left eye. Forget it, let's think about it later, I should increase my power right now. After arriving at the 7th training field, Kakashi began to study lightning release armor. As a secret ninjutsu passed down from generation to generation by Kumagakure, its practice is not easy. Otherwise, it will not only be used by Reikage for generations. Lightning release armor is divided into 3 stages. The first stage is to exercise the user body. After all, lightning release armor is a kind of ninjutsu mixed with taijutsu, so the requirement for the body strength is naturally high. Only when the strength of the body is sufficient, lightning release armor can be used to harm the enemy, otherwise, before being able to harm the enemy, the user would already being harmed first. At the second stage, lighting attribute chakra will need to covers the whole body, just like Yondaime Reikage. At this time, the body's defensive power, attack power and speed, will get a huge improvement. Yondaime Reikage is now at this second stage. As for third stage, it is more powerful lighting attribute chakra. When the lighting attribute chakra reaches a certain level, the defensive power of the body will become extremely terrifying, and it will be strong enough to fight with Biju. Attack power will also be increased to the extremely terrifying level. At that time, you can use the terrifying Hell Stab, and even the one-finger Nukite. Just like the Sandaime Reikage. Kakashi has a speculation that when the lightning release armor reaches the 3rd stage, it will be even stronger than opening the 7th gate. But the 7th gate is still important as it can be used to fight against someone who is immune to chakra-based attacks. Of course, at this time, Kakashi still hasn't learned the lightning release armor, and he also still at the 6th gate, so it is too early to say anything about it. Lightning release armor needs great mastery over the lightning release to be trained, which is not something someone can accomplish easily. And it will take some time to adapt before it can be used. If Kakashi immediately used the lightning release armor after copying it, Kakashi will definitely be defeated even if Yondaime Reikage didn't do anything to him. As it is a secret of Reikage, Kakashi is so eager to learn it. Kakashi sat on a large stump at this moment. His mind and body fell into a state of calm. His hands forming hand seals, and the lighting attribute chakra inside his body is growing. Although Kakashi has all the chakra attributes, his strongest attribute is lighting. When lighting attribute chakra grows to a certain extent, the chakra inside Kakashi's body begins to flow according to the training method of the copied lightning release armor. Wherever the chakra went, Kakashi felt that there was a feeling of numbness. Kakashi frowned. This lightning release armor's practice is more difficult than I had imagined. It's just who Kakashi is, as he definitely a genius in ninjutsu's understanding. Especially the understanding of lightning release, as there is only a few people who can beat him. At the age of 12, he developed A-rank ninjutsu, Chidori. No one else is more talented than him. The dissatisfaction at the beginning did not kill Kakashi's motivation, but inspired Kakashi's fighting spirit. It's just lightning release armor, so Kakashi doesn't believe that he can't train it. Spiritual force slowly scattered in every corner of Kakashi's body. Kakashi began to perform extremely subtle chakra operations. Lighting attribute chakra is too violent, and if he is slightly careless, it will likely damage his body. Therefore, Kakashi must be extremely careful. Lighting attribute chakra struggles to move in Kakashi's meridians, stimulating every cell and every muscle of Kakashi. If someone sees Kakashi at this time, they will find that Kakashi's body flashed a lot of lightning from time to time. Lightning release armor's practice has begun to enter a new phase. On the other hand, Shisui finally arrived at the place where he's supposed to meet with Itachi. Shisui, you are late. Sorry, I met Kakashi Sr. on the road, so I talked with him a little. Shisui said with an apologetic look. Had a Kakashi? Itachi said quite surprised. Yeah, Kakashi-senpai is very famous recently. It is said that he defeated Yondaime Reikage, disintegrated Kumagakure's plot, and brought peace to Konoha. Kakashi-senpai is really my idol. People who bring peace to the village are indeed worthy of respect. Hey, when you join Anbu, you must enter the 6th team. If you work under Kakashi-senpai, you will definitely learn a lot. I know, Shisui, then, let's start practicing. Ha, you are too serious. Shisui scratched his head and said something helplessly. Chapter 122 Returning. In the 7th training field, the lightning on Kakashi's continued to flash, and then it disappeared like an illusion in an instant. It seems that the results are not bad, and it will require constant efforts. Hey Kakashi. That is the lightning release armor of Yondaime Reikage. I didn't expect this ninjutsu to be copied by you. Kakashi was a little surprised by the familiarity of this voice. The owner of this voice then appeared in front of Kakashi. Jiraiya-sama, you are back. Kakashi said with some excitement. The cursed seal is plaguing Kakashi's body right now, and Jiraiya is the key to solve this problem. So when he saw Jiraiya, Kakashi was naturally a little excited. Yeah, I just came back and saw you practicing here. So it really is the lightning release armor of Yondaime Reikage. Kakashi nodded, as there is no need to hide this kind of thing. After all, Kakashi will use it in battle after learning it, so it will be impossible to hide. It seems you gained a lot from the battle with Yondaime Reikage. I really didn't expect that you grew up so fast. I thought it would take at least 5 or 6 years before you can reach this level. Sure enough, genius can't be speculated with common sense. Jiraiya-sama is joking. These are all the fruits of hard work, and have nothing to do with being a genius. Only Kakashi knows for himself how much he has paid for the increase of his strength in the past 3 years. All of the practice is directly proportional to the growth of his strength. Kakashi never felt that genius could slack. Just like the original Kakashi, he is someone called a genius, but because of the depression he feels, the growth of strength is slowed down. In Naruto's world, genius and mediocrity have never been absolute. Jiraiya, Guy, Obito, and Naruto were once the lowest rankings. But what happened in the end? Which one of them is not the powerhouse in this world? Some people are just late bloomers. Kakashi has a mature mind, so he naturally won't be complacent just because of a little progress. He knows that there are still many terrifying peoples on this world that are stronger than him. He has a goal, so he knows that his strength is still not enough. In Kakashi's view, right now he is just getting started. That is a good statement. You can only achieve success through hard work. Over the years, you have grown a lot. If Minato can see you right now, he will be very relieved. Jiraiya patted Kakashi's shoulder as he said that. Jiraiya-sama, since you are back now, can you help me to solve this cursed seal? Sandaime has already told this matter to me. I have never seen Orochimaru's cursed seal, so I don't know if I can help you. Let me see it first. For Orochimaru's cursed seal, Jiraiya doesn't know much about it. He only knows that it is a product of Senjutsu chakra, so whether it can be lifted or not, Jiraiya doesn't know. You should sit down. Kakashi nodded and sat down cross-legged. Jiraiya looks at the mark on Kakashi's neck and the evil sealing method that Kakashi used. Kakashi, although you can suppress the cursed seal with the evil sealing method, you can't effectively suppress the cursed seal's corruption. I know, but I don't have any better way, so I hope that you have a solution as you master Senjutsu. Jiraiya touched her chin and said something awkwardly. Kakashi, I'm not really proficient in Senjutsu, so I don't understand about this cursed seal. But what is certain is that this cursed seal does contain Senjutsu chakra of Richie Cave. Hearing this, Kakashi is a little lost. If Jiraiya has no way to solve it, then he knows that this cursed seal is really troublesome. Seeing Kakashi's lost look, Jiraiya is also a little embarrassed. Kakashi, I have a solution. I will summon Fukasaku-sama and Shima-sama from Mount Mamboku. They may have a solution to this problem. Kakashi's eyes lit up when he heard this. 2 great sage toads' practice on Senjutsu chakra are very deep, they definitely not comparable to Jiraiya and Orochimaru. So, if these 2 come here, they may be able to solve this problem. Then please call them Jiraiya-sama. Well, wait a minute. It's a bit of a hassle to summon them. Jiraiya said. Then he bites his thumb and draws a strange pattern on his face. He then claps both of his hands together. After a while, Jiraiya forms hand seals and said, Kuchiyus no Jutsu. Boom. 2 small smokes then appeared in front of Kakashi. Ha. Why am I here? TM-chan, why are you here? Shima said with a walking ladle on her hands. It seems that we have been summoned by Jiraiya-chan. Fukasaku said without hesitation. Shima turned around and saw Jiraiya. Jiraiya-chan, why did you call us? I was making lunch for everyone. Yeah, Jiraiya-chan, is there anything you need? You won't call us easily. And there are no enemies here. So what do you want us to do? Jiraiya embarrassed as he scratches his head and said, Sorry, Kushira, Nisan, I asked you to come here this time, because there is something I need to trouble you too. What's the matter? Fukasaku said with some curiosity. It is like this, Kakashi, come over. Hearing this, Kakashi moves closer to Jiraiya. Kushira, Nisan, this person is Minato's disciple. Orochimaru planted him with a cursed seal that contains Senjutsu chakra of Richie Cave. I am not very good at Senjutsu, so I want you 2 to have a look. Can you help us to remove this cursed seal? Fukasaku and Shima then looked at each other. Shima said. 2-chan, this boy has silver white hair, shouldn't he be the one that Jiichi-sama said? Fukasaku looks at Kakashi carefully and said, It should be him, he has silver white hair, and a sealed eye. If I'm not mistaken, it should be Sharingan. Although Kakashi sealed the Sharingan, under Senjutsu, these things are nothing. Jiraiya and Kakashi were confused. Kushira, Nisan, what are you 2 talking about? Jiraiya asked in confusion. Jiraiya-chan, 3 years ago, Jiichi-sama had predicted something to us. He said that we would meet a silver white-haired teenager with a scarlet eye, and then we need bring him back till Jiichi-sama. What? Both Jiraiya and Kakashi were shocked. Yamamaru actually wants to see Kakashi. Chapter 123 Icha Paradise. Kushira, Nisan, why haven't I heard anything about this? Jiraiya asked curiously. Jiraiya still knows about Gamamaru's prophecy. Right now, Jiraiya is wandering around the world of tolerance, in addition to track Orochimaru's trail, is because of Gamamaru's prophecy. The child of prophecy, Jiraiya has not yet determined who it is. Originally, he thought it was Nagato, but he heard that Nagato seemed to be dead. Later he thought it was Minato, but now Minato is dead, so it is obviously not Minato, so who is it? What Gamamaru said about the change in this world, Jiraiya has not yet understand about it. Now Fukasaku and Shima tell them that Gamamaru wants to see Kakashi, Jiraiya is naturally surprised. Is Kakashi also related to this so-called change? Jiraiya-chan, we only knew about this thing 3 years ago, and you haven't been to Mount Mamboku for a long time, so you naturally don't know about it. Fukasaku said. Hearing this, Jiraiya was embarrassed and scratched his head. He really didn't go to Mount Mamboku for a long time now. So it's like that, hahaha. Jiraiya just laughed awkwardly. Without paying attention to Jiraiya's antics, Fukasaku looked at Kakashi. Kakashi, is it? Hearing this, Kakashi immediately said, yes. Fukasaku-sama. The cursed seal on your body is indeed the product of Richi Cave Senjutsu chakra. This kind of thing is deeply embedded inside your body. There is no way to completely remove it with external force, unless we use the sword of Totsuka from the legend to seal it. Is there any other way? The sword of Totsuka, Kakashi does not know where it is located. In the original work, it is in the hands of Itachi, but right now, it should not be in the hands of Itachi yet, so Kakashi does not know where to find it. Therefore, expecting such a thing is completely unreliable. The other way is to learn Senjutsu yourself. As long as you master Senjutsu, this kind of cursed seal won't have any effect at all. Senjutsu. Kakashi's eyes shines. If he can learn Senjutsu, his strength will get huge improvements. Kakashi has already started planning to learn Senjutsu since he had just arrived in this world. After all, Senjutsu is one of the strongest skills in this world. Finally, while facing 6-path Obito and 6-path Madara, only Senjutsu and Taijutsu will be able to hurt them. Yes, Senjutsu, but you are not a contractor of the Toads. So maybe we won't be able to teach you our Senjutsu. I will come to you after I go back and ask Kojaiji-sama. Boss, can't you let Kakashi sign the contract of the Toads directly? Jiraiya asked. Fukasaku glanced at Kakashi and said, no, he already has 2 blood contracts in his body, and one of the blood contracts is signed by a very powerful race. Our Toad race cannot share a contract with other races. So it's like that, Jiraiya said awkwardly. However, Jiraiya really didn't know when Kakashi signed another summoned beast. And it can be called a very powerful summoned beast by Fukasaku, so maybe it really is strong. Although he is curious, Jiraiya didn't plan to ask. Asking about Shinobi's ninjutsu secret is a big taboo. Even if it is between the master and the disciple, if the master didn't teach it, the disciple can't ask about it. Well, Ka-chan and I will go back first, and then come back here later. Fukasaku finished talking and then with Shima he teleported away from this place. Kakashi, don't worry, Gamamaru-sama will let you learn Mount Maiboku Senjutsu, since there is a prophecy about you. When you learn about it, you don't have to worry about this cursed seal. Yeah, I know, thank you Jiraiya-sama. No, you are Minato's disciple, so of course I'm gonna help you. Then this matter will end here first, so I'm going to collect some material. Jiraiya said, revealing a perverted expression. Kakashi is helpless as Jiraiya is right about this. Okay Jiraiya-sama. Jiraiya just wanted to leave, but suddenly he thought of something. He took out a book from his back pocket and said, Kakashi, is your 18-years-old birthday coming soon? This Icha Paradise was written by me after several years of collecting materials. It is absolutely superb. You have to study it carefully. It is definitely a man's favorite, hahaha. After Jiraiya put Icha Paradise on Kakashi's hand, he disappeared. Kakashi took over the Icha Paradise, which is the size of a palm. Is this Naruto's first banned book, Icha Paradise? When Kakashi found himself holding the book in his hand, he was a little excited. Could this be the legendary instinct? Then Kakashi's hands opened the book uncontrollably. And this book seems to release a dazzling light. Kakashi's right eye widened, looking at the Icha Paradise in front of him. This is. It's so nice. Kakashi couldn't help but feel that some of his blood was boiling, and he stood still and kept flipping through the book. It didn't take long for Kakashi to finish reading this not thick book. Kakashi closed Icha Paradise with a smile on his face. This kind of book can only be written by Jiraiya who has collected a lot of material. It is so wonderful. Kakashi put Icha Paradise into his own pocket. This kind of good book must be kept with him, so he can take it out to read it whenever he has time. Kakashi made a silent decision in his heart. It's wonder that Kakashi in the original book loves this book, and never tired reading it. Icha Paradise is just a small episode for Kakashi, and then Kakashi quickly entered the state of training again. With the help of Mount Mamboku, he didn't think too much about the cursed seal anymore. The question is whether Gamamaru will agree to let Fukasaku to teach him Senjutsu of Mount Mamboku. However, as Jiraiya said, since Gamamaru has a prophecy about him, he will definitely help him. So, he would be able to train Senjutsu without any problem. Fukasaku also understands about this, but he still needs to go as to make sure there is no problem. What made Kakashi really curious at this time was actually the Gamamaru's prophecy about himself. In the original, Gamamaru had nothing to do with Kakashi. According to Fukasaku, it was only 3 years ago that Gamamaru has prophecy about Kakashi. At that point in time, it was when Kakashi came to this world and merged with the original Kakashi. So, because of his interference, has the world become different? Has this little butterfly fanned its wings from the beginning? Chapter 124 Karen's Path. Karen, you should run faster, we almost arrive at the 7th training field. Naruto cried. Naruto, you should slow down, why are you running so fast? Karen, practicing is a very important thing. We are already late today, so we can't procrastinate anymore. If Shironai-chan knows that we are slacking, he will be disappointed in us. Okay, I understand. When Naruto talked about Kakashi, Karen immediately stopped complaining. In Karen's heart, Kakashi, who is the one that brought her back to Konoha, is definitely the most important person to her after her mother's death. After her mother was tortured to death in Kusagakure, Karen found an opportunity to sneak out. Soon after, she met Kakashi. For Karen, Kakashi is the savior who helps her to get out of the darkness. The two rushed all the way and soon they arrive at the 7th training field. That person looks like Shironai-chan. Naruto yelled. Really? Where? Karen asked excitedly when she heard what Naruto said, and at the same time she saw Kakashi is sitting at the 7th training field. Kakashi Nai-chan is really there, I thought he went out to execute mission. That's great. Let's go call him Karen. Okay. Kakashi opened his eyes at this point. Lightning Release Armor's training has just been carried out for the 2nd time, and he will stop the Lightning Release Armor's training for today. Right now, it is impossible for him to continue practicing. Kakashi is already very good at Lightning Release, but Lightning Release Armor is a new training style after all, so it will take time for Kakashi to adapt to this. So 2 times is already the limit for now. But after these 2 times, Kakashi feels a slight increase of strength in his body. It is important to note that Kakashi's body strength has been in a state of stagnation since he trained the 8 gates into the 6th gate. But now it seems that this Lightning Release Armor is able to break this bottleneck. Kakashi opened his eyes and there was a hint of joy on his face. Shironai-chan. Kakashi Nai-chan. 2 familiar shouts reached Kakashi's ears. Kakashi was taken aback, he then stood up and saw Naruto and Karen is walking towards him. Ah, it's Naruto and Karen, why are you two here? Kakashi's eye turned crescent and he asked with a smile. Of course, we came here to practice. Shironai-chan, I heard that you defeated the Reikage, and now you are Konoha's hero. Naruto said excitedly. Karen just looked at Kakashi with admiration. The news about Kakashi is everywhere in Konoha these days, and it is natural for them to know about it. Everyone in Konoha now knows the name of Hada Kakashi, and they respect Kakashi. When Naruto and Karen knew this, their hearts were also full of pride. It really is unexpected, Naruto, you sure are so diligent now. Karen, did you also practice with Naruto? Rubbing Naruto's blonde hair, Kakashi then asked Karen who is at the side. Well, I'm practicing with Naruto. These days, Naruto is guiding me in practice. Hearing this, Kakashi looked at Naruto weirdly. As far as Naruto's level, his understanding abilities still needs to be improved, so how could he teach Karen? If this continues, Karen will be led astray by Naruto. When Naruto saw Kakashi looking at him, he smiled guiltily. Obviously, Naruto has no confidence in his own teaching. He just said anything to help Karen. Karen, just ask me, if it is about training. Naruto himself is still training right now. If he teach you, I think there will be some problem. Shironai-chan, you can't say that, I am very serious about teaching. Naruto said unconvinced. Kakashi pressed Naruto's head and said, I know that you are very careful, but you can't teach this kind of thing right now, as it is very dangerous. Karen then hugged Kakashi's right hand and said, Kakashi Nai-chan, please teach me. No problem. Karen, your chakra reserve is huge, and there is a special power inside your chakra that is able to help people to recover from injuries and chakras. If this power can be used together with medical ninjutsu, the result would be amazing. Medical ninjutsu. Yes, medical ninjutsu is ninjutsu that cures others, just like this. Kakashi said as he took out a kunai and cut his finger to make a wound. Naruto and Karen are both surprised when they see this. Shironai-chan, what are you doing? Kakashi Nai-chan. Ah, it's okay, you should just watch. Kakashi said as he forms hand seals, then a green chakra appeared on his palm. He puts the green chakra over the wound on his finger, then the wounds start closing, and after a while there is not even a scar left. Both Naruto and Karen looked at this scene in front of them, and were shocked by the effect. This is medical ninjutsu. Amazing. Kakashi Nai-chan, I want to learn it. Shironai-chan, I want to learn it too. Karen and Naruto said as they looked at Kakashi expectantly. Naruto, medical ninjutsu needs to extraordinary chakra control. Your chakra control is really bad, so this ninjutsu is not for you. Ah, I can't. Naruto was a little disappointed after hearing this. Well, if you want to learn, you need to wait until your chakra control is as good as Karen. Okay, Naruto said grimly. Karen, I'm not very proficient in medical ninjutsu. Right now, I can only teach you some basic medical ninjutsu. After you master it, you should go to Konoha Hospital to learn more about this. Kakashi said to Karen. Karen nodded after hearing this. Okay, medical ninjutsu is like this. Kakashi explained the basics of medical ninjutsu to Karen, and then he began to teach Karen how to use the easiest medical ninjutsu. In Kakashi's view, it would be a pity for someone talented like Karen to not learn medical ninjutsu. After all, when Karen is bitten by Sasuke in the original work, it has amazing healing effects. If she learns medical ninjutsu, the healing effect will become even more amazing. Kakashi knows that Karen is really talented in medical ninjutsu. Kakashi intends to recommend her to Tsunade when she returns. With Karen's identity and talent, it shouldn't be difficult for Tsunade to accept Karen as her disciple. Of course, as an Uzumaki, the Fuinjutsu is naturally also indispensable. Kakashi doesn't know if Naruto has the talent in this area, but Karen must have it. So, when Kakashi feels that Karen is ready, Kakashi doesn't mind imparting knowledge of Fuinjutsu to her. After all, this is the thing of the Uzumaki clan. It is understandable that Kakashi will teach Karen about it. Moreover, Fuinjutsu is one of the strongest skills in the Naruto's world. Otherwise, the Uzumaki clan would not be annihilated, and Kagaya would not be sealed. Therefore, it is also essential for Karen to learn Fuinjutsu. The master of Fuinjutsu will definitely be important in the future. Chapter 125 Gamma Mary's Prophecy. By the time Kakashi finished teaching Naruto and Karen, it was already dark. After taking the two for dinner, Kakashi returned to his house. He then lied in his bed exhausted. Practice can never be easy. Hey Kakashi, you look very tired. Hearing someone talking, Kakashi was taken aback. He immediately got up and saw a tall white figure. It was Jiraiya. Jiraiya-sama, why are you here? Gamamiri-sama said that he wants to see you, so Kashira asked me to take you to Mount Mamboku. Kakashi was overjoyed and said, now. Yeah, now. Jiraiya finished speaking, he puts a hand on Kakashi's shoulder, and then with a bang, the two disappeared from the room. Kakashi only felt that the sky was spinning around for a while. It felt as if he had used the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. In the next second, Kakashi saw a lot of flower and birds flying around. Huge waterfall, there is also all kinds of weird plants. Of course, the most striking thing is the big and small toads. Jiraiya-chan, you are here. Fukasaku said. Yeah Kashira, I have brought Kakashi. Would you like to take him to see Gamamiri-sama now? Yeah. Right now, Ajiji-sama just woke up, so he should be asleep yet. Okay. Let's go, Kakashi. Yeah. Under the leadership of Jiraiya and Fukasaku, Kakashi walked into a huge stone house. Inside the stone house, a huge old toad sat on a seat, and the word sage was written under the seat. There was a bead with the word oil on it hanging from the old toad's neck, and a black hat on his head. Gamamaru. Legend says that he is a creature who has existed in the age of the Rakuto Sennin. Only at this time, Gamamaru seems to be in a deep sleep. Fukasaku jumped to the side of Gamamaru and said, Ichiji-sama, I have brought Kakashi. What? Gamamaru replied feebly, as if he hadn't woken up yet. Fukasaku was a little helpless and shouted, Ichiji-sama. Fukasaku-chan, is there anything you need? Ichiji-sama, I have brought the silver white-haired teenager you said before. What? The silver white-haired teenager? Ichiji-sama, have you forgotten? You were the one who told us to bring him to you. That silver white-haired teenager, where is he? He's right in front of you. Kakashi couldn't help but frown when he heard this. This Gamamaru must have a really serious Alzheimer. Jiraiya then whispered to Kakashi's ear. That's what the Gamamaru-sama is like, but Gamamaru-sama is very powerful. Okay. Gamamaru's eyes finally looked at Kakashi. So you are that teenager. I can feel that there is a huge power hidden inside your body, and this power will change the world. Jiraiya was stunned when he heard that. Kakashi is the child of prophecy. But he is not my disciple. It is naturally impossible for Jiraiya to accept Kakashi as a disciple, because Kakashi is Minato's disciple, so he is his grand disciple. Jiraiya is just helping to guide Kakashi before, so Kakashi is not his disciple. If he accepts Kakashi as a disciple, it will be strange. The voice of the Gamamaru was weak, and it seemed that he might be dead at any second. Young man, in the future you will meet two teenagers. They will become your disciples, and they will change the world, but the ultimate direction of the world will depend on you. Kakashi touched his chin. The two teenagers mentioned by Gamamaru should be Naruto and Sasuke. What does the so-called change of the world mean? Young man, I will tell you the prophecy. The silver white-haired red-eyed boy, the traveler of the world, the faithful twin, the wheel of fate begins to change and turn, and whether to go back home or not, it is all in the hands of the boy. After Gamamaru finished, he fell into a deep sleep again. After hearing this, Kakashi silently thought, what is the wheel of fate? Traveler. Get back to home. Gamamaru's unclear words are constantly tumbling in Kakashi's mind. The faithful twin, if he didn't guess wrong, should be Naruto and Sasuke, but what do other things mean? Kakashi, what did you think of? Seeing Kakashi thinking, Jiraiya couldn't help but ask. I don't know. These words are vague, so I can't guess what it means for now. Kakashi said quite helplessly. After all, it will be hard to understand the prophecy. Jiraiya, hearing this, nodded and said, yes, the prophecy that Gamamaru gave me were also vague. I don't understand what it means. Maybe I haven't met the real choice yet. Kakashi just stay silent. He obviously knows who Jiraiya is searching. But Kakashi can't say it. Before he becomes strong enough, Kakashi would not deliberately change the plot, otherwise he will lose all of his future knowledge. So it is better to stay silent for now. And Kakashi can't explain how he knows about it. But Kakashi will never let Jiraiya die in the hands of Pain Riken. There is no other reason, it is just because he is Jiraiya. That reason is enough. Kakashi-chan, Ijiji-sama has agreed to let you practice Senjutsu, said Fukasaku. Really? That's great. Hearing this, Kakashi is happy. Practicing Senjutsu will take a very long time, so you'd better get back first to deal with your affair on the outside world. When you finish, then you can come back to Mount Mamboku. This is Mount Mamboku's scroll. You just need to use Kuchi's no jutsu using this to get back to Mount Mamboku. Fukasaku said as he handed a small scroll to Kakashi. Kakashi can't sign the summoning contract of Mount Mamboku, so only through this style can he get into and out of Mount Mamboku. Thank you, Fukasaku-sama. Kakashi said as he takes the scroll. You're welcome, you are valued by Ijiji-sama. I am looking forward to your future. And I can see that your talent is much better than Jiraiya-chan. I know that you will be able to get to Sage Mode fast. Kashira, don't ridicule me like that. My talent is not bad, right? Jiraiya-chan, you have been studying Senjutsu for 30 years, but you still can't enter Sage Mode alone. So I must say that your talent is bad. Minato-chan is only learning for a few years, but he is better than you. Hearing Fukasaku's words, Jiraiya is speechless. Okay, what you said is very reasonable, I can't refute it at all. Chapter 126 Hell Valley. Kakashi didn't do anything at Mount Mamboku and returned directly to Konoha. He has already able to learn Senjutsu, but before that, he need to do some things at Konoha. Kakashi estimates that he will need a long time for practicing Senjutsu, so it is better if he finishes his affair here first. After all, he is not Naruto, so he will not be able to master Sage Mode in just a few days. Therefore, before he starts training, Kakashi had to report to Sandaime. This time he needs to go to Mount Mamboku, not to mention to master Senjutsu completely, at least he needs to eliminate the cursed seal before coming back. No one would feel comfortable with such a time bomb on their body. It was late at night when he came back, and Kakashi was not in a hurry. So he slept first, and then went to see Sandaime the next morning. Oh? So you have to go to Mount Mamboku to learn Senjutsu? Sandaime asked with a surprised tone. Before, he thought that Jiraiya could solve the problem of the cursed seal, and now it seems that he can't do that. However, it is a good chance for Kakashi to learn Senjutsu. Yes, Sandaime-sama, this training may take a long time, so I am afraid I can't execute mission in the near future. Well, the cursed seal problem has been dragging for a long while now, and it is indeed not good. I will give you my approval, you should come back as soon as possible. You are now an indispensable force in the village. Yes, Sandaime-sama. Kakashi, after you come back, there is something I need you to do. Sandaime said. What is it? Kakashi asked with some doubts. Asuma, that child has bad temper, so he quarreled with me and left Konoha to become one of the 12 guardians of the daimyo. I hope you can go to the daimyo's mansion to perform a mission later and look after Asuma for me along the way. I understand, Sandaime-sama. Ha, Asuma is not young anymore, but he is still so impulsive. Shinsuke's child is about to be born, he is still so naive. Sandaime looked melancholy. At this time, he is not the famous Hokage, but just a worried father. Sarutobi Shinsuke and his wife, Kazumi, are both elite in Anbu, and Kakashi has worked with them before. They are very good shinobi. Recently, Shinsuke and Kazumi have not been performing missions in Anbu recently, but are staying at home. Kazumi has been pregnant for more than 6 months, and she needs to raise a baby at home, and Shinsuke, who is going to be a father, naturally does not want to perform any mission, and wants to take care of his wife at home. And this child, if there is nothing wrong, it should be Konohamaru. Sandaime-sama can rest assured that Asuma will understand your painstaking efforts one day, and it may not be necessary or bad thing to gain experience outside. You're right, Asuma is also growing up. Okay, Kakashi, you should go now. When you get back from your training, you should report back to me. Okay? Sandaime-sama. Kakashi walked out of Hokage's office, ready to go home to pack his things, but as soon as he arrived in front of the door, he felt a summoning force. This is the reverse Kuchi's no jutsu. When this idea came to Kakashi's mind, he disappeared from that place with a bang. In the next second, Kakashi appeared in the Haddock mountain range. Kakashi looked it all around with some doubts, and he saw some familiar figure. It was Nanero and Pakin. Pakin, Nanero, why did you call me here? Kakashi asked doubtfully. Kakashi, the injury of Nanero is already healed, so he wants to go back to Hell Valley to see the situation. But I think it is too dangerous for him to go by himself, so I call you over here to help. Kakashi, Hell Valley is the home of my hellhound race. We will never give up that place, so I have to go back this time. The expression of Nenero is very firm, and it is clear that he has made up his mind. Nenero, are you sure you want to go back? Although the possibility of that person is still there is very low, if you really encounter them, you may not even have the chance to escape. Kakashi looks at the huge size of Nenero as he said solemnly. Pain Rakudo. With Kakashi's strength right now, he has no confidence against them. I have made my decision. Hearing this, Kakashi feels a little helpless and then he said. Well, since you decided, I naturally have nothing to say. This time I will accompany you back. Kakashi, you don't have to do it. This time, it will be very dangerous. Although your strength is good, you haven't fully grown up yet. If you really met those 6 people, you will definitely die. Don't worry, as long as I am careful and want to escape, no one in this world can catch me. With Flying Thunder God Jutsu at hand, even if it is not completed yet, Kakashi will be able to run easily. Hearing what Kakashi said, Nenero naturally can't say anything. Kakashi, be careful on the way. Hell Valley is located in a remote area between the Land of Rain and the Land of Grass. Nowadays, no one knows what happens in the Land of Rain. The whole country has been sealed off and no outsiders are allowed at all. Pakken said with a serious expression. Hearing this, Kakashi touched his chin. Was Hanzo already killed? In that case, half of shinobi there should have died in the hands of Nagato, and the Land of Rain has become the base of the Akatsuki. In this trip, he must not enter the territory of the Land of Rain, otherwise he will certainly be discovered by Nagato. There will definitely be a lot of trouble if that happens. Fortunately, Hell Valley is not located in the Land of Rain, so there should be no problem. I understand, you can rest assured. Nenero, should we go now? Yeah, let's go now. Nenero originally planned to go on his own this time. The other 9 little hellhounds are the hope for the future of Hell Valley, so Nenero will never take them to risk their safety. Since Kakashi planned to go with him at this time, Nenero would feel more at ease. Kakashi has mastered a space ninjutsu, so when necessary, they could escape easily. As a result, their safety would be guaranteed. But before that, Nenero, your body is too big. This time, we are trying to be low-key. I remember that you have the ability to change the size of your body. Can you make yourself smaller? Nenero nodded and said, yes. After that, Nenero's huge body disappeared and replaced with a small size like Pakken, and even his 3 heads became 1 head. Compared with the fierce appearance before, Nenero at this time looked much cute. Kakashi carried Nenero and placed him on his head. He then said, let's go. Yeah. Kakashi felt that his appearance at this time really resembled the Inizuka clan. However, this detail does not matter. Kakashi bid farewell to Pakken and set off to Hell Valley. Chapter 127 The Gate of Hell. Hell Valley is located in a remote area between the Land of Rain and the Land of Grass. The location is very remote. If you are not the person who knows the path, it is difficult to find this place. Just like the 3 Great Holy Land, this place is full of mystery. The reason why Nagato found this place was just a coincidence. It can only be said that the Hellhound race is in very bad luck, so this unlucky thing happened. Nagato's purpose was only to get a Hellhound summoned beast. As for the destruction of Hell Valley, it was completely an accident. After all, Nagato has no grudges with these summoned beasts, so he does not need to let them feel the so-called pain. Hellhounds have lived in Hell Valley for more than 1,000 years, and only a few people have come here. In the Shinobi World War, there was no participation of the Hellhound race. It can be said that they never cared about the outside world. Outside the Hell Valley, there is a barrier for guarding the Hellhound race. It was because of Nagato discovering this barrier at the beginning that he was able to discover Hell Valley. Nagato, who owns the animal path, will naturally not give up this kind of powerful summoned beast, so Hellhounds are suffering now because of this. Kakashi moves with his fastest speed, and after 2 days, he arrived at Hell Valley. At this time, the Hell Valley barrier has already been broken, and the entrance was already in ruins. Kakashi, here is the Hell Valley. Nenero said as he jumped down from Kakashi's head. He then looked at the ruined entrance in front of his eyes. There's anger, sadness, and helplessness. The home that he has been living for many years had been destroyed. For Nenero, this emotion is really hard to explain. This is the case in the shinobi world. Different groups will fight each other, and then all those killing will bring hatred. And hatred has never been something that is easy to resolve. Today you kill someone for revenge of your friends, and tomorrow someone else will kill you to avenge him. Shinobi's world is like this, wandering back and forth between killing and being killed. It is too difficult to be united and reach a mutual understanding. Where there is interest, there will be disputes. This is something that will happen, no matter where you are. In the original work, if it were not for the 5 great shinobi villages to have a common enemy, they definitely would not reach the peace that came later. But even so, how long can this kind of peace last? After the death of the older generation, can these 5 great shinobi villages still maintain this peace? No one knows, but human nature has never withstood the test. Kakashi looked at the scene in front of him, and couldn't help being surprised by Pain's destructive power. This level of attack, did Diva Pain use large-scale Shinra Tensei? There were gravel wreckages everywhere. It is a shocking sight for Kakashi. Nenero, are we still going in? Of course we still go in. Nenero said as he ran inside from the entrance. Seeing this, Kakashi followed Nenero and went in too. According to the words of the 9 little hellhounds before, all the hellhounds were killed in that disaster, except for Nenero and them. Except for Neneretsu's body, which was taken away by Rakuto Pain, the rest of the hellhounds' bodies were buried by the 9 little hellhounds. Perhaps the reason why the 9 little hellhounds were able to live is because Rakuto Pain weren't able to find them, or maybe Rakuto Pain found out about them but didn't care. Perhaps in Nagato's eyes, they are just weaklings, and there is no need to kill them. Nagato's heart was kind, but after Yahiko died, his eyes are now blinded with hatred. Not long after getting inside, they saw graves one after another. There are more than 100 graves, both large and small, which is the result of the 9 little hellhounds spending several days to make. Looking at the more than 100 new graves, the tears in Nenero's eyes gradually fell. Because at this time, the hellhound race was almost annihilated. It can be imagined how much hatred in Nenero's heart right now. All of you, I swear by the name of Nenero that one day, I will take revenge for you, and I will also bring Neneretsu's body back to Hell Valley. This is my, Nenero's lifetime oath. Kakashi silently looks at Nenero without saying anything. When he first entered Hell Valley, Kakashi had already increases his perception to the maximum, and found no danger. He knows that Nagato currently should be busy reconstructing a Megakure, and he should not have time to come to this place at all. But perhaps in Nagato's eyes, there is no more value of this place, so naturally he didn't care anymore. Nagato, he now claims to be a god, may have become indifferent and ruthless, and regards the common people like ants. In the face of such a powerful enemy, Kakashi needs to be wary. Kakashi, come with me. At this time, Nenero suddenly said. Kakashi was stunned for a moment, and then followed behind Nenero. After walking for a while, Kakashi then saw a stone gate in a remote corner. This is. Kakashi was a little puzzled. This stone gate was unremarkable. It looked like an ordinary stone gate, but Kakashi felt that there seemed to be a powerful strength behind this stone gate. This is the place that had been guarded by the Hellhound race for generations. Only after our race agrees that someone can enter it. What is inside? There is the gate of hell. The gate of hell? What is that? Is it a gate to hell? Kakashi asked with a weird look. Of course not. I am not very clear about what is in it, because I have never entered this place either. I just heard my father once said, when I was a child, that a powerful shinobi was recognized by our race decades ago, and was able to get in. What happened later? Later I don't know. Kakashi then frowns after hearing Nenero's answer. Then what did you bring me here for? Although I don't know what's inside, my father said there is a mysterious power inside. Mysterious power? Yeah, but Hellhound race won't be able to get in, so I hope you can go in. If you can get this mysterious power, maybe you can defeat that person. Kakashi looked at the stone gate and found it plain and unremarkable. Does the so-called mysterious power really exist? Kakashi thought, as it is hard to believe. Kakashi, you can rest assured that there will be no danger inside. Seeing Kakashi was silent, Nenero thought that Kakashi was afraid, so he quickly said. The fear lies on himself. Nenero knows that he won't be able to take revenge in his entire life. After all, his enemy is too powerful. And the abilities of summoned beasts become stronger with age. Right now, Nenero has almost reached the peak of his strength, and there is no way for him to increase it. But Kakashi is different. He is still young, and humans are creatures that cannot be measured by common sense. Although Nenero does not know what is inside the stone gate, he knows that there should be only advantages and no disadvantages inside. Okay, Nenero, I'll go in. After a moment of contemplation, Kakashi decided to go in. Although he doesn't know what is inside, for this thing to be guarded by the Hellhound race for generations, Kakashi knows that this thing is worthwhile. Chapter 128 Mural. Hearing Kakashi's agreement, Nenero were overjoyed and said, Kakashi, although there should be no danger inside, you must still be careful. Yeah, I know, how can I get in? Nenero did not answer, but walked to the side of the stone gate, and inserted his claws into a groove. At this moment, the stone gate emitted a burst of red light, and then it slowly opened. The deep hole seemed to trying to eat someone. The gusts of wind blew from the hole, and Kakashi couldn't help but shivered. Kakashi, be careful. Nenero said solemnly. Kakashi is his hope of revenge, and Nenero absolutely does not want anything to happen to Kakashi. And once a summoned beast has signed a contract with someone, they will become absolutely loyal. Of course, Manda from the Richi cave is an exception. Kakashi nodded and did not speak. Then he dispels the cold feeling by moving his chakra inside his body. Kakashi stepped in, but Nenero stayed outside. The pitch-black darkness made Kakashi unable to see anything at all, so he took out an oil lamp from his ninja bag and continues moving. The corridor is very long. Even after 10 minutes walking, Kakashi still did not see the end. The cave is very dry. It should be because it is closed all year round, which makes Kakashi feels very gloomy here. Under the lights from the lamps, Kakashi could see that the surrounding walls were very old. It is obvious that this cave has a very long history. The cave is very quiet, so quiet that Kakashi can't hear his own footsteps. After another 10 minutes, Kakashi finally felt that the place became brighter and the place became much wider. At the end of the corridor, there is a gate-shaped thing that is very big. Kakashi quickened his pace and soon arrives at this gate-shaped thing. This is. Kakashi looked at the thing in front of him and was surprised. The thing in front of Kakashi is 5 huge gates. Each gate has a different color, but the patterns on each gate are the same. Rashomon. 5-layer Rashomon. Shodaime Hokage best defensive ninjutsu, and later it was learned by Orochimaru too. But why does this thing appear here? Rashomon is something symbolizing death, and it is also called the gate to hell in the legend. Kakashi walked to the first Rashomon gate, which was several tens of meters high. Reaching out and touching the Rashomon gate, he only feels it is cold, and it feels kind of weird. Why is Rashomon here? Shouldn't it be the summoned object of Shodaime Hokage, Hashirama Senju? Could it be that the person who Ninero said that was recognized by the Hellhound race decades ago and entered this place, is the Shodaime Hokage? Kakashi walked aside and saw that there was a stone platform that can hold something beside the Rashomon, but now it is empty. Kakashi felt as if he had discovered something. If he didn't guess wrong, the one who entered here decades ago must be Shodaime Hokage. Otherwise, how would Shodaime Hokage use 5-layer Rashomon? Obviously, this is the place where Shodaime Hokage got the 5-layer Rashomon. Originally, there must be contract scroll of 5-layer Rashomon on top of this stone platform, but it has disappeared right now, and it should have been taken away by Shodaime Hokage. Right now, Orochimaru is able to use Rashomon, even Orochimaru's subordinates will be able to use it. So it seems that the contract scroll of Rashomon should be taken away by Orochimaru when he defected. Kakashi was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the so-called Forbidden Area in Hell Valley was actually the place where Rashomon was placed. If there is Rashomon's contract scroll here, it is indeed a good thing. But right now, there is no Rashomon's contract scroll. So Kakashi feels that it is a shame. The Rashomon gates were really big, so Kakashi couldn't move it at all. Kakashi was a little disappointed, as it seems that there is nothing he can get inside here. Look at the huge Rashomon gates, Kakashi couldn't help but smile wryly. It seems that he didn't get anything at all inside here, and makes all his cautiousness lost its meaning. But since he's already here, Kakashi didn't mind to do something to the Rashomon gates. Kakashi opened his Sharingan, and the black dart pattern in his Sharingan immediately formed. Kakashi then attached some chakra on his feet, and then he ran straight to the top of the Rashomon. After reaching the top, he presses his palm on the Rashomon. The black seal is formed instantly, and the black dart pattern of his Sharingan is constantly rotating. He is now imprinting the Rashomon gate with his Flying Thunder God Jutsu formula. Kakashi leaped down and landed on the ground. In the future, he might be fighting against Orochimaru again. And with this formula, he may be able to surprise attack Orochimaru. After finishing this, he closes his Mangekyo Sharingan, and then gently pulled the headband down. Right now, Kakashi has been using Mangekyo frequently, and he was able to feel that his left eye's vision was gradually declining. Although Mangekyou's blindness is not an imminent issue, it needs to be solved sooner or later. The Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Kakashi is helpless, as he never heard Obito to have any brother at all. Kakashi had previously suspected that Senjutsu might be able to delay Mangekyo's blindness, but now that he hasn't learned Senjutsu, he naturally doesn't know if his hypothesis is correct. Only after he learned Senjutsu that he can verify this thing. Just as Kakashi wanted to leave this place, suddenly, the mural on the wall attracted Kakashi's attention. Kakashi was startled as there seems to be some strange patterns in the mural. Kakashi then walked to the mural to take a closer look. He then puts the oil lamp aside, and a faint light illuminates the stone wall. But this light is enough for Kakashi. The mural is very large, as it covers the entire wall. The picture looks very rough and he doesn't know who left it. Kakashi looked at it carefully and suddenly, his eye went wide. What is introduced on this mural are actually 3 great artifacts. Sword of Kusanagi, Yotamir, Yusaka Magatama. There are 3 Sword of Kusanagi in this world. One of the Sword of Kusanagi is in the hands of Orochimaru, and the second one is Sword of Totsuka, a variant of the Sword of Kusanagi, that is wielded by Itachi Susanoo. And the last one is Sword of Kusanagi, that is wielded by Sasuke later. Kakashi looked at the mural on the wall, and quickly came to a conclusion. In Kakashi's view, the real Sword of Kusanagi should be the Sword of Totsuka wielded by Itachi Susanoo. As for Sword of Kusanagi that is wielded by Orochimaru and Sword of Kusanagi that is wielded by Sasuke, it is only a sharper sword. Sword of Totsuka, Yotamir, and Yusaka Magatama are all spiritual items, objects that does not really exist. Therefore, when it comes to power, the Sword of Totsuka is actually the most powerful among the 3 Sword of Kusanagi. Chapter 129 Natural Energy. As stated in the mural, this 3 great artifact is a spiritual item which exists in Susanoo. When Manjicum Sharingan is able to use Susanoo to a certain level, it will have the ability to use this kind of artifact, just like Itachi's Yasaka Magatama, that in fact, is using the power of Yasaka Magatama. The power of Susanoo is really enviable, but it seems difficult to use it only with one eye. Kakashi then said. In the original work, after his right eye is taken away by Danzo, Shisui was still able to use Susanoo with a single eye, and Uchiha Madara was more awesome as he could use it without any eyes at all. In other words, when Manjicum is opened, the user would be able to use Susanoo. The key to use Susanoo is the Manjicum Sharingan, and once the user has opens the Manjicum Sharingan, they would be able to use Susanoo even without both of their eyes. But unfortunately, Kakashi is not the original owner of the Sharingan. So at this time, Kakashi can't use Susanoo at all. At the original work, Kakashi is able to use Susanoo because Obito gave his other eye. And his Susanoo is amazingly powerful, but it is only short-lived. Kakashi can only envy this ability for now. This place actually has the information of 3 great artifacts, and there is also the existence of Rashomon, which makes Kakashi curious about the one who created this place. But speaking of the powers of the 3 great artifacts, Itachi Susanoo's equipment is really enviable. Its right hand is holding Sword of Totsuka, its left hand is holding Yata Mirror, and it is also able to use Yasaka Magatama. With such artifacts at hand, his Susanoo is really scary. Perhaps it is one of the reasons why Itachi is seriously ill. After digesting these amazing news slowly, Kakashi did not stay here much longer. This place is not very valuable for Kakashi, even if he found Rashomon gates, it is useless for Kakashi. Kakashi then turned and left. Soon, he arrives at the entrance of the cave. Seeing Kakashi coming out, Nenero hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Kakashi, how is it? What's inside?" "There's 5-layer Rashomon, but the contract scroll is gone so it cannot be used at all." Kakashi did not hide anything, and directly told Nenero about what he saw. Nenero was a little disappointed when he heard this. He didn't expect the so-called Forbidden Land to be like this. "Nenero, what are you going to do next?" "Rebuild Hell Valley." "Hell Valley is bound to be rebuilt, but it is still too early. After I get my revenge, I will rebuild Hell Valley." "Okay, when the time comes, I'll help you." "Thank you." "It's okay, I am your companion now, so this is what I should do." Nenero looked at Kakashi and he seemed to be moved by Kakashi's words. "Okay, we should go back now." "Yeah." The Hell Valley matter came to an end, and Kakashi didn't plan to stay here any longer. After all, this place is too close to the Land of Rain. So there's a lot of danger. At Mount Mumboku, a silhouette suddenly appeared. Silver white hair, black clothes, it is no other than Kakashi. After handling all of his affairs, Kakashi came to Mount Mumboku. Improving his strength is the most important thing for Kakashi right now, and naturally it can't be delayed. As soon as Kakashi arrived, he saw a familiar figure. "Fukasaku-sama." Kakashi called respectfully. He knows that this little toad contained terrifying power. "Ah, Kakashi-chan, you are finally here. Why did you take such a long time?" "Sorry, there are some things I need to do first." "Okay then, let's get started. The curse seal on your neck has been eroding your body. So if you don't solve it early, it will be very troublesome." "Yeah, I understand." "Then let's get started, come with me," Fukasaku said, as he starts moving. Kakashi then follows him into a waterfall with brown liquid. "Kakashi-chan, before you learn Sage Mode, I have to tell you what natural energy is. The so-called Sage Mode is actually to absorb the natural energy from the nature. We all know that the so-called chakra is formed by the fusion of the body's spiritual energy and the physical energy, and Senjutsu adds the natural energy on top of foundation. These 3 must be kept in balance, that is, the amounts of each of them need to be 1/3. And if the distribution is very unbalanced, you will become a stone frog. You see, there are so many stone frogs here, they all become like this because they fail to control the natural energy. If there is only a little imbalance of natural energy, you still can also use Sage Mode, but your body will have some of the frog feature. Jiraiya-chan is now in this situation. Sage Mode can only be practiced by someone who has a huge chakra reserve. Otherwise, it is impossible to control the violent natural energy. The more the chakra reserve, the better they will be at practicing Sage Mode. Of course, this is only part of the reason. Like Jiraiya-chan, his chakra is very huge, but his talent on Senjutsu is not so outstanding that even after training it for a long time, he still can't perfectly use the Sage Mode. Minato-chan has also learned Sage Mode. His talent is much better than Jiraiya-chan. Although his speed to enter Sage Mode is very slow, his state after entering it is much better than Jiraiya-chan. Kakashi-chan, although your chakra reserve is still not as large as Jiraiya-chan, you can still train in Senjutsu, as your chakra reserve is enough. As for whether you can successfully learn it or not, it depends on your own effort. I understand, Fukasaku-sama. Then what should I do next? How do I absorb this natural energy? Natural energy is very hard to sense, so the first step in practicing Sage Mode is to stay still. Stay still. So I need to not moving. Yes, you need to stay still. You see, this brown waterfall is the unique oil of Mount Mumboku, which can help you to feel the natural energy more quickly. So it's like that. Then will we start now? Yeah, I will apply this oil on your body later. If you can't control the natural energy, I will use this stick to knock out all the natural energy from your body. Fukasaku said as he took out a black stick. Okay, let's start now. Kakashi said as he took off his shirt, revealing his thin but muscular upper body. There's a red tattoo on his left arm, which is the symbol of Anbu. Well, let's get started. Kakashi-chan, you need to be very patient, I hope you can hold on. Don't worry Fukasaku-sama, my best virtue is patient after all. Kakashi said as he sat down cross-legged. Fukasaku takes some oil and splashed it directly on Kakashi's body. Kakashi only felt that his body was cold, and a very strange feeling came to his mind. The nature seems to be quiet in an instant, and Kakashi can feel that there is a formidable strength that gets into his body through the body part that is splattered by the oil. And his body seems to be undergoing a very strange change. Chapter 129 Natural Energy. As stated in the mural, this 3-grade artifact is a spiritual item which exists in Susanoo. When Mangekyou Sharingan is able to use Susanoo to a certain level, it will have the ability to use this kind of artifact, just like Itachi's Yasaka Magatama, that in fact is using the power of Yasaka Magatama. The power of Susanoo is really enviable, but it seems difficult to use it only with one eye. Kakashi then said. In the original work, after his right eye is taken away by Danzo, Shisui was still able to use Susanoo with a single eye, and Uchiha Madara was more awesome as he could use it without any eyes at all. In other words, when Mangekyou is opened, the user would be able to use Susanoo. The key to use Susanoo is the Mangekyou Sharingan, and once the user has opens the Mangekyou Sharingan, they would be able to use Susanoo even without both of their eyes. But unfortunately, Kakashi is not the original owner of the Sharingan. So at this time, Kakashi can't use Susanoo at all. At the original work, Kakashi is able to use Susanoo because Obito gave his other eye. And his Susanoo is amazingly powerful, but it is only short-lived. Kakashi can only envy this ability for now. This place actually has the information of 3-grade artifacts, and there is also the existence of Rashomon, which makes Kakashi curious about the one who created this place. But speaking of the powers of the 3-grade artifacts, Itachi Susanoo's equipment is really enviable. Its right hand is holding Sword of Totsuka, its left hand is holding Yata Mirror, and it is also able to use Yasaka Magatama. With such artifacts at hand, his Susanoo is really scary. Perhaps it is one of the reasons why Itachi is seriously ill. After digesting these amazing news slowly, Kakashi did not stay here much longer. This place is not very valuable for Kakashi, even if he found Rashomon gates, it is useless for Kakashi. Kakashi then turned and left. Soon, he arrives at the entrance of the cave. Seeing Kakashi coming out, Nenero hurriedly stepped forward and asked, Kakashi, how is it? What's inside? There's 5-layer Rashomon, but the contract scroll is gone, so it cannot be used at all. Kakashi did not hide anything, and directly told Nenero about what he saw. Nenero was a little disappointed when he heard this. He didn't expect the so-called Forbidden Land to be like this. Nenero, what are you going to do next? Rebuild Hell Valley. Hell Valley is bound to be rebuilt, but it is still too early. After I get my revenge, I will rebuild Hell Valley. Okay, when the time comes. I'll help you. Thank you. It's okay, I am your companion now, so this is what I should do. Nenero looked at Kakashi, and he seemed to be moved by Kakashi's words. Okay, we should go back now. Yeah. The Hell Valley matter came to an end, and Kakashi didn't plan to stay here any longer. After all, this place is too close to the Land of Rain. So there's a lot of danger. At Mount Mumboku, a silhouette suddenly appeared. Silver white hair, black clothes, it is no other than Kakashi. After handling all of his affairs, Kakashi came to Mount Mumboku. Improving his strength is the most important thing for Kakashi right now, and naturally it can't be delayed. As soon as Kakashi arrived, he saw a familiar figure. Fukasaku-sama. Kakashi called respectfully. He knows that this little toad contained terrifying power. Ah, Kakashi-chan, you are finally here. Why did you take such a long time? Sorry, there are some things I need to do first. Okay then, let's get started. The curse seal on your neck has been eroding your body. So if you don't solve it early, it will be very troublesome. Yeah, I understand. Then let's get started, come with me. Fukasaku said, as he starts moving. Kakashi then follows him into a waterfall with brown liquid. Kakashi-chan, before you learn Sage Mode, I have to tell you what natural energy is. The so-called Sage Mode is actually to absorb the natural energy from the nature. We all know that the so-called chakra is formed by the fusion of the body's spiritual energy and the physical energy, and Senjutsu adds the natural energy on top of foundation. These three must be kept in balance, that is, the amounts of each of them need to be 1/3. And if the distribution is very unbalanced, you will become a stone frog. You see there are so many stone frogs here, they all become like this because they fail to control the natural energy. If there is only a little imbalance of natural energy, you still can also use Sage Mode, but your body will have some of the frog feature. Jiraiya-chan is now in this situation. Sage Mode can only be practiced by someone who has a huge chakra reserve. Otherwise, it is impossible to control the violent natural energy. The more the chakra reserve, the better they will be at practicing sage mode. Of course, this is only part of the reason. Like Jiraiya-chan, his chakra is very huge, but his talent on Senjutsu is not so outstanding that even after training it for a long time, he still can't perfectly use the sage mode. Minato-chan has also learned sage mode. His talent is much better than Jiraiya-chan. Although his speed to enter sage mode is very slow, his state after entering it is much better than Jiraiya-chan. Kakashi-chan, although your chakra reserve is still not as large as Jiraiya-chan, you can still train in Senjutsu, as your chakra reserve is enough. As for whether you can successfully learn it or not, it depends on your own effort. I understand, Fukasaku-sama. Then what should I do next? How do I absorb this natural energy? Natural energy is very hard to sense, so the first step in practicing sage mode is to stay still. Stay still. So I need to not moving. Yes, you need to stay still. You see, this brown waterfall is the unique oil of Mount Mamboku, which can help you to feel the natural energy more quickly. So it's like that. Then will we start now? Yeah, I will apply this oil on your body later. If you can't control the natural energy, I will use this stick to knock out all the natural energy from your body. Fukasaku said as he took out a black stick. Okay, let's start now. Kakashi said as he took off his shirt, revealing his thin but muscular upper body. There's a red tattoo on his left arm, which is the symbol of Anbu. Well, let's get started. Kakashi-chan, you need to be very patient, I hope you can hold on. Don't worry Fukasaku-sama, my best virtue is patient after all. Kakashi said as he sat down cross-legged. Fukasaku takes some oil and splashed it directly on Kakashi's body. Kakashi only felt that his body was cold, and a very strange feeling came to his mind. The nature seems to be quiet in an instant, and Kakashi can feel that there is a formidable strength that gets into his body through the body part that is splattered by the oil. And his body seems to be undergoing a very strange change. Chapter 130 Sage Mode and Curse Seal. Kakashi felt cold, and then there was a change in his body. Spiritual energy and physical energy envelop the natural energy from the outside world, and the three then slowly blend in. Suddenly, Kakashi opened his eyes, and his pupil has turned into toad pupil. Following this, Kakashi's right hand swelled directly. At this moment, the black stick in Fukasaku's hand directly hits Kakashi's head. P. With a crisp sound, Kakashi felt that the violent natural energy in his body was immediately expelled from his body. Kakashi was sweating, and both of his hands were on the floor as he was panting. It's so risky, I almost became a stone frog. Kakashi said with a lingering fear. At that moment, Kakashi thought that he would become a stone frog. Kakashi-chan, the first time absorbing natural energy is like this. You have to remember that you can't absorb too much natural energy at a time. Otherwise, even I won't be able to expel it, then you will become like those stone statues. Yes, Fukasaku-sama, I understand. Well, let's keep going then. Kakashi nodded and sat down cross-legged again as he feels the energy in nature. Fukasaku looked at Kakashi, but he was a little shocked. Just before Kakashi lost control, the change that appeared on his face was much more perfect than Jiraiya and Minato. Kakashi was just beginning to come into contact with natural energy, but he didn't expect that Kakashi is able to get into this step this fast. According to the situation, Kakashi's sage mode will be stronger than both Minato's and Jiraiya's. He's really worthy of being a person valued by a Jiji-sama. His talent is really extraordinary. Fukasaku said emotionally, and once again it seems that Kakashi's body has changed. Only this time, it is much slower than the last time. Obviously, Kakashi is slowly adapting. And the speed of this adaptation is above Fukasaku's expectations. Natural energy wandered through Kakashi's body, and the curse seal on his neck also exudes a faint warmth. The black mark began to redden at this moment. Kakashi frowned. Obviously, this feeling makes Kakashi quite uncomfortable. Fukasaku looks at the curse seal with solemn eyes. All the three great holy lands Senjutsu is not the same. Although the principles are similar, the directions of the application are very different. Improper training of Mount Mamboku Senjutsu will turn the user into a stone, and improper training of Richie Cave Senjutsu will lead the user to insanity. If Kakashi can master Senjutsu of Mount Mamboku, then this curse seal can naturally be solved by Kakashi, and through this curse seal, he can get a glimpse of the Richie Cave Senjutsu mysteries. This is an opportunity and a test for Kakashi. After all, to understand a Senjutsu, he needs a very good talent. And to comprehend two different Senjutsu, the requirement is even higher. In Fukasaku's eyes, this curse seal is really a work of a genius. Although this curse seal is still immature, it is able to imprint Senjutsu on a person's body. If it can be developed and matured, then the person who has been imprinted will be able to use natural energy. Although this curse seal is very demanding on the user, it is undoubtedly much lower than the difficulty of practicing Senjutsu. Orochimaru is really a genius, although he has no talent on Senjutsu, but he is able to come up with such a thing. Kakashi knew better, that after Orochimaru met Yugo, the curse seal would become perfect. After using the cursed seal, the strength of the user will increase exponentially. If this cursed seal does not have so many side effects, Kakashi will be very happy to accept it. It's just that when this cursed seal is imprinted into someone's body, they will become a vessel for Orochimaru's soul. That will make someone uncomfortable. The reason Kakashi practiced Senjutsu this time is not only to remove the cursed seal, but it is also to take the opportunity to master the principle of the cursed seal. After all, the cursed seal is a bit similar to Fuinjutsu. Maybe this cursed seal will be able to become a storage device for Senjutsu chakra. It may have the same effect as Tsuneizin seal. The difference is that the cursed seal will store Senjutsu chakra and not normal chakra. If Kakashi can master the principle of this cursed seal, it may be possible for him to turn this Orochimaru's cursed seal into his own. At that time, as long as Orochimaru's marking is expelled, he can store his Senjutsu chakra inside the cursed seal. The condition for the activation of Mount Mamboku's Sage Mode was too harsh, and the slow time gathering nature energy is also a big flaw. If he can store Senjutsu chakra inside the cursed seal, Sage Mode can be used instantly. In this way, the efficiency will be much higher. After all, it is troublesome to prepare a shadow clone to absorb nature energy in one place at any time, and the shadow clone is also cannot be separated too far away. After the shadow clone is dispersed, the chakra can indeed return to the original body, but if the distance between the original and the shadow clone is too far, the chakra can't come back. That is also the reason why Naruto had to summon the shadow clone before dispersing it when he was fighting pain. But if it is using cursed seal, this drawback will be completely solved. It's easy to say, but it's not easy to do it. Right now, Kakashi still has a long way before mastering Senjutsu. Natural energy circled around the cursed seal, but couldn't enter it. This is because these natural energy are scattered and chaotic, and not in Kakashi's control, so it is impossible to fight against the organized natural energy inside the cursed seal. Two different natural energy are fighting against each other inside the cursed seal. Only it is now obvious that the cursed seal has the upper hand. Although evil sealing method restrains the cursed seal's power, it cannot help the natural energy to defeat the cursed seal. The silver-white eyebrow trembled slightly, and Kakashi felt the heat in his neck is getting worse. Kakashi-chan, you still haven't fully mastered Senjutsu right now. Don't try to do anything to cursed seal right now, it is useless. Seeing that Kakashi tries to fight the cursed seal, Fukasaku quickly persuaded him to stop. Although Orochimaru has no talent in Senjutsu, his talent in research is amazing. This kind of cursed seal is the masterpiece of Orochimaru. So how can Kakashi who still haven't mastered Senjutsu fight against it? If he insists, Kakashi will only suffer. Hearing this, Kakashi makes the natural energy to stop going inside the cursed seal, and moves inside his body to try to merge with his chakra. Again, there was a crisp sound, and the natural energy inside Kakashi's body was once again expelled by Fukasaku. Kakashi-chan, your progress is great. Continue to work hard, and leave the cursed seal for the time being. Kakashi nodded. He just tried it, and he knows that he still need time to solve the cursed seal. As expected of Orochimaru's masterpiece. Chapter 131 Step 1 completed. Under the brown waterfall, Kakashi, who had his upper body naked, was intently controlling the fusion of his normal chakra and the Senjutsu chakra inside his body. Kakashi-chan, 2-chan, come over for lunch. Shima's sudden call makes Kakashi startled, and instantly his head starts transforming into Toad's head. Seeing this, Fukasaku took the initiative and directly expelled the natural energy inside Kakashi's body. Kakashi-chan, we should stop for the time being. Let's have lunch first. Okay. Kakashi puts the clothes that were on the side and wear it again. Inside the house, Kakashi looks at the big bowl of insects in front of him, and his expression shows helplessness. Toad likes to eat this kind of thing. But he is a human being, so he has no appetite at all. Kakashi-chan, why don't you eat it? Ka-chan crafts are very good, so this bug is absolutely delicious. Fukasaku said while eating a large worm in the bowl. Seeing this, not only did Kakashi's appetite increase, he felt even more disgusting. Kakashi-chan, what's wrong? Why don't you eat the food? Shima said as she looked concerned. Shima-sama, I don't eat bugs, so I prepared dry food for myself. Kakashi had already known about the insect feast here, so he prepared some dry food. Are you sure, Kakashi-chan? You will regret it if you don't eat this kind of delicacy. Fukasaku said. Hearing this, Kakashi just chuckled as the only regret is to think about eating this kind of food. After eating, Kakashi and Fukasaku start training Senjutsu again. Late at night, next to the waterfall, Kakashi has not continued to practice, but sits on a huge plant right now. Fukasaku has fallen asleep so no one can help Kakashi expel the natural energy inside his body. Even if Kakashi wants to practice, he couldn't do it. Fortunately, Kakashi right now didn't lack time. Looking at the moon on the sky, Kakashi was a little emotional. It will be September 15th in a few days, which is his 18-years-old birthday. It feels just like yesterday, but now he has already lived in this world for almost 4 years. Inheriting original Kakashi's emotion, wisdom and talent, Kakashi's progress in the past 4 years is undoubtedly tremendous. At least at this time, he is much stronger than the original one. Sword skill, lightning release, Sharingan, plus Senjutsu. Kakashi has already embarked on a path that is completely different from the original. However, what these bring to Kakashi is not a sense of security, but a sense of urgency. After 4 years, there is not much time left. Sometimes in the dead of night, Kakashi would think of why he came here, and what is the reason or purpose for his rebirth. But unfortunately, even after thinking about it for a long time, Kakashi still couldn't figure out why. The reason why he practiced hard is because his heart is full of panic about the future. Even if the original Kakashi managed to live to the end, this does not mean that he can do it too. Although he has inherited everything from Kakashi, in the end, he is not original Kakashi. Therefore, only strength can bring Kakashi a warmth and reliance on this chaotic world. This world is too dangerous. Instead of pinning his hopes on the illusory original plot, Kakashi chose to strengthen himself first. Senjutsu is a very important part of Kakashi's plan, so Kakashi must not fail training this. After a day of practice, Kakashi found that he couldn't match Naruto's talent on Senjutsu, but he was much better than both Jiraiya and Minato. So, even if it takes a little longer, Kakashi will definitely be able to use Perfect Sage Mode. Feeling the power of natural energy right now, Kakashi became more and more curious about what would happen if all of the 3 Senjutsu from the 3 Great Holy Land merged together. Now he is already learning the Senjutsu of Mount Mamboku. As for Senjutsu of Richie Cave, he may be able to learn it from the Cursed Seal, and the Senjutsu chakra he got from Orochimaru's hideout in the past. But Kakashi has not found a clue about the most mysterious Shikatsu Forest Senjutsu. At this time, Tsunade is the only one who has the summoning contract of Shikatsu Forest, but he doesn't know about Tsunade's whereabouts. Therefore, Kakashi can only put aside Shikatsu Forest Senjutsu temporarily. A month later, under the brown waterfall, Kakashi opened his right eye. There is faint red eye shadow around his right eye, and the pupil in his right eye turns into yellow toad-like pupil. Unlike Naruto's Perfect Sage Mode, Kakashi's Sage Mode is still lacking, but he's not far from the Perfect Sage Mode. First step of Sage Mode practice is completed. Kakashi-chan, well done. You have completed the first step of using toad oil to practice the Senjutsu. Looking at your appearance, your Sage Mode is more perfect than the Jiraiya-chan and Minato-chan. Fukasaku said with surprise. For a month, Fukasaku did not expect Kakashi to complete the first step so fast. It's not enough. I can feel that the natural energy inside my body is not perfectly controlled yet. So I know that it's still far from perfect. Kakashi feels the natural energy inside his body is a little chaotic, and although the natural energy is balanced at 1/3, it is still barely, so Kakashi knows that there is still a gap until he perfected it. The reason for this gap is because of his chakra is not enough. In the end, he is not someone with monstrous chakra reserve like Naruto, so practicing to this level is already the limit. If he wants to break through, he must increase his chakra reserve. Otherwise, Kakashi will never be able to perfect the Sage Mode. It's already very good. Kakashi-chan, the first step has been completed. The next step is that you have to enter Sage Mode without using this oil. After all, you won't be able to use this oil outside of Mount Mamboku, Fukasaku said. I understand, but I have to go back to Konoha first, Kakashi said as he grabbed his clothes and put them on. Fukasaku had some doubts and asked, Kakashi-chan, what are you doing back to Konoha? Haven't you completed all the arrangement before coming here? There is something I need to deal with at Konoha. But rest assured, I will be back in a day. Well, since you insist, then go ahead. Seeing Kakashi's insistence, Fukasaku didn't say much. Senjutsu's practice has taken a long time, so it's kind of good for Kakashi to do something else at this moment. If Kakashi goes back to Konoha, maybe he can relax. Thank you very much, Fukasaku-sama, Kakashi said as he uses Flying Thunder God Jutsu to return to his room at Konoha. Ah, everything is so familiar. Kakashi walked to the calendar that is inside this room and tore off the past calendar paper. Kakashi turned and left, and today's date was written on the calendar. October 10th. Chapter 132 Iruka. Konoha Memorial Stone. The silver-white figure stands quietly in front of the monument. Minato-sensei, Kashinani-chan, 4 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Naruto is now 4 years old. He is strong, but also very naughty. He is simply a copy of Kashinani-chan. I'm sorry that I can't take care of him all the time. The future things have gave me too much pressure. I need to do a lot of things. But I have told Naruto about your messages and he is working hard now. Minato-sensei, there's one thing that I have never told you. Obito is not dead, but he fell into the darkness. One day, I will bring him back and apologize in front of you. Minato-sensei, Kashinani-chan, I will take care of everything in the village, but not now. I will help you complete your last wish. Minato-sensei, I have learned the first stage of your Flying Thunder God Jutsu, but I still can't use it as skillfully as you. A few weeks ago, I have fight against Yondaime Reikage. I am glad that I didn't embarrass your name and your Flying Thunder God Jutsu. Minato-sensei, I am also practicing Senjutsu right now. I hope that one day, I will have the opportunity to fight side by side with you. Today is Naruto's birthday. I know you two have a lot of regrets, but I will help you make up for it. Obito took the wrong road. But I will bring him back. This is my promise to you. Father, I still train in your swordsmanship. Although it's not as good as you, I won't let the Haddock clan sword technique be removed from the shinobi world. Also, about mother, I will find the answer one day. Kakashi looks at the memorial stone as the emotions in his heart are constantly fluctuating. Although the new Kakashi has never seen these people, the emotion belonging to original Kakashi is deeply engraved on his own. He then gently touches the name on the memorial stone. Namikaze Minato, Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Obito, Nahara Rin and Haddock Tsukumo. One familiar name after another, these were once Kakashi's most important people, but they are no longer here. Obito has fallen into the darkness and is no longer his former self. Kakashi stood still, but his heart was feeling something else. This world is really cruel. This world is really cruel to him. Just as Kakashi thought about life, a teenager holding a white bouquet came to the front of the memorial stone. Konoha's headband is tied on his forehead, and there is a knife scar at the bridge of his nose that connects to the sides of his cheek. But he doesn't look vicious. He actually looks kind. Seeing someone in front of the memorial stone, the teenager froze for a moment, then walked forward and asked, "Hello, are you coming to worship?" Kakashi turned to the head, and looks at the boy who holds the white flower. "This is Yumi no Uruka." "Ah, yeah, are you coming to worship too?" Uruka nodded and said, "Yeah, my parents are here too," Uruka said as he places the white flowers in his hand at the memorial stone. Kakashi didn't talk, and just stood still. At this time, Uruka was 14 years old and still a genin. As a shinobi, Uruka's talent is obviously insufficient, but his kind temper makes him a naturally good teacher. Unfortunately, at this time, Uruka still didn't have the quality of a teacher. If Kakashi remembers correctly, Uruka should become Chunin 2 years later, and then he will become a teacher at the Konoha Academy, and under his guidance, there will be 9 of the Konoha 12. He really is a great teacher, as Konoha's future pillar is basically in his hands. After Uruka put down the white flowers, he looked at Kakashi while thinking, "Why is this person looks familiar? Silver white hair, one-eyed." Suddenly, Uruka remembered. Wasn't he the rumored Konoha hero? Haddock Kakashi. "Are you Kakashi-senpai?" Uruka asked. Kakashi was stunned for a moment as he obviously wasn't expecting Uruka to recognize him. However, Kakashi understands as his appearance is too recognizable. Coupled with his reputation in Konoha right now, it is easy for someone to recognize him. "Yeah, that's me." Hearing this, bowed deeply to Kakashi, and said, "Kakashi-senpai, thank you very much for bringing peace to Konoha. Konoha is also my home, so it is a matter of course." Uruka looks at Kakashi as there is a trace of worship in his eyes. The people who protect the village can always be loved by everyone. "Kakashi-senpai, is there someone important to you here?" "Yeah, they are all very important people for me," Kakashi said, and he could not help but look at the gloomy sky. The weather today is really not very good. "Kakashi-senpai, can you tell me why can people bet their lives for others?" Uruka questionably asked. Uruka's parents died at the Kyuubi's attack in order to protect Uruka and all of the villagers. Kakashi has also bet his life fighting against Yondaime Reikage to protect the village. At least in Uruka's eyes, this is the case. The difference is that Uruka's parents died and Kakashi survived. For those who make the same choice, Uruka feels that he might get the answer he wants from Kakashi. Kakashi looked at Uruka. At this time, Uruka was still young, and he didn't think about many things clearly. It's no wonder he asked about this kind of thing. The original Uruka did not immediately acknowledge Naruto's existence after becoming Naruto's teacher. Only after his talk with Sandaime that he really acknowledges Naruto's existence and becoming the most important person in Naruto's life. After a person dies, everything will disappear. His past, present life, and future will all disappear together. Many people will die in war and mission, and it is very easy for people to die. Some of these dead people also have dreams. Everyone has their own most treasured things. Parents, brothers, friends, lovers, and partners in the village that is very important to them. They trust and help each other, and from the moment they are born, they have a bond with the people they think are important for them, and this bond will grow stronger and stronger over time. It doesn't require any reason, but people who have these kinds of bond will do this, because it is the thing they cherish the most. In this world, there are far more terrifying things than death, so people choose to protect their important people. Your life has just begun. One day you will understand why your parents make this choice. Kakashi finished, turned and left, leaving Uruka alone to contemplate about this in front of the memorial stone. After a while, Uruka then looked at the memorial stone and said, "Father, Mother, do you think so too?" Chapter 133 Present. On the 7th training field, Naruto and Karen are training their physical bodies. No matter what kind of shinobi they are, they need to train their physical bodies. After all, chakra is a product of both spiritual energy and physical energy. These two crossed their fists, and after that each of them stepped back 3 meters. "Karen, you are getting better and better." "Of course." Naruto, if you don't work hard, you will be overtaken by me. Karen said triumphantly. No way. Naruto was a little unconvinced when he heard this. Although Karen's progress was great, his progress was good too. Oh, you two are very energetic. Kakashi's figure suddenly appeared, startling Naruto and Karen. Shironai-chan. Kakashi Nai-chan. Seeing Kakashi here, both Naruto and Karen were overjoyed. They didn't see Kakashi for a month now, so these two missed Kakashi very much. You two came to practice so early, you two really worked hard. Of course. Shironai-chan, when did you come back? Did you go on a mission? I just came back because today is a special day. Special day. Naruto and Karen were confused. Naruto, today is your 4th birthday. Ah, my birthday. Naruto looks like he can't believe it. Was it today my birthday? From birth till now, Naruto never knows when his birthday is. Even Sandaime, who occasionally visited Naruto, did not tell him. Kakashi's eye turns crescent, and then he said, yes, it's your birthday, so I came back today to celebrate your birthday. I even prepared a birthday present for you. Kakashi said as he took out a 3-bladed kunai from his ninja bag and handed it to Naruto. Naruto, this kunai is specially made. In the whole Konoha, I'm the only one who has this. It is slightly heavier than the normal kunai, but after using it for a while, you may be able to control it easily. You can try it. Naruto took the 3-bladed kunai, and his hand drops a little, as it really was a little heavier than the normal kunai. He saw that there are 3 branches, and each branches had a blade, which looked very sharp. Naruto held it in his hand and tried to wave it. It feels very comfortable. Thank you, Shironai-chan. Naruto said excitedly. This is the first time Naruto has received a birthday present in his life. Karen, who is on the side, looked a little envious. I was with my mother last time on my birthday, but now, my mother is no longer there. Karen thought about these, and her expression becomes a little gloomy. Kakashi then saw Karen's expression as he thinks that Karen was frustrated because she did not receive any gift too. Karen, I haven't met you yet on your last birthday, so I will give you a birthday present right now. Kakashi said as he took out a brown frame glasses from his ninja bag. Karen, you can have this new pair of glasses. Karen's eyes lit up as she quickly took the glasses and replaced his original glasses with Kakashi's present. At this time, Xiang's looked really happy. Thank you, Kakashi Nai-chan, it's so beautiful, I like it very much. It's good that you like it. Kakashi said as his right hand touched Naruto's head and his left hand touched Karen's head. As he rubs their head, Kakashi felt that these two looks like Minato and Kushina when they are still young. They both have blonde and red hair that are really nostalgic colors. Naruto, since it is your birthday today, what do you want to eat? Shironai-chan, can I choose whatever I want? Naruto looked at Kakashi expectantly, and his eyes glistened. Kakashi smiled and said, of course, you can eat anything today. That's great. Shironai-chan, I want to eat ramen. Super big bowl ramen from Ichiraku. Kakashi just smiles as he already expected it. Karen frowns after hearing Naruto's answer. Naruto, you eat Ichiraku ramen every day, don't you get tired of it? Karen said helplessly. These days, Karen has been eating with Naruto. And Naruto always invites Karen to eat ramen every time. Although Ichiraku ramen is indeed a delicacy, eating it every day will make someone feel bored even if it is delicious. Unfortunately, Naruto won't ever feel that. Naruto has an almost crazy passion for Ichiraku ramen. No, Ichiraku ramen is the best food on this world. Karen just covered her face after hearing this. Well, Naruto is a ramen fanatic, so there is no way for him to not eat Ichiraku ramen. Well, today is Naruto's birthday, so he can eat whatever he wants. Hooray. Long live Shironai-chan. Naruto raised his hands to express his excitement. Karen also didn't care too much about this. After all, today is Naruto's birthday. Kakashi took Karen and Naruto to Ichiraku ramen, and it happened that both Tuchi and Aim were there. Hello Tuchi-san, bring us 2 bowls of miso ramen, and a super big bowl of miso ramen for Naruto. Oh Kakashi. I haven't seen you for a long time. The ramen will be ready soon. Tuchi said as he started to boil the noodles in a pot. Naruto's eager gaze stared straight at the Tuchi's hands. What a terrible obsession this guy has for ramen. Karen, are you used to staying in Konoha now? Well, it's much better than before. Karen recalls that when she was still in Kusagakure, she was used as a cure, and she was bitten every day. Now in Konoha, although she has been discriminated because of her relationship with Naruto, her life is actually much better than before. That's good. Then what about the medical ninjutsu practice? I have completed the basic training, so it should be possible for me to proceed to the next step. So fast. Kakashi was a little surprised, although the basic training of medical ninjutsu was not difficult, but to complete it in only a month, it is almost impossible. Sure enough, Karen's talent in medical ninjutsu is very terrifying. Karen, later I will take you to Konoha Hospital. I know someone who has a very good medical ninjutsu there. If you follow him, you will learn a lot. Thank you Kakashi Nai-chan. Kakashi smiled and didn't say much. Soon, the ramen arrived, and Naruto started his own ramen war. After eating ramen, Kakashi took the two to Konoha Hospital and entrusted Karen to an excellent medical shinobi. With Kakashi's current connections, this little thing was done in a short time. Then they part away, as Naruto and Karen still needs to train again later. And Kakashi needs to go back to Mount Mamboku. The return time was just one of an episode in Kakashi's life. After separating, Kakashi go back to Mount Mamboku to practice Sage Mode again. Inside the root space, a conspiracy against Kakashi is quietly brewing. Danzo-sama, Hada Kakashi went to see the Kyuubi Jinchuriki and the Uzumaki girl. Danzo slowly opened his half-closed left eye and said, "I know, you can go now." "Yes. Danzo-sama. Hada Kakashi, I shouldn't have let you live in the first place. I didn't expect it to be so tricky now. But even if you are strong, White Fang is still stronger. And I'm still able to kill him." Danzo narrowed his eyes as he kept thinking in his heart. Chapter 134 Cursed Seal Removed. In Mount Mamboku, Kakashi sat cross-legged on a stone slab, and under the stone slab was a stone cone with a height of 100 meters. The tip of the stone cone has only a small point to support the stone slab. If it is not for absolute balance and stillness, Kakashi's body will fall off in an instant. And falling down from such a high place is absolutely dangerous even for a shinobi. Kakashi opened his eyes slowly, and the seal on his left eye was automatically released. Kakashi's silver-white hair danced in the wind because he was not wearing his Konoha headband. The red eyeshadow slowly appeared on both of his eyes. His right eye is okay, just a yellow toad-like pupil like the Naruto in Sage Mode, while his left eye, Senjutsu Chakra and Sharingan are in conflict with each other, so his pupil didn't turn into his yellow toad-like pupil. Kakashi can feel that Sharingan and Senjutsu Chakra did not blend well together. They are mutually exclusive. So even though there's red eyeshadow on his left eye, there is no yellow toad-like pupil in his left eye, only the 3 Tomo Sharingan. It seems that it will take a while for Sharingan to adapt to this Senjutsu. Kakashi muttered to himself as he had a certain judgment on Senjutsu and Sharingan. But Kakashi has a feeling that when Senjutsu and Sharingan finally merge together, they will inevitably cause some changes. Looking at Kakashi's appearance, Fukasaku showed a happy expression. "I didn't expect Kakashi-chan to succeed. The hard work for more than a year has not been in vain." In Sage Mode, Kakashi-chan has surpassed both Minato-chan and Jiraiya-chan. I really don't know what kind of expression Jiraiya-chan shows when he knows about this. After all, it is really embarrassing to be surpassed by his own grand disciple. After entering Sage Mode, Kakashi touched the cursed seal at his neck. "It's time to erase you." Orochimaru's imprint has been left in his body, and Kakashi often feels like he is in danger. Now that he has mastered Senjutsu, Kakashi will naturally not keep such a time bomb anymore. For more than a year, Kakashi hasn't just practicing Senjutsu. Against the cursed seal, Kakashi can be said to have a deep understanding about it now. Kakashi's understanding of Fuinjutsu is good, and with more than a year of research, Kakashi's eyes can see through the secret of this cursed seal. To put it bluntly, this kind of cursed seal is to use chakra in a specific arrangement and combine with certain rules. Both Fuinjutsu and Flying Thunder God Jutsu are using this kind of principle. The most difficult part of Orochimaru's cursed seal is the understanding of Senjutsu. Orochimaru didn't have talent in Senjutsu, so he came up with a way to make up for it. It's just that Senjutsu is not easy to control, and Orochimaru's cursed seal is just 50% finished. Of course, another 50% is because of Orochimaru's mastery of Senjutsu was not perfect. But Kakashi is different. Although his mastery of Senjutsu is still not as good as future Naruto, it is already enough to deal with the cursed seal. Kakashi's research on the cursed seal has also reached the final step. As long as he disassembles the cursed seal, Kakashi believes that he can also invent a similar or even more perfect cursed seal. After thinking about this, Kakashi slowly closed his eyes and slowly moved the extracted Senjutsu chakra to the cursed seal. The gloomy chakra continued to tumbling around in the cursed seal, obviously feeling its own crisis. Toads and snakes hostile to each other, so Senjutsu of Mount Mamboku and Senjutsu of Richi Cave also have restrained each other. When the two met, it was as if water has dropped in a pan full of boiling oil, causing a violent reaction to occur. Senjutsu chakra entered the cursed seal, and the original black symbol began to turn red. Kakashi could clearly sense a sharp pain in his neck as this happened. However, Kakashi did not give up. He could feel that this was a good time to eliminate the cursed seal. With both hands forming a hand seal, he silently controlled the generated Senjutsu chakra to move to the cursed seal. The Richi Cave Senjutsu chakra inside the cursed seal seems to have sensed the threat and wants to avoid it, but as it was bounded by the evil sealing method, it couldn't avoid it. The Richi Cave Senjutsu chakra inside the cursed seal is quite a lot, but compared to Mount Mamboku's Senjutsu chakra absorbed by Kakashi, it is still inferior. Considering that they are of the same quality, it is the quantity that determines the outcome. Although the cursed seal can automatically absorb the natural energy, it still can't keep up with the rate of consumption. The total amount of Senjutsu chakra absorbed by Kakashi itself far exceeds that of the Senjutsu chakra inside the cursed seal. At this moment, the cursed seal is like a sitting duck. Facing Kakashi's natural energy that is like a tidal wave, it can only barely protect itself. However, in the face of such a situation, it was clear that it was only a matter of time before the cursed seal was removed by Kakashi. Is Kakashi-chan trying to remove the cursed seal? I don't know if he will succeed this time. Over the past year or so, Kakashi has also tried to remove the cursed seal, but no one knows if it is because he hasn't mastered Senjutsu, or his understanding of the cursed seal is still not enough. Kakashi has failed several times. Now that he mastered the Senjutsu, Fukasaku feels that there should be no problem. As Kakashi is still not moving, the cursed seal had turned blood red and was getting hotter. The secret of the cursed seal, it turned out to be like this. He opens his eyes suddenly, and the clash inside the cursed seal just now had made Kakashi fully understand about the cursed seal. Since I know all of the secrets now, then it is over. Kakashi secretly thought, as the Senjutsu chakra inside his body suddenly rushed into the cursed seal. The red symbol slowly faded out of color, turned into original black color, and then slowly faded. Finally, the symbol disappeared from Kakashi's neck. At this time, land of sound, thousands of miles away. Inside the cold and humid laboratory, a pale-skinned, long-haired man suddenly shows a surprised expression. Kakashi actually removed the cursed seal. Orochimaru stuck out his tongue and licked his lips lightly, revealing a meaningful smile. Kakashi, you really make me look forward to it more and more. 1 year ago, you were able to defeat Yondaime Reikage. Now that I have learned Senjutsu, what will your future be? But my cursed seal is still not perfect. It seems that I should go to that place to find a way. Orochimaru said as he looks at the map on the wall. There was a place that is marked with a kunai. Libro Village. At this time, the door was knocked open. The incoming person has a white hair, and his face is indifferent and delicate. The most attractive thing is the 2 dots on his forehead. Orochimaru-sama, are you looking for me? Kamimuro, I need you to go to that place and grab a person for me. Orochimaru points to the marked place on the map. Kamimuro glanced silently, nodded and said, yes. Orochimaru-sama. Chapter 135 Silver Cursed Seal. Mount Mumboku, above the stone cone. Kakashi's neck felt cold after removing the cursed seal, and the original feeling of being restrained disappeared without a trace in an instant. Kakashi showed a smile. The cursed seal was finally removed. Fukasaku was also delighted to see the black cursed seal symbol on Kakashi's neck disappear. Kakashi-chan finally succeeded. After removing the cursed seal, Kakashi didn't get down immediately, but absorbed natural energy again. Fukasaku's face is full of doubts after seeing this. Kakashi-chan, what is he going to do? Although he was curious, Fukasaku didn't disturb Kakashi, but quietly stayed below. Kakashi must have his own reasons for doing this. After being together for more than a year, Fukasaku now knows Kakashi quite well. This seemingly lazy person was actually really persistent. Moreover, Kakashi is definitely a smart person. Fukasaku has no doubt about this. So, although he doesn't know what Kakashi is doing, but Fukasaku can be sure that Kakashi has his own reasons for doing this. Just after removing the cursed seal, Kakashi has exhausted his Senjutsu chakra, so at this time he was replenishing the one being consumed. A few minutes later, Kakashi's red eyeshadow reappeared. Kakashi then starts forming dozens of hand seals using his hand. What kind of ninjutsu seal is this? Why haven't I seen it before? Fukasaku said in confusion. However, Kakashi didn't hear Fukasaku at all. After Kakashi finishing his hand seals, Fukasaku saw that Senjutsu chakra inside Kakashi's body faded like a tide. These Senjutsu chakra all flocked to the same place, which is Kakashi's back. After that, 3 silver-white Tomo's symbol appeared in the back of his waist, just like the shape of the previous cursed seal. Seeing this, Fukasaku was surprised. What is going on here? How did the cursed seal reappear on Kakashi-chan's body? Could it be that he failed to remove it before? No, the pattern of the cursed seal is the same as this one, but the color is different. Moreover, the Senjutsu chakra inside that cursed seal is the Senjutsu chakra of Mount Mumboku. Thinking of this, Fukasaku's eyes widened. Could it be that Kakashi-chan made the cursed seal by himself? He actually copied Orochimaru's cursed seal. Fukasaku was surprised as he couldn't believe Kakashi could do this. Kakashi slowly opened his eyes, and there is joy on his eyes. Success. These 3 silver-white Tomos were developed by Kakashi himself, according to Orochimaru's cursed seal. This silver-white Tomo pattern is a cursed seal that belongs to Kakashi himself. This cursed seal can store Senjutsu chakra of Mount Mumboku. When Kakashi wants to enter Sage mode, the cursed seal will automatically appear. At that time, it will be much faster than absorbing natural energy on the spot. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is an instant entry into Sage mode. At this point, the practice of Senjutsu has come to an end for Kakashi. Kakashi turned around and grabbed a stone slab under him and jumped off the stone cone. Kakashi-chan, what is that cursed seal on your back? Seeing Kakashi came down, Fukasaku couldn't help but ask. Fukasaku-sama, this silver-white cursed seal is based on Orochimaru's cursed seal. Orochimaru's cursed seal still has a lot of merits. Now that I make this curse seal myself, there is no more danger. With this thing, I can instantly enter sage mode, look. Kakashi said, then he closes his eyes, and in an instant, red eyeshadows reappeared. Seeing this, Fukasaku's face is full of shock. The biggest drawback of sage mode is that it takes a lot of time to absorb natural energy before entering sage mode. And now Kakashi actually solved this problem. This was a surprise to Fukasaku. It wasn't because of how talented Kakashi is, but Kakashi actually absorbs Orochimaru's research on Curse Seal and make it his own. After all, Orochimaru has spent a lot of time to research Curse Seal. And all of this is actually absorbed by Kakashi. With the foundation of this Curse Seal, it is much easier for Kakashi to create a new Curse Seal for himself. After all, transformation is much simpler than making it out of nothing. It was like when Yondaime Hokage Namikaze Minato took 3 years to create Rasengan, while Naruto is able to master it in just over a week. Is Naruto more talented than Minato? Actually, Naruto is just learning, but Minato is creating. The effort involved in this process is completely different. The same is true of Kakashi's improved Curse Seal. Kakashi-chan, you're a genius, you can think of this way. Thank you for your praise, Fukasaku-sama. But I'm just improving the Curse Seal. Fukasaku-sama, now that the Curse Seal has been eliminated, I should go back to Konoha. Fukasaku nodded and then said, okay, Kakashi-chan, you should visit us at Mount Mumboku sometime. For sure. After Kakashi finished, he uses Flying Thunder God Jutsu to return to his bedroom. For more than a year, Kakashi has not been staying at Mount Mumboku all the time. Although Sandaime approved Kakashi's holiday, it is impossible to let him leave for too long. After all, Kakashi is not someone like Jiraiya and Tsunade. He has his own position in Konoha. It is worth mentioning that due to the outstanding performance of Kakashi, Kakashi is now Anbu Captain. In the whole Anbu, except for Anbu Commander, the most important position is Anbu Captain. Anbu Captain has another name, which is Deputy Anbu Commander. There are only 3 Anbu Captain in Anbu. It can be said that Kakashi's status in the Anbu is below 1 person and above 10,000 peoples. However, Anbu's structure is different from the general department. Although there are positions and powers, all of them still need to do mission. Because for Anbu, no matter how high their position is, they are still under the direct command of Hokage. When encountering some important missions, Sandaime will still choose Kakashi to complete it. If this is not the case, Kakashi may be able to complete his practice even earlier. But his progress is not too slow, so Kakashi is very satisfied. After resting for one night, Kakashi came to the Hokage office the next day. Oh, Kakashi. Did you complete your training? When Kakashi came in, Sandaime found that the curse seal on Kakashi's neck had disappeared. Obviously, Kakashi must have eliminated the curse seal. Yes, Sandaime-sama. Sorry for all the trouble. Haha, no need to be polite, Kakashi. Since you are back now, there is one mission with no suitable candidates. Sandaime said as he throws a scroll to Kakashi. Kakashi did not hesitate and took it directly. Mission location, Libro Village. Chapter 136 Yugo. In the northern part of the Land of Fire, there is a small village called Libro Village. There are not many people in the village, only about 100 people. But the people in this village have a very special physique. They can absorb the natural energy without training in Senjutsu. Although it is very small, and cannot increase their combat power, it's still able to make their bodies as strong as shinobi. In this village, there is mutated kid called Jugo. The amount of natural energy he absorbs is so much that he will fall into the rampage as he absorbs too much of natural energy. His body will be covered with black lines, and sometimes he even becomes a monster. Because of this terrifying mutation, everyone in the village are scared of Jugo. Although he is a child with good nature, once he rampages, he will destroy everything in front of him. This is something he can't control. In other words, he has a dual personality. Therefore, the kind-hearted Jugo trapped himself in a cave. In his opinion, only when he is inside this cave that he won't hurt anyone. He really is a very kind person. Jugo, who was thinly clothed, sat alone in the gloomy cave, burying his head in his knees. The lonely figure would make people feel a little distressed when seen. Some people in this world are like this, facing an unfair fate from their birth. Some people are lucky as they are able to meet someone who can save them, while some other people are not lucky as there is no one to save them. If the next person who comes here is a man, I will kill him. If it is a woman, then I will let her go. Yugo's right face was covered with black lines, and his right eye turned into a strange color. He kept mumbling to himself, as if he was making a difficult decision. Outside the Libro village, Kakashi was alone, and his black windbreaker was fluttering because of the wind. This time Kakashi did not come as Anbu, so he is not wearing his mask. Konoha's headband is tied to his head, and no matter who it is, they will know Kakashi's identity at first sight. After all, within the territory of the Land of Fire, everyone knows about Konoha. Libro Village, monster. Kakashi muttered to himself, as he recalled the content of the mission scroll. Quest content. Libro Village is often attacked by a monster. Libro Village hopes that Konoha can kill the monster or drive it away. Interesting, Libra, monster, is it Jugo? Step by step, Kakashi has appeared on the edge of Libro village. Without staying too much, Kakashi went directly to the employer's home, the village head of Libro village. Shinobi-sama, you are finally here. The village chief is an old elder. His face is full of wrinkles, and his expression reveals a worried look. Village chief, where is this monster? Kakashi asked. Shinobi-sama, this monster is in a cave on the mountain. Shinobi-sama, you have to be careful as this monster is very fierce. The village chief said with concern. Well, I understand, thank you. Kakashi finished speaking and went up the mountain alone. The village sighed and said, I hope this problem can be solved this time. On the other hand, Kamimuro also came to Libro village. Hey kid, don't go up to that mountain. There's a monster on the mountain that is very dangerous. The middle-aged uncle brandished a hoe in the field and quickly persuaded Kamimuro when he saw Kamimuro is walking towards the mountain. Monster? Kamimuro coldly said. Yeah, there's a monster on the mountain. He often goes down the mountain to kill people. If you go up the mountain, you will be killed by him. Uncle said as his face shows trace of fear. At the same time, afraid that Kamimuro would not believe him, he pointed to a destroyed house on the side. That is the masterpiece of that monster. Kamimuro glanced coldly, then without speaking, he going up the mountain again. Hey. What I said is true, don't go up the mountain. But no matter what that uncle said, Kamimuro is still going up the mountain. Ha, why doesn't that child listen to me? Forget it, I just need to take care of myself. Seeing that Kamimuro didn't listen to him, the middle-aged uncle didn't care Kamimuro. He already did everything could to help. If Kamimuro still want to court death, the middle-aged uncle can't say anything. Kakashi stood somewhere on the mountain and looked at the cave in front of him. It should be here. Kakashi could feel that in the cave, although weak, there is some trace of Senjutsu. After practicing Senjutsu, even if Kakashi didn't enter Sage mode, his perception is still much stronger than before. There is a strong sense of natural energy. Without much thought, Kakashi walked directly into the cave. The dark cave is a bit damp, but it looks quite tidy, so this cave should be inhabited by someone. Not long after, Kakashi saw that there were many stone pillars in front of him. The stone pillars were not too thick, just like a railing. This is like a prison made out of stone pillars. Inside the stone pillar railing, there was an orange-haired teenager who buried his head in his knee and whispered, Don't come over. Don't come over. If you come over, I will kill you. His voice is low, and there is a trace of madness. Kakashi can feel that the boy's body was constantly absorbing natural energy at this time, and the natural energy had already exceeded the load of his body. This is the origin of the cursed seal, Jugo. His speed of absorbing natural energy is really fast. Just when Kakashi was feeling emotional, Shijigo suddenly stood up, and half of his face was covered with black lines. Haha, oh, it is a man. Another one to die. Let me send you to hell. Yugo's voice became sharp and gloomy. His right hand instantly turned into grey tentacles, and then he jumped, directly smashing the stone pillar railing. Go to hell. Yugo yelled as his right fist turns into some kind of monster hand, and smashes towards Kakashi. Good attack power. Kakashi sighed, then he forms hand seals. Needle Jizo. His silver-white hair stretches instantly, becoming as hard as iron, and wrapped around his body to protect him. Ding. Yugo's iron fist landed on Kakashi's needle Jizo, and then sound of iron clashing was heard. Arg. Yugo screamed, as his right hand that transformed into monster hand was actually pierced by Kakashi's needle Jizo. The blood dripped down and fell on the ground. Needle Jizo are both offensive and defensive jutsu. Under the catalysis of chakra, the silver-white hair becomes extremely hard, like steel needles. Yugo smashed it so hard, so it was natural that he is injured. What's more, Shigeo is still a kid now, just 8 or 9 years old. So his cursed seal is still not as strong as when he is with Sasuke. The intense pain made Jugo even crazier. Ah. Damn it. Yugo screamed and the cursed seal symbol on his body spread. Chapter 137 Cage. The huge emotional fluctuations made Jugo's cursed seal become more active. Seeing this, Kakashi frowned. It shouldn't continue like this. I didn't come here to kill Jugo. If Jugo's cursed seal can be controlled, with his physique that can also use Senjutsu chakra, he will definitely be an important asset in the future. Senjutsu, Fuinjutsu, and Taijutsu. These are all the things that will be important in the future. And whether it is Karen or Jugo, both of them are talented people. In Kakashi's opinion, they are definitely worth to be trained. Although they may not be able to help at the end, it would be a good thing if the original tragic fate of these people can be changed. Thinking of this, Kakashi decided to stop Jugo's rampage first, so that he could talk to Jugo. Jugo is a kind person, so Kakashi doesn't need to worry about Jugo would follow him or not. As long as Kakashi shows the power that can control Jugo, Jugo will naturally not object. After all, staying here will also hurt people. These are not what Jugo is willing to do. What Jugo need is one person that can control him when he rampages. Moreover, he is also a lonely person. But after a while, Jugo's body is fully transformed into a monster, or it could be said that he was in the state of Cursed Seal's second level. Hahaha, go to hell. At this moment, what Kakashi saw is not the handsome boy from before, but a monster with terrifying and hideous face. Kakashi shook his head. Poor kid. You got the power you couldn't control, so you lost yourself. In that case, let me make a cage for you. Under the cursed seal, Jugo's strength greatly increased. Kakashi could feel the wind brought by Jugo's fist. Kakashi narrowed his right eye, he moves his right foot a little, and steps sideways, barely avoiding Jugo's iron fist. He then moves behind Jugo, his right hand then turned into a fist as he punches Jugo's back. Arg. Jugo cried out painfully as this blow knocked him away directly, and then he was smashed into the stone wall. Boom. There was a loud noise, and a human-shaped hull appeared on the stone wall. Kakashi did not chase after Jugo, but stood in the same place as he looks at the hole. Not long after, Chunga walked out from the hole. He is not badly wounded. The punch is good, but I'm still okay. Kakashi just sighed. Jugo roared again and rushed over Kakashi. His right hand then tries to smash towards Kakashi again. Kakashi shook his head, seeing Jugo still tried to attack him. Seeing Jugo tries to attack him again, Kakashi decided not to waste time. He then formed hand seals. Earth release. Rock pillar prison technique. As soon as the voice fell, some thick stone pillars protrude from the ground, firmly locking Jugo's limbs. No matter how hard Jugo struggle, it is futile. Hey. Let me go. You damn guy. Jugo's monster face was full of murderous intent, as he wanted to kill Kakashi. Kakashi has no doubt that if Jugo really has the ability to kill him, he will definitely do it. It is a pity that at this time, he is already under Kakashi's control. With Kakashi's ability, Jugo won't be able to break free. Kakashi walked in front of Shigego and said, Jugo, you should leave this place and come with me, you don't belong to this place. Jugo's cursed seal slowly faded at this time. After all, Jugo is still young, so he won't be able to stay at cursed seal's second level for a long time. Jugo, his cursed seal had faded away, looked a little haggard. Obviously, using the cursed seal like this would drain Jugo's stamina a lot. I can't leave here, I will hurt others if I leave. Jugo said, showing a lonely expression. Jugo, some sword is double-edged, it will damage others, but it also can protect others. Your strength is very strong, but you are not able to control it. When you are able to control it one day, you will burst out with powerful strength. But right now, I'm still far from being able to control it. I can't leave this place. Otherwise, I will kill anyone at any time. Jugo showed a painful expression. For him, who is kind by nature, hurting others is really a painful thing. Then let me make a cage for you, so that you won't lose control of yourself, and I will also help you to control your strength. Cage. Jugo was puzzled with Kakashi's words. Kakashi smiled slightly and said, hold still. Jugo hadn't reacted yet as Kakashi immediately made a hand seal with both of his hands, and then pointed his right index finger into Jugo's forehead. Scorching heats pass from the center of Jugo's eyebrows, and then enter his body. Jugo felt like his body was being burned by fire, and his blood was boiling. Arg. Jugo felt that the natural energy in his body seemed to be bound by a strange thing, and then it rushed to his back. The black curse seal symbol then emerges. At this point, Jugo felt that the hot sensation from before disappeared without a trace, and now there was an extremely hot sensation at his back. Jugo's body softened and he fainted directly. Seeing this, Kakashi removes the stone pillars that were bounding Jugo. This cursed seal is different from Kakashi's cursed seal and Orochimaru's cursed seal. After all, Kakashi's goal is not to give Jugo the power of Senjutsu, but to give Jugo a cage. In Jugo's situation, it was too easy for him to absorb natural energy, so that he could not control the violent natural energy, and fell into a state of berserk. To put it bluntly, this situation is similar to the side effects when practicing Richi Cave Senjutsu chakra. The cursed seal that Kakashi puts on Jugo only help him contain the natural energy and can't do anything else. After all, Jugo is the origin of the cursed seal, and other things have no effect on him. On the contrary, there may be complications if there is something wrong. This should be able to contain the natural energy in Jugo's body, and when he can control it, this cursed seal will be useless. Kakashi muttered to himself, and then he moves Jugo aside as he is still unconscious. It didn't take long for Jugo to wake up. Jugo, you are awake. When Jugo opened his eyes, he saw Kakashi sitting not far from him, and his eyes is turning crescent. It's you. Jugo touched his forehead, as if he hadn't recovered from what had just happened. How are you feeling? Kakashi asked. Jugo was stunned when he heard Kakashi's words, and then he felt that the natural energy in his body seemed to disappear. No, it can't be said that it has disappeared, but it has been sealed on his lower back. This. Jugo was astonished, as he feels that his bloodthirsty impulse had disappeared completely. Is this what you call the cage? Jugo looked at Kakashi with eyes full of gratitude. Kakashi smiled and said, such a cage should help you get out of here, right? At this time, Jugo finally showed a smile and nodded heavily. Yeah. Chapter 138 Kakashi vs. Kamimaro. Kamimaro came all the way to the mountain and found that the place was quiet, as if there were no creatures here, which was a bit strange. but his face is still coldly looking around, and he is slowly moving on the mountain path. Suddenly, Kamimuro turned his head and saw a place not far away. That cave is there. Kamimuro secretly thought, and then he moves towards that direction. Kakashi Nai-san, where are we going? Yugo, who is now not using curse seal, felt a lot more relaxed, with a long-lost smile on his face, and followed Kakashi out of the cave. At this time, although Jugo is only 8 or 9 years old, his height is not short. He had reached Kakashi's shoulder, so he was about 1.6 meters tall. Perhaps because of absorbing the natural energy helps Jugo's growth and development. Konoha village, in the land of fire, there will be a safe place. And there, you will have a lot of friends. 2 people may become your younger brother and younger sister. Kakashi showed a warm smile as he touched Jugo's hair. Jugo was a little stunned for a while, and then a faint smile starts to form on his face. Konoha. It's really a place to look forward to. Suddenly, Kakashi frowned, then he stand in front of Jugo to protect him, and said, "You there, since I have found you, you should come out." Jugo was taken aback, and immediately he realized that there are other peoples here. Jugo looked in the direction Kakashi was facing, and then he saw a white-haired teenager walk out of nowhere, who looked almost the same age as himself. The most attractive thing is the 2 scarlet dots between his eyebrows. He's a handsome boy. Hada Kakashi, I didn't expect you to be here. Kamimuro said coldly, but his body was already tense. Regarding Kakashi that he accidentally met on the riverbank, Kamimuro often heard about him from Orochimaru. Orochimaru admired Kakashi very much, which made Kamimuro a little jealous. Kamimuro has always wanted to find a chance to prove that he is better than Kakashi. It's just that he is staying in Itagakure all this time, so Kamimuro never had a chance to meet Kakashi again. He didn't expect when he went out to perform a mission for the first time, he would meet Kakashi. He doesn't know whether it is lucky or unfortunate. At least at this time Kamimuro believes that he is in luck. Kamimuro knows that Kakashi is very strong, but he believes that except Orochimaru, he is no worse than anyone else. Seeing that it was Kamimuro, Kakashi was also stunned for a moment. He didn't expect to see this boy again in such a place. Kamimuro. Kakashi whispered. Hada Kakashi, can you hand over that boy behind you? He is the target of Orochimaru-sama. Kakashi chuckled as he secretly thought, so it was true that Orochimaru had already targeting Jugo's curse seal. It looks like he wants to perfect his curse seal. That won't be possible. I have already promised Jugo that he will come back to Konoha with me. If that was the case, it seems there is only one thing I can do. Kamimuro said as he pulls out a bone from his arm and holding it in his hand like a sword. Seeing this, Kakashi's eye twitched. That kind of move looked really painful. It has to be said that the Kage Genkai of the Kagaya clan is really abnormal. Perhaps it is because of this abnormal Kage Genkai that Kamimuro has been infected with his disease and eventually died young. Kakashi doesn't know if Kamimuro is already infected or not. Jugo, you should step back. Kakashi Nai-san. Jugo said with a worried look. Kakashi showed his crescent eyes and said, "It's okay, it will be over soon." Perhaps Kakashi's strong confidence infected Jugo, as he obediently stood behind. Upon seeing this, Kakashi looked at Kamimuro, and then he saw that Kamimuro's whole body was tight, as if he would attack him at any time. When he stretched out his right hand, the Millennium Sword instantly appears on his hand. Dance of the Camellia. Kamimuro accelerates immediately. He waves his right hand that is holding a bone sword, and slash it towards Kakashi. Seeing this, Kakashi is not anxious, and used the Millennium Sword to block it. His strength is not small. Kamimuro's Taijutsu is naturally outstanding for his age, but it is still too far worse than Kakashi. Even if Kakashi didn't put Taijutsu as the focus of his practice, Taijutsu was still an indispensable part when he was practicing swordsmanship. Moreover, he has also practiced the 8 gates technique. Although Kakashi still hasn't been able to open the 7th gate, his physique is already really good. Kamimuro's expression remained unchanged. For someone who was praised by Orochimaru, Kamimuro naturally didn't expect this attack would be able to take Kakashi down. He just tried to probe Kakashi's strength. Dance of the Clematis, fine. His right hand quickly pulled out his spine and turned it into a whip, which tied Kakashi's body. Kakashi Nai-san. Yugo cried out in surprise, looking at the tightly tied Kakashi. His heart is full of worry. Kamimuro did not show slightest expression of joy. It was too easy, so easy that makes Kamimuro become a little wary. How can someone praised by Orochimaru-sama be so weak? Kakashi looks at the spine whip that is tied on his body, and he can't help but admire this Shikatsu Myaku's ability. Immediately, Kakashi was covered by blue lighting. Chidori Nagashi. As Kakashi said that, he starts to release blue lighting from his Tenketsu points. When the blue lighting appeared, Kamimuro was shocked, and he was directly hit by the blue lighting and flew out. Jugo looked happy, but didn't speak anymore. Kakashi Nai-san is really powerful. He definitely will be able to help me. Kakashi did not pursue Kamimuro, but just stood still. Regarding Kamimuro, Kakashi did not intend to kill him. After all, Kamimuro was just a poor man. For him to meet someone like Orochimaru, no one knows whether he is lucky or unfortunate. If Orochimaru didn't take Kimimaro, Kakashi didn't mind to take Kimimaro back to Konoha. But now that Kimimaro has become Orochimaru's subordinate, Kakashi knows that Kimimaro will never betray Orochimaru. After all, Orochimaru has a certain charm to be able to win over his subordinate's heart. With Kimimaro's past life, he is eager to be recognized, so it is absolutely impossible for him to resist Orochimaru's charm. Kimimaro quickly got up from the ground. Kimimaro with Shikatsu Myaku has a very good defense, and Kakashi's Chidori Nagashi will naturally not cause any harm to him. Kimimaro looks at the Kakashi solemnly. This might be the strongest person he had ever met except Orochimaru. Kimimaro even has a feeling that perhaps Orochimaru may not be able to beat the person in front of him. But when this idea first appeared in Kimimaro's mind, it was immediately suppressed by Kimimaro. No way. Orochimaru-sama is the strongest. Chapter 139 The Bullied Kimimaro. Kimimaro gritted his teeth, obviously dissatisfied with the result. 10-finger drilling bullets. Stretching both of his hands, 10 bones bullets shot out from his fingers. The speed is really fast. Kakashi didn't move when he saw the attack. With a flick of his right hand, the Chidori turned into Senbon and flew out. Chidori Senbon. The lighting Senbon is no slower than the bone bullets. Ding. The two collided in midair, and then the lighting Senbon destroyed all of the bone bullets. Chidori Senbon have not lost their speed, and they are still flying towards Kimimaro. Kimimaro was shocked. This was the first time he had been counter-attacked like this after using the 10-finger drilling bullets. The bone sword on his right hand directly blocks the lighting Senbon, and the Senbon are deeply inserted into the bone sword. The bone sword then shattered, eventually turning into fragments and falling on the floor. Looking at this scene, Kimimaro couldn't help but smile. This guy is too strong. Kimimaro is very clear about how hard his bones are. But he didn't think that it was actually shattered by Kakashi. Kimimaro is a little frustrated. Is the gap between the two of us so big? Kakashi was not surprised after seeing this. Even if Kimimaro is called a genius, there is no way he is strong enough to defeat him when he is still young like this. When Kakashi is still the same age as Kimimaro now, his power at best is only at the level of Chunin. In Kakashi's opinion, Kimimaro's strength right now is already formidable. Do you want to continue, Kimimaro? You're strong, but I will not give up. For Orochimaru-sama's sake, I will definitely defeat you. Kimimaro's face was firm, and he obviously wouldn't give up. For Kimimaro, Orochimaru is everything to him, so even if he needs to pay with his life, he must definitely complete the mission given by Orochimaru. Dance of the Clematis. Flower. Kimimaro roared, and white bones immediately appeared on his right hand, covering his entire arm at the same time. In an instant, the white bones formed a spiral spear that is covering right hand. This is my strongest bones. Let's see whether you can destroy it again. Kimimaro said coldly, but his movements seemed a little slow. Obviously, this move is draining for him. Kakashi shook his head. This guy is really persistent. Once a creature like a human has faith, it will be firmer than anything else. And Orochimaru is Kimimaro's absolute faith. Orochimaru is really lucky to have such a subordinate. The emotion in his heart flashed by. Facing the aggressive Kimimaro, Kakashi didn't want to avoid it. If that is the case, then he can only go head to head. Let's see if your bones are harder, or my ninjutsu is stronger. He then starts forming hand seals. Bakiri. The blue lighting condenses in Kakashi's hand, showing his peerless sharpness. On one side is the Kimimaro's spiral spear bone, which is known as the strongest spear, and on the other side is the strongest sword, Bakiri, that can be used to cut through anything. The strongest versus the strongest. Looking at Kakashi's blue lighting that look like a peerless sword, Kimimaro is not afraid. Since that he has decided to make a desperate attempt, how can he be afraid? Ha! Kimimaro roared, raising the spiral spear bone on his right hand, and then he rushed towards Kakashi. Kakashi moves for the first time since fighting Kimimaro. With Rakiri in his hand, the blue lighting's light reflected on Kakashi's cool face. The confrontation between the bones and the lightning. Yugo watched the battle in front of him worriedly. Clash. Like a sharp sword, Kakashi's Rakiri is cutting Kimimaro's spiral spear bone directly. Kimimaro looked at the blue lighting gradually approaching him in shock. Is it the end? Orochimaru-sama, I'm sorry that I didn't live up to your expectation. The layer of bones shattered, turned into ash, flying away and disappeared in midair. Kimimaro wanted to dodge at this time, but he couldn't escape in time. He could only look at the right hand that was like a sharp sword slowly moving towards his chest. At this time, Kakashi scattered the chakra on his right hand, and then his hand returned to its original appearance. He then moves behind Kimimaro, turned his right hand into a knife, and hit Kimimaro's back neck directly. Thud. Kimimaro was knocked out by Kakashi, before he even had time to react. Kakashi had held back when using Rakiri, so the terrifying chakra was scattered at the last minute, and Kimimaro's life was not taken. Kimimaro hasn't had much time left. Against such a tragic character, Kakashi is really reluctant to kill him. After seeing Kimimaro hit knocked out, Kakashi walked over to Jugo and said, Jugo, let's go. Kakashi Nai-san, is that person dead? No, I just knocked him out. He will wake up after a while. Kakashi Nai-san, why did he come to catch me? The power inside your body is amazing, so it attracts people's prying eyes. But don't worry, I won't let others hurt you. Okay? Let's go. Kakashi starts to move, but Jugo suddenly stops him. Wait, Kakashi Nai-san. What's the matter? Kakashi said with some doubts. Kakashi Nai-san, if we just left him here, I am afraid that he will be taken away by the beasts. Shall we put him inside the cave? Jugo looked at Kakashi pleadingly, afraid that Kakashi would refuse. Hearing this, Kakashi just sighed. Jugo is really kind-hearted. He may be too kind. Well, then let's put him in the cave together. Okay? Seeing Kakashi agreed, Jugo nodded happily. After putting Kimimaro inside the cave, Kakashi left with Jugo. Not long after, Kimimaro woke up. Erg. Kimimaro clutched his neck as he woke up. Apparently he was still feeling pain from Kakashi's blow. Where is this? Kimimaro whispered, but no one answered him. Frowning, Kimimaro recalled the scene before. He didn't kill me. Kimimaro said in disbelief. He really didn't expect Kakashi to let him go. Damn, I haven't completed Orochimaru-sama's mission. What should I do? Just after escaping death, Kimimaro suddenly recalled his mission and couldn't help but feel depressed again. At this moment, Kimimaro felt that the place he touched seemed to be a puddle of water. Kimimaro was puzzled, and looked at his hand. This is blood. The strong bloody smell made Kimimaro immediately realizes what was in his hand. Why is there blood here? Kimimaro was a little puzzled. He was sure that his body was not injured, so the blood was obviously not his own. So whose blood is this? Kimimaro was a little puzzled, but he stopped thinking about it. He stood up and walked out. He just wanted to know where he was now. After he reached the entrance of the cave, Kimimaro suddenly realized that this was the cave his target lived in. Wait, is the blood in the cave from the person that Orochimaru-sama wanted to catch? Kimimaro recalled that when he seen his target before, there was a bandage on his right arm, and the bandage is stained with blood. Kimimaro's expression turns to joy, and he immediately ran back inside the cave and put all the blood into the bottle. With these bloods, Kimimaro can be considered to complete his mission. Although he may not be able to get Orochimaru's acknowledgement with this blood, it is still better than nothing. With a feeling of anxiety, Kimimaro returned to Itagakure. Chapter 140 Uchiha Itachi. Konoha Village, Anbu's training ground. Ding. The fierce collision between kunai and kunai has caused countless sparks. A silver-white figure and a black figure are fighting for a while, and then step back and stop. Kakashi-senpai, I didn't expect you to get even stronger in the past 2 years. I thought I could catch up with you. Shisui said as he scratches his hair, feeling a little annoyed. These two people are Kakashi and Shisui. Kakashi smiled and said, Shisui, you are already very strong. No way, I'm still much worse than senpai. Shisui has been doing things with Kakashi for several years, and the relationship between the two has been getting better and better. For Shisui, Kakashi is like his own big brother. Kakashi often helps Shisui about the usage of Sharingan, as well as sword technique and Shunshin no Jutsu. Speaking of it, the two's skill are somewhat similar. Kakashi just stayed silent after hearing this. After returning from Libro village last time, Kakashi has been doing mission in Anbu. As for Jugo, after Kakashi explained about him to Sandame, he now lives at the same apartment as Naruto and Karen. Jugo has a kind temperament, and it is natural for him to get along with Naruto and Karen. And because of the curse seal made by Kakashi, Jugo didn't rampage anymore. Suddenly Shisui slaps his forehead and says, Kakashi-senpai, I suddenly remembered there is something I need to do. Do you want to go with me? Huh? What's the matter? Kakashi asks with confusion. Senpai, you also know that the village recently held the Chunin exam. Today is the last day. I want to see how that kid, Itachi, is doing. Shisui naturally doesn't doubt Itachi's strength. If he can't pass the Chunin exam, then no one can pass the Chunin exam this time. The reason why Shisui pulled Kakashi is that because he hopes that Kakashi can see Itachi's outstanding performance. When Itachi wants to let you enter Anbu later, it will be a lot easier. It can be said that Shisui really worked hard to help his friend. Hearing Shisui's explanation, Kakashi reveals a smile that wasn't a smile, making Shisui feels a little guilty for a while. Kakashi is naturally able to see through Shisui's purpose. But Kakashi didn't say anything as he is also very interested in Itachi. By the way, Kakashi has never met with Itachi, so he doesn't know how strong Itachi is at this time. Okay, Shisui, I will go with you. Anyway, there is no mission today. Seeing Kakashi agree, Shisui was relieved. This kind of careful thinking is really not something that Shisui is good at. The two then leave Anbu's training ground and move towards the Chunin exam venue. This time, the Chunin exam did not invite other village to join, but it is just a small exam organized by Konoha itself. But the exam is still important. The first two assessments have ended, and the third assessment is conducted at this time. It is worth mentioning that Uchiha Itachi took the Chunin exam alone. At this time, he was only 10 years old. His teammates did not have the strength to take the Chunin exam. However, Itachi's instructor thought that he had enough strength, so he recommended Itachi to Sandame, so that he can take the Chunin exam alone. This is the first time in history that someone takes the Chunin exam alone. Itachi did not refuse. After all, this mattered not only about him, but also included his father, Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Fugaku hopes Itachi can show the world the strength of Uchiha. Although Shisui has gotten the nickname Shunshin no Shisui, and is recognized by Uchiha as the strongest Jinjutsu user, in Fugaku's opinion, these are still not enough. However, Itachi has proved his ability to get into the third assessment of the Chunin exam alone. Itachi, are you confident this time? Fugaku asked coldly as his face didn't show any expression. At this time, Itachi, who had already inherited his father's unsmiling smile, just nodded and said, "No problem." Fugaku nodded in satisfaction. His son has never let him down. "Nai-san, you must beat them down later." The childish voice that is talking is 6 years old Sasuke. Seeing Sasuke talking, Itachi smiled and said, "Don't worry Sasuke, Nai-san will definitely beat them." "Yeah, Nai-san is the strongest." Sasuke squeezed his fists on his chest, and his face is blushing, obviously very excited. "Okay Itachi, you should go, the exam has begun." "Okay. Tusan." When Itachi finished speaking, he went to the exam site. The invigilator was Ichmin. Seeing Itachi finally here, he said, "The final assessment of the Chunin exam starts now. Uchiha Itachi vs Inoue Saburo." Itachi looked at the man in front of him who should be about 15 years old. There is no expression on his face. Inoue Saburo squeezed the kunai in his hand anxiously, and secretly thought, "Damn, how come I meet an Uchiha from the start? The Uchiha clan is definitely famous in Konoha, and everyone knows about them." Seeing the 3-tomo scarlet Sharingan in Itachi's pupil, Inoue Saburo's heart is full of resentment. The name of Uchiha Itachi, who is known as a genius, has already spread in Konoha. Inoue Saburo really didn't have any confidence against the 3-tomo Sharingan. "Sorry, but your exam will stop here," Itachi said lightly, but Saburo Inoue was furious when he heard those words. "What a joke. So what if you are an Uchiha? I will definitely defeat you," Inoue Saburo said, and he starts forming hand seals. Earth release. Gravel. He presses both of his palms on the ground, and the ground directly splits, moving towards Itachi. Kakashi, who was watching the battle, said, "This Inoue Saburo is not weak. He can already use this kind of ninjutsu. He has Chunin level strength. But he can't see the situation clearly." Shisui just smiled and didn't speak. Just when the attack was about to hit Itachi, Itachi suddenly disappeared. Inoue Saburo was shocked. Where did he go? Before Inoue Saburo could react, the cold kunai has been placed on his neck. Inoue Saburo could not help but left a cold sweat when he saw this. Itachi then coldly said, "Sorry, it seems that I won." Inoue Saburo smiled bitterly. He thought that he would be able to use a few tricks, but he did not expect to be defeated after so quickly. Is our gap really so big? Upon seeing this, the invigilator of the exam announced, "The winner, Uchiha Itachi." Hearing this, Itachi take back his kunai and left the exam site. As expected of my son. Fugaku did not stingy with his compliments. After all, Itachi's performance was simply impeccable. "Nai-san, you are so amazing. When we get back, you need to teach me, okay?" Sasuke said excitedly. Itachi showed a warm smile and said, "No problem." Chapter 141 Anbu Assessment. Kakashi-senpai, look, Itachi is very good. Kakashi nodded as he also agreed with Shisui's statement. Even Kakashi has to admit that he did not have this level of strength when he was at Itachi's age. Itachi is really a talented genius. Powerful ninjutsu skill, the ability to analyze the situation, and the application of psychological tactics, all of these performed perfectly by Itachi in that short battle. Such a person, as long as he was given time to grow, he would become someone at the peak of this world. Seeing Kakashi's agreement, Shisui quickly continued to ask, "Kakashi-senpai, it's okay to let Itachi enter the Anbu, right?" "Shisui, if he was an ordinary person, I can just nod and let him enter the Anbu. But if it is someone from the Uchiha clan, you must ask Sandaime-sama about this. After all, for you to enter the Anbu at the beginning is because Sandaime-sama agreed to it." "I understand, then I will go to ask Sandaime-sama about this. I hope that when Sandaime-sama agrees to this, you can let him become one of our team members. If you can get Sandaime-sama to agree, I naturally will have no problem." Hearing Kakashi's answer, Shisui then joyfully said, "Thank you very much senpai." Kakashi waved his hand and said, "You are welcome. If someone like Itachi can become our teammates, I will be able to relax easily." "Hahaha, senpai is too kind." In the Hokage office, Uchiha Itachi's information is placed at the table in front of Sandaime, the genius of the Uchiha clan. His talent doesn't seem to be worse than Shisui. Sandaime sighed, although the Uchiha clan is rebellious, but it must be said that they have a lot of genius. Uchiha Shisui from the younger generation has grown up, and now there is another genius like Shisui, Uchiha Itachi. God really favors this clan. Looking at Uchiha Itachi's information, it seems he is someone from the Uchiha clan who has the will of fire like Shisui. He is worthy to be trained. Recently, the Uchiha clan's intention to enter Anbu has become more and more obvious. Sandaime took his pipe and spit out white smoke as he lost in thought. After a while, Sandame picked up the pen and wrote a document. After he finished writing, Sandame called out, "Bor." With a bang, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Sandame. "Bor, I want you to hand this document over to Uchiha Fugaku." "I understand. Sandame-sama." The Anbu took the document and then disappeared from the office. Ha, the Uchiha is really a troublesome clan, no wonder Sensei is so wary of them. Uchiha compound, Uchiha Fugaku's home. Uchiha Fugaku, this is the document that Sandame-sama told me to give you. Fugaku reaches out and takes the document. After Fugaku takes the document, the Anbu disappeared. Fugaku looked at the document carefully, and then a smile appears on his cold face. Great, Sandame finally agreed to let Itachi enter the Anbu. At this moment, Itachi came over. "Tusan, what do you want to talk about?" Fugaku handed over the document to him and said, "Are you confident?" Itachi reached out and took it. The document read, "Uchiha Itachi possesses the excellent qualities of a shinobi." 1 month later, he was arranged to enter the Anbu assessment, and after passing it, he would enter the Anbu. After reading it, Itachi bowed to Fugaku and said, "Tusan, please rest assured." Fugaku with satisfaction and said, "You are the second person from the Uchiha clan to enter the Anbu. You should learn from Shisui as he has more experience in the Anbu." "Okay, Tusan. Go ahead and prepare for the examination." "Yes, Tusan." Itachi sat alone on the training field. He closed his eyes as he is thinking. Entering Anbu, Itachi naturally knew that it was not as simple as it seemed. Although he is only 10 years old, Itachi already has mature mind. The contradiction between the Uchiha clan and Konoha executives is getting worse. And for him to enter the Anbu may not be a good thing. He is afraid that the reason why his father arranges him to enter the Anbu is to spy. Uchiha clan is no longer satisfied with their current position. And Konoha is in their weak state right now, which has further spurred the Uchiha clan's ambitions. Although Hada Kakashi is famous as he defeated the Yondaime Reikage, in the Uchiha clan's opinion, Hada Kakashi only relied on the power of Sharingan, and it was nothing to worry about. In Konoha, Shisui was the only one who knew that Kakashi had opened Mangekyou Sharingan, and Shisui never told anyone about this. After all, in Shisui's eyes, Kakashi is someone like a big brother. Mangekyou Sharingan is Kakashi's secret. Shisui still knows how it will affect Kakashi, as someone else knows about it. Therefore, Shisui will bury this secret in his heart and won't tell anyone about it. If the Uchiha clan knows that Kakashi has opened Mangekyou Sharingan, their attitude will be completely different. Itachi was a little bit distressed, and the dilemma between choosing the clan or the village fell on him. Fortunately, he is not alone, as there is another Uchiha who has the same dreams as him. "Shisui, you can come out." "Hey, you are getting more and more sensitive." Shisui's voice came and then Shisui jumped out from behind the big tree. "I haven't congratulated you yet. You are Chunin now. This is a gift for you," Shisui said as he took out his sword and handed it to Itachi. "I bought this sword when I go to Land of Craftsmen to perform a mission before. It is very sharp." Itachi took it and waved it casually. "It felt very good. Thank you." "No need. Oh yeah, today, I took Kakashi-senpai to see your exam. Kakashi-senpai is very satisfied with your performance. When you enter Anbu, you can get into Kakashi-senpai's team. Then maybe we can do mission together." Hada Kakashi. After listening about him from you for so long, I really want to see him myself. He won't let you down. "Oh yeah, does Sandame-sama tell you about the assessment?" "Yeah, he arranged it to happen 1 month later." 1 month later? Then you have to prepare well, but I believe that with your strength, there would be no problem. I'll try my best. Well, I'll see you at Anbu then. That's right, isn't Sasuke going to enter the academy? There was a smile on Itachi's face when Shisui mentioned Sasuke. Yeah, in September, it will be a month later. Hahaha, then you brothers are entering a new stage together. I hope that Sasuke is not under too much pressure. With you as his big brother, the pressure Sasuke will have to endure will be a lot. You should know about Clan Head's temper. You know, I can guarantee that even if Sasuke takes the first place at the academy, the clan head will definitely say him, "Good job, continue to learn like your big brother," Shisui said, putting a cold face like Fugaku, with also Fugaku's tone. Itachi sighed helplessly. In Itachi's view, what Shisui said would definitely happen. But this is not something he can do about. As the pride of his father, Itachi can only do his best. Chapter 142 Three Little Devils. "Jugo, are you awake yet?" Early in the morning, Naruto ran to the door of Jugo's room and starts knocking on the door. Naruto's life can be said to have changed a lot since the arrival of both Karen and Jugo. Although the villagers still treat him very badly, he now has his own friends. Every day he can practice, eat, and play with Karen and Jugo. Naruto feels that his world has become much better. "Oh, good morning Naruto." Jugo opened the door and saw the energetic blonde child in front of him. "Jugo, you're awake, let's go find Karen." "Okay." Karen's room. Karen. Wake up." The banging sound on the door obviously woke Karen. With a bang, the door opened, but instead of Karen, what came out was a pillow. The pillow hit Naruto's head without accident and knocked him to the ground. Ouch. Naruto dropped on his ass and shouted in pain. Yugo feels cold sweat on his forehead, secretly glad that he was not the one knocking on the door just now. Naturo. How many times do I have to say it? Don't disturb me while I am sleeping. Karen right now is still wearing pajamas, and her red hair is messy, making her looks very terrifying. Yes, I'm sorry. Seeing Karen is furious, Naruto swallowed his saliva, looking extremely guilty. You should remember that not enough sleep is women's greatest enemy. I'm sorry, but Shironai said he has something to tell us this morning, asking us to go to the 7th training field, so I came to call you. Naruto said aggrievedly. What? Why didn't you say it earlier? Karen said. She slammed the door close, and went in to change her clothes. It didn't take long before Karen to change her clothes, and come out of her room. Let's go. Naruto and Jugo were stunned, as Karen is really fast. What are you looking at? Let's go. Oh, okay. Naruto and Jugo glanced at each other, and they could see the meaning in each other's eyes. Don't offend a woman, especially a woman like Karen. At the 7th training field, Kakashi came here early, holding 3 registration forms in his hand. Not long after, Naruto, Karen and Jugo arrived at the 7th training field. Naruto, I blame you for being so slow. Look, Kakashi Nai is already here. Seeing Kakashi already waiting for them, Karen starts to shake Naruto. Naruto is helpless. It is obvious that you are the last one to get up. Jugo looked at the two in silence. He smiles, but didn't say anything. Although the two were noisy, Jugo could feel that the relationship between the two was very good. Kakashi Nai, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. It's all Naruto's fault that we are late. Karen said after she stopped shaking Naruto. Naruto looked aggrieved, but did not dare to argue. Because the look in Karen's eyes is really terrifying. Kakashi then looked at these 3 expressions and smiled a little. He understood about the situation, but he didn't say anything. It is not the first time for Kakashi to see Karen and Naruto's exchange. So he has already got used to it. Well, since you are all here now, there is something I want to tell you about. What is it, Kakashi Nai? This is it, this is for you. Kakashi said as he gives Naruto, Karen and Jugo the registration form. The 3 of them took it curiously and looked at the content of the form. Konoha Academy registration form. Yeah, Naruto, Karen, you 2 are 6 years old now. It's time for you 2 to enter Konoha Academy to study. Jugo, you now 8 years old, although your admission will be a little late now, it doesn't matter. Naruto, Jugo and Karen 3 glanced at each other, and then Naruto said. Shironai, we will work hard. Yeah. Kakashi Nai, we will not let you down. Kakashi Nai, I'll do my best. Good, I believe in you all. When you graduate from the academy, I will give you a present. Really? Of course. Well, that's all I have to tell you. You guys can train here. I still have something to do, so I will leave now. Kakashi said, then he disappeared with a bang. Ah, it turned out to be Shironai's shadow clone. Naruto said with his head dropping. Okay Naruto, stop complaining, we have to hurry up and train. You see, the registration form says that there will be an entrance examination. If we can't pass it, it would be too shameful. Karen said as she shows the content of the registration form. Really? Then I have to increase my training today. In fact, there is no need for Naruto and Karen to worry. Although there is an entrance examination, the content of the examination is very simple. With their level of strength, there is absolutely no problem. Otherwise, Kakashi would definitely take some time to guide the 3 of them for a few days. Anbu 6 team's room. Time flies so fast, Naruto is going to enter the academy soon. Is it time for Uchiha clan's massacre? Kakashi was lying on a bench with his hands behind his head. Since Naruto is about to enter the academy, then it is not far from the Uchiha clan's massacre. Although he can't remember the specific time, he recalls that it happens not long after Naruto entered the academy. About the Uchiha clan's massacre, Kakashi is dizzy thinking about this, as he didn't know what to do. After all, the contradiction between the Konoha executives and the Uchiha clan can be said to have existed since the village was built. Now it has only developed to this level, it may explode at any time. Such things are no secret among the Konoha's big clans. It's just that if these big clans make a choice, basically no one will choose the Uchiha clan. After all, the Uchiha clan's arrogance is not something that ordinary people can bear. Therefore, even if the Uchiha clan can defeat the leaders of Konoha headed by Sandaime, and Fugaku become the Hokage, Kakashi knows that the position of Hokage will not be stable. After all, it's not just the Konoha executives who are unhappy with the Uchiha clan. Forget it, I should take one step at a time. The reason why Kakashi cares about Uchiha's clan is just because of Shisui. After all, Shisui has been with him for so long, and Kakashi has recognized Shisui as one of his companions. But about this situation, Kakashi is really powerless. If there's a way, maybe Itachi wouldn't choose such a path. Kakashi's heart feels a little melancholy. Although his strength had grown a lot, he had to say that sometimes, a problem can't be solved with just strength. After all, Kakashi's strength is still not enough to do anything he wants. Kakashi-senpai, there's an order from Sandaime-sama. Just as Kakashi was in a daze, Tenzo ran in. Oh? What's the matter? Kakashi sat up and asked curiously. I don't know, you can take a look at it yourself. Kakashi took the scroll and take a look at the content. Uchiha Itachi, it seems that you are still on the same path. Senpai? What's wrong? Tianzai asked curiously. Nothing, it's just that we may have a new companion soon. Uchiha Itachi. Yes, 1 month later, Uchiha Itachi will take the Anbu assessment, and if he complete it, he will enter the 6th team. Although Kakashi is already Anbu captain at this time, he is still the leader of the Anbu's 6th team. The Anbu's 6th team has now become the legendary existence in Anbu. Chapter 143 Itachi's Assessment. A month later, Uchiha Itachi came to Anbu base. With a cold face, no emotions can be seen on his face. No one would have thought that such a boy was only 10 years old. In him, there is no childishness that a child should have. Uchiha Itachi. And Anbu asked Itachi as he is looking up and down at Itachi. Itachi nodded and said, Yes, I'm Uchiha Itachi. I come here to participate in the Anbu assessment. That Anbu then said, The department that will be assessing you is the Anbu's 6th team. Please come with me. Itachi did not speak, but just followed the Anbu. Passing through the dark hall, there is a corridor in front of him, dark and long. Itachi seemed to be walking behind silently, but in fact Itachi had already memorized all the places he had passed through. Shinobi must have accurate observations of the surrounding environment and cannot relax their vigilance at any time. There are many people who know this, but there are very few people who can actually do this. However, the young Itachi now is doing it. Uchiha Itachi, in the front is the venue for the Anbu assessment. You can go in by yourself. When the Anbu finished speaking, he turned and left. It was a dark iron door that looked a bit gloomy and cold. Itachi didn't hesitate, and pushed the iron door open directly. The iron door is a bit heavy. The door then opened, and Itachi saw 3 shinobi in Anbu uniform standing in the center of the room. Itachi knows about the person on the left. Looking at his body shape and posture, Itachi knows that he's definitely Shisui. He doesn't know about the person on the right, he should never meet this person before. The man in the middle has silver white hair, and there is a wristband with a strange pattern on his right hand. There is a dangerous aura leaking from his body, and he is single-eyed. Itachi knows that he should be the famous Hata Kakashi. Itachi just glanced at these 3 people and made a judgment instantly. Uchiha Itachi, come here for the assessment. Kakashi then looked at Itachi from a close distance, and the boy's body was full of calmness. From entering until now, Itachi's heartbeat is beating normally, which proves that he does not feel nervous at all. Usually, it is inevitable for ordinary young people to be nervous at this times, but he does not. Kakashi admit that the mental quality of the boy in front of him is really high. Uchiha Itachi, 10 years old. When you're 6 years old, you enter the academy and graduate after only 1 year. You become a chunin at the age of 10. You are hailed as a genius in decades. Kakashi read the information about Itachi word by word. But there was no expression on Itachi's face. This is his resume, he knows better than anyone else. Excellent results. Most people in Anbu do not have such excellent resumes as yours. In Anbu, except for Kakashi himself, the rest of the people really don't have such excellent resumes. Even Shisui resumes is not this good. Your resumes are enough for you to enter Anbu, but Anbu is not so easy to enter. Before that, we have to conduct an assessment for you. The assessment is very simple. In the wood mountain next to Konoha, I put an Anbu mask. As long as you can get it before sunset, you will pass the assessment. Itachi frowned. To go to a mountain to find such a small thing without any clue is almost impossible. Not to mention before sunset, it may be impossible to find it in a month. Seeing Itachi's expression, Kakashi then continued. The mask is hidden by me. You can find clues from me for 1 minute. After hearing Kakashi's words, Itachi breathed a sigh of relief as it seemed much simpler now. Itachi didn't waste any time. He walked directly to Kakashi's side, circled him, and then looked up and down. 1 minute is up, you can either choose to give up or start searching. Itachi did not say much, as he immediately left the Anbu base. Shisui, your brother is really cold. Seeing Itachi leave, Tenzo joked. Shisui smiled helplessly. It's not like that. Itachi has been like this since childhood, but we can't blame him for this. After all, his father's clan had Fugaku, and I have never seen him laugh before. Interesting. Then Shisui, Kakashi-senpai, do you guys think he can find that mask? Asked Tenzo. There's no problem, Itachi is smart. Shisui said with great confidence. Kakashi touched his chin and said, there should be no problem. This test is not difficult. It's just to examine Itachi's observation and judgment. Regarding Itachi's strength, Kakashi knew that there was no problem after seeing Itachi at the Chunin exam. Therefore, this assessment is just to examine Itachi's observation and judgment. The clues that Kakashi left on himself are obvious, and Itachi's eyes have indeed looked at those places just now, so there shouldn't be any problems for Itachi to find the mask. At this moment, Kakashi looked at the bracer he was wearing today and smiled meaningfully. Seeing Shisui and Kakashi believe that Itachi will find the mask, Tenzo could not help but be a little surprised. He didn't expect this 10-year-old boy to be so valued by both Kakashi and Shisui. Tianzang knows that Kakashi and Shisui seem to be very gentle, but to make them acknowledge someone is not easy. From this, Tenzo concluded that Itachi is really unique. At the foot of Wood Mountain, Itachi stood alone on a large rock. His trousers are stained with water, so he should have been on the lake. There is a petal on the bottom of his feet, which should be a rose flower. And there is a faint fragrance on his body, which should be the smell of amaranth. In addition, there is a patch of bamboo leaves on his clothes. Itachi closed his eyes as he recalls the entire Wood Mountain map in his mind, and then starts finding the mask location from the clues he got from Kakashi. Suddenly, Itachi opened his eyes. It should be there. Chakra starts gathering on his feet. He looked at the sky, and knows that there were only 3 hours left until sunset. With the time needed to go back to the Anbu base, he only had 2 hours. There's not much time, I should move fast. Itachi thought about it in his heart, and then the chakra under his feet starts surge even more. There are rose flowers here. There are amaranths here. There's a bamboo forest here. There's a lake here. Soon, Itachi found about the place from the clues. But he frowned again. No, even if this place has all the 4 clues, he still can't find the mask here. With his Sharingan, if the mask is really at this place, he should be able to find it, but he found nothing here. Did I overlook something? Itachi stopped on a tree and lost in thought. No, there should be nothing else on his body. Then what did I miss? Suddenly, Itachi's inspiration flashed. That's right, the wristband Kakashi wear. The wristband looked new, obviously not used before, and the pattern on it is also temporarily engraved. After carefully recalling the pattern, Itachi's eyes lit up. It's right there. Chapter 144 Codename Crow. Anbu Base. Kakashi, Shisui and Tenzo are sitting in the assessment venue, closing their eyes to rest. At this time, he can't practice, so Kakashi recalled the Fuinjutsu he had learned in his mind. Fuinjutsu is difficult to understand, but Kakashi has been learning it for 6 years now. He had already mastered all of the seals found in the clan Forbidden Area. Perfectly mastering Fuinjutsu is hard. Every time he relearns Fuinjutsu again, he may understand something he missed before. It can only be said that Fuinjutsu is the most mysterious skill in Naruto. At this time, Shisui looked worried and said, "What happened to Itachi? Why hasn't he come back after so long?" "Shisui, your little brother won't fail, right?" said Tenzo. "No way. There are only 2 hours left." Shisui originally thought that Itachi should have come back right now, but Shisui didn't expect Itachi would take such a long time. Is Kakashi-senpai's test difficult? Shisui looked at Kakashi with some doubts. Kakashi smiled slightly and said, "Shisui, this assessment is actually not difficult, at least, it is not difficult for Itachi, there is still time left, you don't have to worry." Shisui breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this. In Shisui's eyes, Kakashi's judgment is never wrong, so Shisui naturally thinks that it also should not be wrong this time. It's just that Shisui seems to have forgotten that the person who knows the most about Itachi the best should be him. So why is Kakashi more confident about Itachi than Shisui? Concern makes Shisui's mind chaotic. On the other side, Itachi stopped on a big tree. It should be this place. Itachi muttered as he began to observe the surrounding. Itachi searched the places indicated by the 4 clues before, but he found nothing. Finally, he remembered that Kakashi is wearing a new wristband with a strange pattern. That is the key point of all the clues. That pattern is a map that indicates where the mask is located at. There are 2 diagonal lines in the middle of a square, and the intersection in the middle is where the mask is. When he understood this, Itachi ran towards that direction without hesitation. Suddenly, Itachi's eyes lit up, as he saw that there was a new dirt pit under the tree at the location. Found it. After jumping off the tree and digging the dirt pit, Itachi found a new mask that is wrapped in oilcloth. The corner of Itachi's mouth then forms a curve. It seems that he finally finished the assessment. At the Anbu base, Shisui is walking around as he is feeling anxious. What's going on with Itachi? He won't fail this assessment, right? Shisui, stop walking around like that. An Anbu should be always calm. Tianzang said gruffly. Sorry, I'm just too anxious. At this time Kakashi's closed eyes suddenly opened, and then he said, he's back. As soon as Kakashi's voice fell, the iron door was opened. The immature voice sounded. Junichi Itachi, I have completed the assessment, now delivers the assessment item. After Itachi finished speaking, he handed the mask with both hands. Shisui was overjoyed when he saw this, and said, Itachi, I knew you were okay. Itachi did not answer, still maintaining the same posture as before. Shisui just smiled seeing Itachi's expression. After all, he already knows that Itachi has such a temperament. Kakashi showed a smile and did not speak. Instead, he took out a set of Anbu uniform and handed it to Itachi. Itachi, congratulations on joining the Anbu's 6th team. This is your Anbu uniform. You should wear the mask when you execute mission. If you have any questions, you can ask Shisui. I believe that it is easier for you to communicate with him. Yes. As for your Anbu codename, Kakashi touched his chin, and then said, let's just call you Crow. I understand. Good, then you can come to Anbu base tomorrow to report. Itachi looked embarrassed when he heard Kakashi's words. Hmm? What's wrong, Itachi? Kakashi asked with some confusion. Kakashi-senpai, can you change it to the day after tomorrow? Why? Shisui, who was on the side, quickly said. Itachi, Anbu's order is everything. Itachi didn't say anything yet. Kakashi suddenly remembered something and said with a smile. Then I will change it to the day after tomorrow. Shisui and Tenzo both looked at Kakashi in disbelief. When did Kakashi-senpai become so kind? Itachi looked happy, bowed to Kakashi, and said, Thank you, senpai. You're welcome, you should go back now. Okay. After Itachi left, Shisui asked curiously. Kakashi-senpai, why did you change the day easily? Well, I just recalled that I won't be able to come tomorrow. If Itachi wants another day, it would be just right. Ha! Is senpai going to do something tomorrow? Tenzo asked. Tomorrow is the day the academy starts. As I am taking care of 3 little devils, I have to send them to the academy. Shisui and Tenzo finally realize about it. They are very familiar with Kakashi, so of course they know that Kakashi is taking care of 3 children. Under the moonlight, the 7th training field. Naruto, Karen, and Jugo are lying on the ground panting. Jugo, Karen, we are going to the academy tomorrow. Are you guys nervous? Karen rolled her eyes and said, Why do we need to be nervous? Kakashi Nai has been teaching us for 2 years. If we can't get into the academy, we are not worthy of Kakashi Nai. That's true, it's definitely no problem. After hearing what Karen said, Naruto immediately gained confidence. Our goal is the first place. We must not disgrace Kakashi Nai. Karen stood up and declared her goal loudly. Yeah. I will take the first place. You? Just forget it, you still can't beat Jugo. Naruto was immediately stunned after hearing this. Although Jugo was sealed by Kakashi with the power of the cursed seal, his physique is still very outstanding, plus he is 2 years older than Naruto, so it is natural for him to be stronger than Naruto. Jugo just scratched his head awkwardly. The 3 of you, it's so late now, why don't you go back to sleep? Are you guys confident in the exam tomorrow? At this moment, Kakashi suddenly appeared. The 3 of them were stunned for a moment and Karen then said, Kakashi Nai, don't worry, we will definitely take the first place. Oh? Really? Then you have to work hard. Kakashi said with a smile. Okay. With Uchiha Sasuke's existence, it is not easy for these 3 to take the first place. After all, Sasuke's talent is the best of their class, and the Naruto in the early stage won't be able to beat him. Uchiha Compound. Tusan, I have successfully entered the Anbu, and belong to Hada Kakashi's team. Hearing this, Fugaku asked with great interest. Oh? Is it Shisui's team? Shisui has a high opinion of Hada Kakashi. What do you think of him? He is very strong. Fayu is not surprised, after hearing Itachi's opinion. Fugaku is different from the average Uchiha clan's member. Fugaku has a far-sighted vision, and does not look at people with colored glasses. After all, Fugaku knows very well how Kakashi got his reputation in Konoha and the world. He would never underestimate Kakashi. Moreover, in the recent years, he has rarely heard of Kakashi using the Sharingan, even if nickname Kakashi of the Sharingan is still circulating. This is enough to show that Kakashi is still really strong without relying on Sharingan, and with the restriction of having the Sharingan. Other Uchiha clan's member may be foolish and short-sighted, but Fugaku's vision is much clearer and sharper. You should learn from him, he is a strong man. Itachi was taken aback when he heard his father's words. After all, he had never heard his father praise a person like this. As the person who is both praised by Shisui and his father, Itachi is now even more curious about Kakashi. What kind of person is he? Chapter 145 Academy's Entrance Day. Makoto, I have something to do first. Fugaku, today is Sasuke's entrance exam, don't you want to go and take a look? Fugaku his head and glanced at Sasuke, and said, I can't, just let Itachi go with him. Sasuke was somewhat sad after hearing this. But, well, there are some things in the clan that I need to deal with. After Fugaku speaking, he left the house without looking back. Standing behind the door, Fugaku sighed lightly, he arranged his appearance, and then walked towards the clan meeting room. Seeing Sasuke's sad expression, Itachi knelt down, flicked Sasuke's forehead lightly, and said with a smile, What's the matter, Sasuke? You don't like me to send you to school? Hearing Itachi's words, Sasuke said quickly. No, Nai-san. Of course it's good that you to send me to school, it's just. Sasuke said, looking at the door, and feels a little frustrated. Makoto and Itachi were also a little helpless when they saw this. It's hard for Fugaku's temper to change. Okay, Sasuke, then let's go. Yeah. On the other side, Kakashi came to the Naruto's apartment. Since today was a special day, none of the 3 of them slept in. To be more precise, Naruto did not sleep at all because he was feeling excited all night. You guys ready? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Today is the opening day of Konoha Academy. The new students will enter the academy today, and start their own shinobi career. It can be said that the academy is Konoha's most important place. After all, inside this academy, there are a lot of genius coming out to become the pillar of Konoha. There are Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Namikaze Minato. They are clanless shinobi, but because of the academy, they can finally show their worth and get accepted as the disciple of the great shinobi, becoming one of the strongest people themselves. It can be said that the academy is choosing students carefully. It selects all the excellent kids with potential, and then let them learn from famous teacher, then finally becomes the new pillar of Konoha. For example, there will be Konoha 12 at Naruto's year. As a result, Konoha continue to live and pass on their legacy. The academy is also important to let the big clan inside the Konoha to work together with the village. Kakashi walked in front, the three little devils behind him were surprisingly quiet, and even Naruto, who was usually the noisiest, became a little silent. When children face an unfamiliar environment, they will become somewhat shy and quiet. When nearing the entrance of the academy, Kakashi saw Itachi walking from another direction, and Sasuke was next to him. At this time, Sasuke is still very small. "Oh, Itachi, how are you?" Kakashi said as he waved his hand. After hearing someone calling him, Itachi turned and saw Kakashi. "Kakashi-senpai, hello, why are you here too?" Kakashi pointed to the three little devils behind him and said, "I am sending these three kids to the academy. What about you? Is this your younger brother?" When Kakashi mentioned Sasuke, Itachi obviously shows different expression. "Yes." Sasuke looks at the strange man in front of him, and pulled Itachi's hand with some fear. It was obvious that this little guy was still very shy at this time. "Sasuke, he's Kakashi-senpai that Shisui-senpai had always talking about." Sasuke was a little surprised when he heard this, and then he looked at Kakashi with eyes full of curiosity. After all, Sasuke heard Shisui praise Kakashi more than once. Kakashi was a little emotional looking at the little boy in front of him. Will this guy live in the darkness for vengeance in the future? Is it sad fate of the reincarnation of Winter? Naruto was curiously looking over at Sasuke. As Naruto looked at Sasuke, Sasuke also saw Naruto. The two looked at each other. Suddenly, they feel something in their heart, but it quickly dissipated. Shang looked at Sasuke, and her eyes lit up. "It's a handsome guy. But it seems that Niji I have met before is as handsome as him. Who should I choose?" Karen thought while feeling a little embarrassed. Karen is always like this. On the contrary, Jugo doesn't have any feeling after seeing Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke have completed their fateful first encounter. The entrance examination registration of the academy is now starting. Parents who have filled out the form, please submit the form to me, and then the candidates will enter the academy for the assessment. After hearing this, Kakashi and Itachi walked over and handed in the form. Sasuke, Naruto and others also entered the academy. "Good luck, Sasuke." "Yeah, Nai-san, I will work hard." Naruto, Karen, Jugo, good luck. "Don't worry, Shiro Nai, I am sure there is no problem." "Yeah. Kakashi Nai. We will do our best." Watching the four people go in, Kakashi and Itachi did not stay at the entrance. The time for this assessment is not short, and staying at this crowded entrance is not a good choice. "Itachi, are you interested in chatting?" "Yes, Kakashi-senpai." "Let's go then, there are so many people here, we will come back later." "Okay." On Konoha Street, Kakashi and Itachi are walking side by side. Talking while walking, the atmosphere between them can be considered harmonious. About Kakashi, Itachi still respects him very much. As for Kakashi's opinion about Itachi, he always feels that Itachi's fate is really sad. After all, his future destiny is really too bleak. "Itachi, what do you think about the relationship between Uchiha clan and the village?" Hearing Kakashi suddenly ask him, Itachi was a little surprised as this kind of question is really sensitive. What's more, the relationship between Uchiha clan and Konoha is getting really bad now. Itachi was a little uncertain for a while, as he thinks whether this was a question Kakashi wanted to ask himself or something the leader wants him to ask. Seeing Itachi's expression, Kakashi also knew that he was a little abrupt by asking this. "Sorry Itachi, this question may be too sensitive. I just came up with it on a whim, and I don't mean anything else by asking this. Kakashi-senpai, do you think the Uchiha clan can live in peace with the village?" Hearing this, Kakashi is silenced for a moment and then he said. "The Uchiha clan was originally part of the village. For it to develop this bad, it is a problem from the predecessors. There is no hatred between the village and Uchiha clan, but there is some kind of gap between them. If both sides can open their hearts to accept each other, maybe this problem won't exist." Hearing this, Itachi nodded, but he also knew that this method was too difficult. The understanding between people is not easy. After all, some people will never believe each other. Kakashi also knew that his statement was too idealistic, but other than this method, it was impossible to completely eliminate this contradiction. There is one way to temporarily eliminate it. That is to get a powerful foreign enemy. In this way, the Konoha's executives and the Uchiha clan can relax a little bit and save their relationship that has almost reached the freezing point. But if this enemy is not strong enough, the Uchiha clan may still be isolated by the Konoha's executives and not sent to the battlefield. However, it is only a few years since the end of the war, the villages probably have no intention of starting a war. The price is too great and not worth it. This has almost become an unsolvable situation. The idea of Shisui and Itachi is to move between the two sides and try to persuade them. However, it is clear that this method is not realistic. Kakashi-senpai, thank you. Itachi, the path of life is your own choice, but you don't have to carry everything by yourself. Kakashi spoke very earnestly, but Itachi did not understand. Kakashi did not explain, but patted Itachi on the shoulder and said, let's go, it's time to go back, the assessment should be finished by now. By the way, remember to report to the Anbu tomorrow. Yes, Kakashi-senpai. Chapter 146 Mysterious Place. The opening day has come to the end, and Kakashi did not take care of the Naruto, Karen, and Jugo all day. After all, they need to experience these themselves, so Kakashi will not be their nanny. Moreover, Kakashi is already Anbu captain. Although there is not much business to do due to the special nature of Anbu, there are always some mission scheduling tasks. Shisui, Itachi, this time there is a mission that requires the three of us to go together. You two pack up now. We need to go outside the village. Shisui and Itachi did not ask much, and quickly packed up and prepared to set off. A month later, in the southern part of the Land of Fire, Kakashi, Shisui, and Itachi are sitting under a big tree to rest. Silver, I didn't expect this mission to finish smoothly. It was completed all at once. Shisui said happily. This mission is not difficult. After all, the most important thing is to let Crow familiar with Anbu's work. Hearing this, Itachi then said, thank you senpai. You're welcome, I believe that with your talent, this one time is enough for you. Itachi nodded as he agreed. Well, it's getting late, let's rest here tonight, and we will go back tomorrow. Kakashi said. Shisui and Itachi naturally have no problem with this. After the three of them ate a little bit of food, they each found a tree and leaned on the tree to rest. Of course, it is impossible to get into deep sleep. In the wilderness, only people like Naruto can sleep like a log. Obviously, these three people are not someone like Naruto. The night is silent and there is often a breeze blowing. The weather in October is always a bit cold. The dark clouds in the sky seem strange. Kakashi, Shisui and Itachi opened their eyes suddenly. Their scarlet Sharingan was revealed at the same time, and the seal on Kakashi's left eye was directly opened. The three people were shocked as their own Sharingan actually working uncontrollably. The three of them stood up at the same time, and they all saw surprise and doubt from the eyes of each other. What's going on here? Why did our Sharingan spun uncontrollably? Shisui asked doubtfully. Kakashi and Itachi are silent, as they also don't know what's going on. At this time, the red light is faded from the Sharingan, and their eyes return to the former state. Only, the three of them did not think that this was an accident. The three of them looked at each other and felt something is wrong. It looks like this place is not simple. This barren mountain is just a small place, where three people pass by, and there is nothing on the map. Is this place related to Sharingan? They didn't know, but this may be the only explanation for this strange phenomenon. Otherwise, the Sharingan's abnormalities from before cannot be explained at all. There is something strange. I think that it has something to do with this place. Now we have two choices. One is to uncover this problem, and the other is to leave this place immediately. What do you guys think? Kakashi touched his chin and said his suggestion. Shisui and Itachi looked at each other, and both saw the intent in each other's eyes. When Kakashi saw this, he knew that they want to uncover this problem. Then let's start to act. Blink, Crow, because the target is uncertain, we should split up and move in 3 directions. This mountain is not big, so half an hour should be enough for us. Then, whether or not we find anything, we will meet up here after half an hour and start planning. Is there a problem? No? Good, then go. Kakashi gave an order and the three of them dispersed. All of them are shinobi with a certain level of strength. At this time, there is no need for them to act together, so it is more efficient for them to split up searching for clues. Half an hour later, Kakashi stopped on a big tree. Weird, there is nothing here. Is it on Shisui or Itachi's direction? Kakashi's heart is secretly thought, and the eyes are full of thoughts. Forget it, I just need another way to find it. Kakashi murmured, and then he made a peculiar hand seal on with his both hands. Kai. At this moment, the 3 silver-white Tomo behind Kakashi kept turning, and then a terrifying natural energy starts to fill Kakashi's body. Near to Kakashi's eyes, red eyeshadows appeared instantly. Sage mode. Under the Sage mode, the whole barren mountain is in Kakashi's perception. Kakashi soon discovered Shisui and Itachi's chakra. Shisui and Itachi are both coming back, and it seems that they haven't found anything too. This is. Kakashi's eyes whiten suddenly as he feels a very powerful chakra reaction. And it is very concealed. In the middle of the mountain. This is not a human's chakra type, what is it? Kakashi frowned as he presses his right hand against his chin, and no one knows what he was thinking. As he had discovered his target, the natural energy inside Kakashi's body starts to fade and returned into the silver-white Tomo curse seal. Silver. Did you find anything over there? Neither Crow nor I found anything. Shisui and Itachi also come back at this time, but they found nothing. Yes, you guys come with me. Kakashi decided to go and take a look as he couldn't think of anything. The incident this time obviously has something to do with the Sharingan, so Shisui and Itachi are naturally the best helpers he can get. After hearing this, Shisui and Itachi follow Kakashi and move all the way, and then they soon arrive at a lake. Silver, is this? Shisui asked curiously. Under this lake, there is an underwater channel that is connecting to the inner side of the mountain. You can take a look with your Sharingan. Hearing this, Shisui and Itachi didn't hesitate, and directly opened their Sharingan. Sure enough, under Sharingan's view, there is a passage under the water. It's not that Sharingan has the ability to saw through the water, but there is some strange chakra inside the underwater channel, and Sharingan is able to see it clearly. What is this place? Why is there a very strange feeling? Shisui said. This place is very unusual. I don't recommend us to go down there, Itachi said calmly. What Itachi made sense, this place was weird inside and out, and it may be dangerous for them to go there. Crow, don't say that, since it can be sensed by the Sharingan, it must be related to the Sharingan. Maybe there is a secret of the Sharingan. I think we should go in and take a look. Shisui is quite confident and thinks that they should go in there. Senpai, what do you think? After hearing Shisui's opinion, Itachi thinks it is better to ask Kakashi's opinion. Since we are all here, naturally there is no reason to give here. I know that you are all curious about this place, don't you? Kakashi said with a smile. Kakashi understands Itachi's worry as he also thinks that this place was indeed a bit weird, but Kakashi felt that there was something worthy inside. Moreover, the feeling of the strange chakra made Kakashi very concerned. It seems to have a somewhat familiar, but it is the people's chakra that he is familiar with, so what is it? Kakashi can't think of an answer. Then if he wants to know the answer, he can only go in and take a look. Chapter 147 Stone Tablet. Since both Shisui and Kakashi agreed to go in, Itachi would naturally have no objections anymore. Then the three of them jump into the lake one by one. The lake's water is very clear, so there is nothing hindering their vision under the water. Kakashi swims at the forefront and soon he saw a dark hole. Without hesitation, Kakashi swims directly towards there. Shisui and Itachi then followed after Kakashi. After a while, Kakashi comes out of the water, and then he can't saw anything as it is really dark. Kakashi then take out a scroll from the ninja bag, and an oil lamp come out from the sealed scroll. In an instant, there was a glimmer of light in this pitch-dark place, and everything within 2 meters of the oil lamp was illuminated very brightly. This is. Kakashi's pupils shrank, as he saw 2 skeletons not far away from his location. At this moment, Shisui finally come out of the water. Silver, what did you find? Shisui asked. Kakashi pointed to the skeletons in front and said, it seems that we are not the first people to come here. Although the corpses have turned into skeletons, there are still a few pieces of broken clothing worn by the corpses. Seeing the skeletons, Shisui and Itachi were a little curious and looked at them closely. Itachi then carefully picked up the pieces of clothes that have been decayed by time, and carefully checked them. This is, what's wrong? What did you find? Shisui asked. Kakashi walked over and put the oil lamp aside, also waiting for Itachi's answer. The pattern on this piece of clothing seems to be a piece of Uchiha clan's crest, look. Itachi handed the pieces of clothing to Shisui, and Shisui is shocked after looking at it carefully. Sure enough, although the pieces of clothes were small, and the patterns on them were blurred, Shisui and Itachi, who are members of the Uchiha clan, are able to recognize them. These 2 skeletons belong to the Uchiha clan member. Both Shisui and Itachi felt surprised in their hearts. It now appears that these 2 people in all likelihood are the Uchiha clan member. So what are the reasons they are here? They don't need to think about it too much as it must be related to the strange phenomenon that happened to their Sharingan before. So why did these 2 people die here? The expressions of the 3 of them became a little solemn. Obviously, this place is dangerous. The Uchiha clan member who has opens the Sharingan will not be weak, but both of them have died here. Obviously their opponents are very strong, or the things they face are terrifying. Kakashi did not speak, but instead began to study the 2 skeletons. Senpai, what did you find? Itachi asked. The 2 skeletons were not damaged. In other words, the reason for their death was not from strong external force. Otherwise, the skeleton's bones will definitely have signs of breaking. Shisui and Itachi nodded, agreeing with Kakashi's statements. The bones are intact and have not turned black, indicating that they are not poisoned. In other words, their deaths were caused by a small and fatal attack. There are only a few ways to cause them die like this. It seems that they died without their bodies being attacked. Genjutsu. Shisui and Itachi said at the same time. Yes, it is Genjutsu. They are Uchiha clan members and have opened their Sharingan, but the Genjutsu can still kill them. That means the Genjutsu must be very powerful. Shisui and Itachi nodded as they agree with Kakashi's statement. Indeed, having Sharingan makes the user has certain resistance to Genjutsu. If the Sharingan user is killed by Genjutsu, that means the Genjutsu must be A-rank Genjutsu or above. A-rank Genjutsu, it is not something that can be used by ordinary person. Shisui is a little eager to try. After all, he is the most powerful of the 3 if it is about Genjutsu. Silver, let me go ahead, as I am the strongest of us about Genjutsu. Kakashi shook his head and said, "No, you will stay behind." "Why?" Shisui said inexplicably. "Because your Jinjutsu is the strongest, it is better for you to stay behind. If I and Crow are both caught by the Jinjutsu, we will rely on you to release us from it." This. Itachi also said it this time. "Blink, please." After finished talking, Itachi followed Kakashi as they walked forward. Shisui scratches his head helplessly and said, "Fine, I will stay behind to help you too." Shisui also knew that Kakashi is right, and this is indeed the best plan for them. If there is really Jinjutsu in here, putting Shisui in the back is the best option. Furthermore, even if Kakashi and Itachi's Jinjutsu skills are not as good as Shisui, it is still better than most people. Kakashi takes the oil lamp and walk at the front, and the dark place was unfolded in front of the three. The originally huge space began to become narrow, and in the end it became a long corridor that is just 2 meters wide. It's just that the stone walls on both sides of the corridor are scarily neat. It's like someone is deliberately cutting it with a sword. Guess how sharp is the sword that can cut the stone wall so smoothly like this? Kakashi thought, and suddenly, a green light flashed in front of him. Kakashi stopped and said, "There seems to be something in front of us, everyone, be careful." "Okay." The chakra inside their body flowed silently as they are ready to fight at any time. After a few more steps, they finally reach the end of the corridor. The three of them stand side by side and are stunned by the sight in front of them. A huge stone tablet is standing in front of the three of them, emitting a faint green light on its surface. "What is this?" Shisui said in surprise. Kakashi narrows his eyes and sees some inscription on the stone tablet. 3 great artifacts. Kakashi was stunned for a moment as the things written on this stone tablet are quite similar to the murals he had seen at the Hell Valley's Forbidden Area. Why is this thing here? Are there many things like this that tell about the 3 great artifacts? No, something is not right. This stone tablet seems to have chakra. Seeing this, Kakashi immediately cried out in surprise. "Be careful. There is a problem with this stone tablet." As soon as Kakashi's voice fell, the green light emitted by the stone tablet brightened and directly enveloped the three of them. There is no time to escape. It's bad. This is Kakashi's only thought at this time, but then his head feels dizzy. It seems that he has fallen into a certain kind of coma. Not knowing how long it took, Kakashi slowly opened his eyes. With the white light piercing his eyes, Kakashi's vision gradually became clear. But the scene in front of him made Kakashi feel very surprised. Familiar room, familiar ceiling. Isn't this my home? Paddock residence. Kakashi climbed up to his feet as he looks at everything in front of him incredulously. What happened? Kakashi felt something is wrong right away as soon as he uttered a voice. His voice is a bit strange. Kakashi immediately ran towards the mirror. The same silver white hair, the same mask, but both of his eyes are still intact, and there are no scars on them. And his body becomes younger. This is when I was a kid. At this moment, the door was pushed open. "Kakashi, why haven't you got up yet?" Kakashi turned his head and felt surprised after looking at the person in front of him. White hair, familiar clothes. Tusen. Chapter 148 passed. "Kakashi, why is your expression is like that? Come out for breakfast, and then we can practice together later." Tsukumo walked over and patted Kakashi's silver hair, then waved his hand and left the room. Kakashi stood blankly in front of the mirror. What is going on here? Jinjutsu. He tried to move his chakra. Then he feels the huge chakra reserve he had cultivated for several years had disappeared without a trace at this time. Even the silver white curse seal had also disappeared. How could this be? Kakashi is puzzled, as this Jinjutsu feels too real. At this time, the chakra inside Kakashi's body is at best just genin level. Did I reincarnate it again? Kakashi, come out quickly. Hearing Tsukumo is calling him again, Kakashi doesn't not hesitate and quickly came out. Kakashi, you're a little lazy today. Are you too tired from yesterday's practice? Tsukumo asked. No, Tusen, just thinking about something. What are you thinking about for so long? Asked Tsukumo. Nothing, Kakashi said vaguely. Seeing Kakashi doesn't want to talk about it, Tsukumo did not say anything. Okay, come over and eat, then follow me to the yard to train later. Okay. Tusen. Although he was puzzled, Kakashi still filled his stomach first. After finishing the breakfast, Tsukumo stood up and said, Kakashi, come with me. Kakashi nodded as he was very familiar with what happened next. Before entering the academy, this was his daily life. Since he has inherited the original Kakashi's memory, this thing feels like he experienced it himself. This moment reappeared in front of his eyes, making Kakashi sigh with emotion. But, Tusen, is it really you? Kakashi looks at the Tsukumo's back in front of him, and the corners of his eyes are a little moist. How long have I not felt this way? Kakashi has forgotten. Before the tears from the corners of his eyes slip off, Kakashi forced them back. Shedding tears is something a man should never do. It's still the same familiar courtyard where Kakashi has swung his sword many times. But it feels different now as he is with a familiar but unfamiliar person. Kakashi, our Hada clan uses the sword technique to shock the shinobi world, so you must master this sword technique. It is rumored that, when the village was not established yet, there was a mysterious expert who taught our clan this formidable sword technique. Even if our clan didn't have any Kekkei Genkai, because of this sword technique, our clan is strong enough to become one of the strongest clan in the shinobi world. Kakashi nodded. He had heard these words many years ago, and now that he hears it again, his heart is full of emotion. Pada clan's sword technique is something like taijutsu. It requires us to constantly swing the sword and turn it into our body's instinct. There are 8 basic sword techniques, namely sweep, chop, stab, slash, slice, cut, charge, and cleave. Today, you will practice all of these. You need to focus as I will only demonstrate it once. After Tsukumo finished talking, he pulled out the short white sword behind him and moves towards the garden that is full of cherry blossoms. Sweep, chop, stab, slash, slice, cut, charge, and cleave. One move after another, although they seem simple, they are very powerful. The sword's shadow is moving with each stroke. Seeing this, Kakashi is a little ashamed as even now, his sword skills are still inferior to his father. It's not that Kakashi's talent is not good, but that he is too distracted. Tsukumo has trained his sword skill for a lifetime, and he has already trained it to the point of perfection, but Kakashi trained not only at the sword skill, but also a lot of other things. Therefore, even if Kakashi's talent is outstanding, his sword skill is still a lot worse from Tsukumo. If Kakashi didn't know that there were so many powerful enemies in the future, maybe Kakashi would concentrate on training the sword technique. It's just that Kakashi knows that this sword technique is far from enough to defeat his future enemies. After he finished, Tsukumo stabbed his sword into the ground, and he looks like a powerful swordmaster. This is sword technique. Kakashi was embarrassed as when he was young, he never knows that his father is this strong. Sword technique is profound. Even with teacher, someone still needs to understand the meaning of it themselves. Back then, Mifune also talked to Kakashi about the sword meaning, and Kakashi thought that it would not take long for him to understand it. Unfortunately, until now, Kakashi has not realized it. Perhaps Kakashi doesn't have the determination to give everything for the sword. Kakashi, have you seen it clearly? Try it again and let me see. Tsukumo said as he handed the white sword in his hand to Kakashi. Yes. Tsusan. Kakashi takes the familiar white sword and feels a little emotional. At the Battle of Kanabi Bridge, this sword was broken, and later he was rebuilt into the Millennium Sword. Every time he fights using the Millennium Sword, Kakashi has a feeling of that he is fighting alongside his father. Kakashi let out a sigh of relief as he gripped the short sword in his hand. Kakashi did his best, and his sword shadow moved very beautifully. Tsukumo's expression became very strange in an instant. Or rather, he was surprised. In Kakashi's hands, the white sword was a bit less sharp, but it was a bit more flexible. In terms of moves, it is not inferior to Tsukumo's display from before. With every cut, Kakashi seemed to use all his strength. The vague memory gradually comes back to his mind. That time I was taught by Tsusan. Kakashi, be steady when swinging the sword. Kakashi, you're too slow, you must move faster. Kakashi, it's not enough, your strength is too weak. Kakashi, you have to grow up as soon as possible. I'm afraid that I won't be able to protect you. Kakashi, this is the last time. After this, you need to depend on yourself. Kakashi, forgive me. Suddenly, the scene in front of Kakashi changed. The dark night sky, there was lightning outside, and Kakashi saw a cold corpse in front of his eyes. The tall figure fell to the ground. The bright red blood kept flowing from his abdomen, and the white fanged sword was deeply inserted into his abdomen. The man, whose name made the shinobi world frightened, ended his life in this way. Seeing the scene that is real and empty in front of him, Kakashi was not sad or even surprised. Tsusan, I have grown up. If there is a chance for me to meet you in the future, I will tell you that I have forgiven you. You are a hero to me. Lightning flashed across the night sky, illuminating Kakashi's bitter face. As the past reappears, Kakashi's heart is naturally filled with mixed feelings. Maybe I should thank this Shinjutsu. Kakashi chuckled and recollected all of the emotions. At this time, he was the powerful shinobi that has defeated Yondaime Reikage, Hada Kakashi. Well, shatter. Kakashi said as he suddenly drew out the white sword that is inserted at Tsukumo's abdomen, a white light flash, and the scene before him was shattered like a mirror. Genjutsu, broken. Chapter 149 Sword of Totsuka. The fragmented illusion turned into nothingness before Kakashi's eyes, and the green light filled the entire space. The white sword in Kakashi's hands became the Millennium Sword, and the blade was shining with lighting. The Genjutsu is indeed real, but the white sword has become the key to breaking the Genjutsu. The white sword stayed in Kakashi's hands for several years, and later it was recast into Millennium Sword. It can be said that no one alive in this world knows this sword better than Kakashi. When he took the white sword from Tsukumo, Kakashi's mind starts to recall his purpose, and he understood the key to this Genjutsu. The Genjutsu created the scene from the victim's memories, so even if they know it is a Genjutsu, they still can't help but indulge in it. The ice-cold white sword made Kakashi understand the key of the Genjutsu in an instant. In this illusion, there are only the white sword that exists in the past and the present. Having just met Tsukumo, it is impossible for Kakashi's emotion to stay the same. But this emotion was quickly suppressed by Kakashi. Now this is not the time to be sad. This stone tablet is probably not that simple. Such a formidable Jinjutsu, even if it was compared with the Itachi's Tsukuyomi, it is not much worse. What is this stone tablet? Kakashi was a little curious as he wonders what kind of secrets could be hidden in this stone tablet that could release such a powerful Jinjutsu. Its content is similar to the murals of the Hell Valley, but the murals in Hell Valley do not have such an exaggerated Jinjutsu ability. 3 great artifacts, Sword of Kusanagi, Yata Mirror, and Yusaka Magatama. Could it be that the Sword of Totsuka is here? Kakashi is shocked. Among the 3 great artifacts, only the Sword of Totsuka possessed Jinjutsu ability. The Sword of Totsuka is one of the Sword of Kusanagi. It is a spiritual item, and has no entity at all, and cooperates with the Yata Mirror perfectly. The liquid that flies out of the gourd and becomes the shape of the sword is the true form of Sword of Totsuka. The soul that is stabbed by the sword will be sealed inside the gourd, and then trapped in a Jinjutsu-like world of drunken dreams for all eternity. Speaking of it, the abilities of the Sword of Totsuka is almost the same to that of Infinite Tsukuyomi. And the Jinjutsu Kakashi feels just now is estimated to be a masterpiece of the Sword of Totsuka. What Kakashi was thinking at this time was that he may have overlooked something at the forbidden area of the Hell Valley. There are murals that also depicted about the 3 great artifacts. There is no way that this place has such a strange Jinjutsu, but that place has nothing. But without waiting for Kakashi to think about it, the green light in front of him gradually dissipated, and all the light remaining are condensed at the stone monument, and then a gourd-like thing appeared inside the stone tablet. And there are 3 big words engraved beside it, Sword of Totsuka. Kakashi narrowed his eyes. As expected, the Sword of Totsuka is sealed here. Kakashi didn't think much about this, and then he went to the stone tablet and gently touched the lines on the stone tablet. The gourd is releasing red ore, and the red light starts to flashes. Kakashi was able to feel the temperature that emanated from the gourd. The gourd seemed to feel something as it was emerging from the stone tablet and floating in the air. Kakashi was overjoyed and stretched out his right hand, wanting to take it down. But when Kakashi reached out his hand, the gourd flashed and turned into a cloud of red mist. It seems that it was impossible to touch the gourd with his hand. Kakashi was taken aback for a moment. He then took his hand back, and the gourd appeared again. Kakashi didn't believe in that he can't touch it, and stretched out his hand again. Unfortunately, no matter how many times Kakashi tried, he couldn't touch the gourd with his hand. What's going on? Kakashi was a little helpless. The Sword of Totsuka was already in front of him, but he even couldn't touch it, which made Kakashi very upset. At this moment, Shisui and Itachi appeared beside Kakashi. "Senpai," Shisui whispered. Seeing Shisui and Itachi, Kakashi said, "Have you solved the Jinjutsu?" Shisui and Itachi nodded. "Senpai, what is this?" Shisui asked as he pointed at the Sword of Totsuka. Kakashi did not answer, but pointed at the 3 words on the stone tablet. Sword of Totsuka. Both Shisui and Itachi were taken aback. Isn't it one of the legendary 3 great artifacts? Yes, this is the Sword of Totsuka. This should be the place where the Sword of Totsuka is sealed. The Jinjutsu just now should be the test of the Sword of Totsuka. It seems that 3 of us have passed. Kakashi chuckled and secretly thought. The luck of this Sword of Totsuka is really good. After waiting for so many years, it waits for someone to become his master, but no one came. But this time, 3 people came at once. However, Kakashi faintly felt that he might not get this artifact. "Senpai, you are the first to pass. This Sword of Totsuka is definitely yours." Even in the face of such artifact as the Sword of Totsuka, Shisui is not greedy at all. Itachi also nodded as he agrees to Shisui's words. "Shisui, Itachi, the artifact is a spiritual item. I am afraid I have no chance to take it." "What do you mean by this, Senpai?" "Senpai is the first person to break the Jinjutsu, so how can you not be able to take it?" Shisui asked doubtfully. Kakashi did not explain, but stretched out his hand and tries to touch the gourd. Unsurprisingly, the gourd turned into a cloud of red mist again. Shisui and Itachi are a little surprised after seeing this scene. This Sword of Totsuka does not seem to be a physical one. Itachi said as he was looking at the gourd with his Sharingan. After hearing Itachi's words, Shisui also opened Sharingan and found that it was a spiritual item. Kakashi nodded and said, "Yes, this Sword of Totsuka is indeed not a physical item. You should remember why we came to this place." "Sharingan?" Itachi whispered. "Yes, it's Sharingan. If I don't guess wrongly, the one who can hold the Sword of Totsuka must have Sharingan. And, I am afraid it is not a normal Sharingan." "That Senpai means, Manjukum Sharingan," Shisui exclaimed. "Manjukum Sharingan?" Itachi was a little surprised. This was the first time he heard of this term. "Yes, Itachi, 3-Tomo Sharingan is not the top form of the Sharingan, but there is still Manjukum Sharingan above it. Back then, the Uchiha's ancestor, Uchiha Madara, suppressed the entire shinobi world with a pair Manjukum Sharingan, with only the Shot Aim Hokage can match him. Shisui said as he explains about the Magicum Sharingan roughly to Itachi, and Itachi probably understood about the Magicum Sharingan with information. Yes, it is Magicum Sharingan. I have seen the records of the 3 great artifacts elsewhere. I am afraid that only the people who have opened the Magicum Sharingan can use them, Kakashi said. Senpai, I recall that your Sharingan should already be Magicum Sharingan, right? Shisui asked with some confusion. At the time when they are a Kurigakur, Kakashi's Sharingan pattern was different from the normal 3-tomo pattern. Shisui then thought that Kakashi had already opened Magicum Sharingan at that time. Kakashi didn't deny it either, and then said, yes, I have opened the Magicum Sharingan, but this is not enough. You need to know that there must be 2 Sharingan to exert the full power of the Magicum Sharingan. Itachi was surprised when he heard this. Kakashi have opened the legendary Magicum Sharingan, an outsider can actually do this. Itachi began to understand why Shisui respected Kakashi so much. Chapter 150 Susanoo. Senpai, what do you mean? Shisui asked doubtfully. Kakashi looks at Shisui and said, Shisui, you should have opened your Magicum Sharingan, right? Itachi looked at Shisui in shock. He can't believe that Shisui also has opened the legendary Magicum Sharingan. Seeing that Kakashi knows about this, Shisui just scratches his hair embarrassedly and said, yeah, it was opened not long ago. How do you know, senpai? Guess. Wah. Kakashi's answer makes Shisui somewhat speechless. How can he guess something like this? However, Kakashi really does just guessing. According to original work, Shisui should have opened the Magicum Sharingan at this time. Shisui, since you have both of your eyes, with Magicum Sharingan, you should be able to use Susanoo. Shisui was startled. He didn't expect Kakashi to even know about this. Yes, senpai, how did you know about these things? Well, I also have Magicum Sharingan, so it shouldn't be strange for me to know about these things, right? Kakashi said with a smile. Shisui is stunned. Kakashi indeed have opened Magicum Sharingan earlier than him, so it was not surprising that he knew about Susanoo. Shisui, if I am not mistaken, we might need Susanoo to take this sword of Totsuka. Try it. This sword of Totsuka is spiritual item, and not a physical one, so Kakashi came up with conclusion, after remembering the future events. If his guess is correct, this method should work. Hearing this, Shisui did not think much about it. After all, it is a pleasant thing to be able to collect an artifact. Shisui closed his eyes slightly and immediately opened his eyes. Magicum Sharingan. The black 4-corner darts pattern circulates in both of Shisui's eyes. Shisui, you don't need to use the full body of Susanoo, just make an arm. Using Susanoo is making the eyes blinded faster, so it is better if Shisui didn't make the full body of the Susanoo. If it's just an arm, there shouldn't be any major losses. Shisui nodded, expressing his understanding. Itachi, retreat with me, what happens next may surprise you. Kakashi finished speaking, and then pulls Itachi for more than 5 meters. Itachi looked at Shisui's eyes, and there is a strange pattern that he had never seen before. Shisui looked at the sword of Totsuka not far away intently, his eyes widened, and a huge green skeleton appeared around Shisui's body. This is. Itachi was surprised, the scene before him was too shocking for the young Itachi. That is Susanoo, the ultimate skill that can only be used by having both of the Magicum Sharingan. Kakashi said quite enviously. Even if Kakashi have opened the Magicum Sharingan, with only one Magicum, he maybe won't be able to use the Susanoo. Blood begins dripping from Shisui's eyes. Seeing this, Kakashi immediately said. Shisui, quickly take it, otherwise, it will put a lot of load on your eyes. Shisui nodded, as he understood the situation and gazed at the sword of Totsuka. Then the right arm of the green skeleton directly grabs the sword of Totsuka. But when Susanoo's right arm grabs the sword of Totsuka did not turn into a cloud of red mist like before, but it didn't change and was directly held tightly. It's a success. Shisui is overjoyed, and he quickly stops the Susanoo. Magicum Sharingan faded, Shisui felt a sharp pain in his body, and at the same time his body became soft. Seeing Shisui's condition is bad, Kakashi hurried over to hold on to Shisui. Shisui, how are you? It's okay, but I didn't expect that it would consume so much chakra to use the Susanoo. This is the first time I use this ninjutsu. Good, it seems that this sword of Totsuka is fated for you. Kakashi said with a smile. Thanks to Senpai, I can get this sword of Totsuka. But if Senpai is able to use this sword of Totsuka in the future, I will give it to Senpai, Shisui said. Kakashi waved his hand and said, no, this is what you deserve. Shisui wanted to say something, but the stone tablet suddenly began to crack at this time. There is also an earthquake at this place. Kakashi exclaimed, not good, this place is going to collapse, let's go. When Shisui and Itachi heard this, their expressions tensed. After all, if this place collapses, they will die. Without saying a word, Kakashi directly picked up Shisui on his back and said, Itachi, go. Itachi nodded, then chakra surging under his feet, and he ran in the direction from where they came from. Kakashi followed closely from behind, even if he was carrying Shisui on his back, his speed was not slow at all. Along the way, the flying stones splattered around, but Kakashi dodges it one by one. Shisui didn't say anything about putting him down. After all, he is not able to run as fast as Kakashi right now. Shisui knows that no matter whether it is Kakashi or Itachi, they would never leave him alone. After so many years of getting along with each other, Shisui knew exactly what kind of person the other party was. What the three of them didn't notice was that a red light entered Itachi's mind at an extremely fast speed. Itachi only felt that there seemed to be something else inside his head, but it was obviously not the time to care about these things. The three rushed all the way, and finally saw the water where they came. With three plops, all three of them jumped into the middle of the water pool. Shisui's body also temporarily recovered his mobility, and with Kakashi's help, he left this place. And shortly after the three of them jumped into the water, the place completely collapsed. Boom. The rubble then drops into the water, making splashes all around. Outside the place, Kakashi, Shisui, and Itachi jumped out of the lake. "Ha, it's really dangerous, we're almost buried inside," Kakashi said as he suddenly remembered Obito. At that time, he was buried on the ground, and then he starts to get into the dark side. It's too dangerous. Shisui also let out a long sigh of relief as he is lying on the floor. The first time he used Susanoo, it let Shisui knew about how much damage this skill would do to his body. Kakashi estimates that Susanoo can only be used after having the Eternal Magicum Sharingan, so there is no damage to the user's body. In the original work, Itachi's body condition is so bad. It is probably because of the use of Susanoo. This skill is strong, but the load on the user's body is too heavy. And using this ninjutsu will speed up the blindness of the user's eyes. In the original work, Sasuke was almost blind after using Susanoo for a few times. It can be seen how much faster the blindness happened by using the Susanoo. At this time, Itachi was holding his head. There seemed to be something floating in his mind, but he could not see clearly. He only knows that it is a piece of information. Itachi closed his eyes tightly, trying to see the fog in his mind. Kakashi and Shisui soon discovered the abnormal condition of Itachi. "Itachi, what's wrong with you?" Shisui asked with concern. Itachi shook his head and said, "It's nothing, I just feel like there is something inside my mind." "It's okay, it should be an illusion." "Yeah." Itachi nodded as he can only think of that now. "Well, let's get out of here. With such a big movement, it will attract other people," Kakashi said. "Yes, senpai." Just when the three of them were about to leave, three big words flashed through their minds. The auto mirror. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this part.